have all done it. Then, the two sisters seemed to have completely let go. Linglinger didn't care anymore and blurted out all the things that had been on her mind over the years. Why didn't I say it? Isn't it all because of you, sister? Ever since what happened 5 years ago, you cut your own eyes and locked yourself in that study room. You become colder and paler. Sometimes even I get scared. She's so strange, so strange. That kind of sister is not the sister I remember. I don't know what you have done over the years, sister, but you are my sister. I don't want you to get hurt. Ling Qinyu's heart trembled. It turned out to be like this. Have they changed too much over the years? But if they don't work hard, they will be left further behind by their already powerful enemies. By then it will be too late. I'm sorry, Linger. I really want to tell you how huge the number of enemies our Ling family faces is. But no, I can't drag you into this. Seeing that Ling Qinyue was silent about why he became like this, Linger completely exploded. You are like this again. You won't tell me anything again. I've been keeping things inside all this time. That's why your progress with your brother-in-law is so slow. Linger pointed at Guyan, who was watching the show on the side, and directly brought the flames of war to Guyan. Guyan! Wait, why are you bringing me into this? Ling Qinyue was suddenly stunned. And she subconsciously retorted, what are you talking about? What does this have to do with Guyan? Linger had already made up her mind. She was going to die anyway, so she might as well say it clearly. Yes, there is one. Why are you so indecisive? You clearly like me to death, but you're still pretending not to like me. Do you think you're the heroine of some Mary Sue novel? Lee's sister, my brother-in-law is Mr. Gu from Zhangye. He's rich and handsome. Even if you don't like him, there are many people who want to be with him. You don't say anything, you don't do anything with your brother-in-law. Do you think you can last forever with your brother-in-law? You old virgin who has never been in a relationship XXX. Boom. As soon as these words came out, whether it was Ling Qinyue or Guyan, their brains were buzzing like thunder. Guyan stood up hurriedly. Hey, wait a minute, you little brat, what are you talking about? Shut up, X2. However, before Guyan could say anything, Ling Qinyue and Linger scolded at the same time. After saying that, Ling Qinyue's face flushed, and her voice trembled a little. Who told you that your brother-in-law and I have not made any progress? Linger didn't believe he didn't see any progress between the two. Instead, she saw Guyan's endless dedication, so she continued to provoke. Really? I don't see that you love your brother-in-law at all. Sister, if you don't like it, then let me? The words haven't finished yet. Ling Qinyue shouted loudly, you are talking nonsense. I love Guyan. Of course I love him. A smile appeared on Linger's pretty face as she looked at her sister, who was blushing and shouting out her love for Guyan. She leaned forward and continued to ask, you are talking nonsense. I didn't even realize that you like your brother-in-law. If you love him, give me a reason. As soon as these words came out, Ling Qinyue seemed to have made up her mind. She clenched her fists and took a deep breath. The blush on her cheeks made her look even more charming. She opened her mouth and said in a barely audible voice, because I have done it. What? Linger couldn't hear clearly, so she went over and shouted, Damn Linger! Ling Qinyue clenched her teeth. The shame she felt at this moment had already surged into her brain. My sister's lack of understanding, my sister's Minato jargon. She didn't want to think about anything now. Instead, he took a deep breath and shouted out in shame, because Guyan and I have done it. Boom! Now Guyan and Linger's brains were bombarded by thunder. Wait a minute, Qinyue, when did we do this before? Guyan shouted in disbelief. When did he and Qinyue reach that point? Was it when I was asleep? Did I sleepwalk in? Ling Qinyue obviously didn't expect that Guyan would not admit that he had kissed her, and she was stunned for a moment. Tears fell all at once, and she looked at Guyan with tears in her eyes. What, you don't admit it? Linger was furious when she saw this. She glared at Guyan and said, you scumbag, you did it and you still don't admit it. Are you a man? No, I really didn't do it with Qinyue. Sister has already said it, a girl will never joke about her innocence. No, Qinyue and I have only kissed, we can't do anything deeper until we get married. This. Linger was stunned, then looked at Ling Qinyue. The latter also wiped his tears and nodded. For a while, misunderstanding resolved. Linger covered her mouth in surprise this time, her eyes sparkling as she looked back and forth between the two of them. Oh my god, so bold. Guyan saw that things were becoming more and more strange. And even the character of Ling Qinyue, who would become the big villain in the future, was becoming more and more strange. Just in case, he immediately intervened, reached out and embraced Ling Qinyue, and gave her a princess hug. The latter subconsciously stretched out his hand to hook Guyan's neck. his voice trembling, his heart panicking. Gu Yan. What are you doing? Linger is still here. Gu Yan said without caring. Now that we've talked about it, why are we still acting? Kinkyu, let's go. Let this kid reflect on why he misunderstood our sincere love. After saying this, Ling Kinkyu was carried upstairs by Gu Yan. He was afraid that if he stayed any longer, the situation would develop into something he could not imagine. Hey, he didn't know the plot would turn out like this. But, Kinkyu like this, just makes his heart flutter. Ling Kinkyu was held in Gu Yan's arms, and her heart was warm. Feeling Gu Yan's warm and broad chest, her sense of security came over her again. She closed her eyes and laid her head in Gu Yan's arms. I don't want to think about anything. I don't want to care about anything. I really want to let go of everything and stay with Gu Yan. Another me, is this also part of your plan? It seems that perception is gradually improving at this moment. There was a hint of surprise in Xiaoling's tone. It turned out that perception could be improved without bodily fluids. Is this the functionality of my furnace cauldron, Gu Yan? Ling Kinkyu suddenly regained her composure because of Xiaoling's voice. She smiled calmly and said, "Oh, haha Xiaoling, you still need to learn more in this area." At the same time, he heaved a sigh of relief. It was a close call. He almost fell into Gu Yan's arms. Ling Kinkyu, Ling Kinkyu, Ling Kinkyu. You are the Night King, don't forget your mission. If you want to indulge in Gu Yan's gentleness, you should at least wait until the revenge is complete. Right? Do you think there is another Yi in this world? No one else can help you with revenge except you. The other side downstairs. Lang Linger wiped away her tears, bent down and picked up the confiscated 18-rated book. And he smiled with a look of success. Yay, no more scolding. However, I didn't expect that my brother-in-law and sister had actually developed to the stage of kissing. Lang Linger licked her lips, her eyes flickering. What does it feel like to kiss? So annoying. Lang Linger rubbed her hair with a headache. Forget it, let's go talk to her best friend Ba Quan Lan about this matter first. By the way, ask her if she has ever had oral sex with someone else and see how it feels. Chapter 149. Gu Yan faints again. Snap. As the study door was closed by Gu Yan, the atmosphere in the room gradually became warmer and more ambiguous. Gu Yan looked at Ling Kinkyu in his arms, his heart pounding. The other person's soft and slender body made Gu Yan feel as if he was holding a ball of warm feathers. His palms rested gently on her back, feeling her soft skin. And every touch made his heart surge with throbbing emotions. A unique fresh scent of Ling Kinkyu filled Gu Yan's nose. The faint fragrance was like a wisp of warm breeze, making him feel as if he was in a garden, and Ling Kinkyu was the beautiful flower. For a moment, he was wondering if this was Lang Linger's deliberate assist. I didn't expect the female cricket to care so much about them. Ling Kinkyu was feeling very ashamed and shy at this moment. She hugged Gu Yan's neck tightly, with a charming look on her face. Her eyelids trembled slightly, and the confession that had just passed through her mind caused ripples in her heart. What would Gu Yan think? What would Linger think? But fortunately, his subordinates are unaware of the current situation. After all, her character in front of them was the aloof Night King. How could she show such shy emotions that only ordinary women would show? Another me, I will take this opportunity to take in body fluids. I think it will be much more efficient than before. Xiaoling in my mind was urging me impatiently. All these emotions made Ling Kinkyu even more confused about how to deal with the current situation. At this time, it was Gu Yan who took the first step. Since Ling Kinkyu has already confessed her love to him, then, why does he worry so much? Then, Gu Yan strode towards the sofa in the study room holding Ling Kinkyu in his arms. Ling Kinkyu hugged Gu Yan tighter as the body swayed. And when she felt Gu Yan put her on the sofa, she subconsciously asked, "Do what?" Even Ling Kinkyu herself did not realize that her slightly shy tone and charming expression at this moment made her charm even more enhanced. Constantly washing over Gu Yan's brain. Gu Yan's mood at this moment was between nervousness and excitement. When he heard Ling Kinkyu's question, he took a deep breath to calm his brain. Then asked, what to do? It's natural to do what couples should do. If he were a normal man, he wouldn't remain indifferent after hearing your confession of love. Kinkyu. Even someone as calm as me can't wait to have a good time with you. Kinkyu. Ling Kinkyu was shocked, and before she could stand up to resist, brush. Gu Yan held the other person's wrist and said, I'm sorry, Kinkyu, you can hit me or scold me as you like from now on. Wait. Ling Kinkyu hadn't finished speaking yet. And I felt a warm and soft feeling on my lips again. A familiar wave of aura surged through her body again. The beauty of increased strength and Gu Yan's love filled her mind. And this time, it seems to be more intense than ever. Ling Kinkyu was soon immersed in this happiness. Why is it always like this? My body, what happened? Ling Kinkyu symbolically struggled. but soon lost any line of defense. She gradually relaxed her body. At this moment, nothing mattered. It doesn't matter anymore. Just let him be. In less than a moment, Guyan felt that it shouldn't be too excessive. So he let go of Lang Qingqiu and prepared to stand up and wait for the other party to scold him. Result: feel the moment when happiness disappears. Bang! Lang Qingqiu directly grabbed Guyan's wrist with his backhand. The latter was stunned. Qingqiu? Guyan looked at the other person in a daze. Lang Qingqiu was seen breathing slightly and his eyes slightly opened. Because of the kiss just now, the other person is even more beautiful and attractive at this moment. And I don't know if it was Guyan's illusion, but I always felt that there seemed to be a flash of pink halo in Lang Qingqiu's eyes. Isn't Qingqiu blind? Wait, that's not enough. Lang Qingqiu grabbed a Guyan and then pulled him hard onto the sofa. She turned her body around and sat on Guyan. Suddenly, the situation was reversed. Guyan was grabbed by the wrist and pressed on the sofa. He looked up at Lang Qingqiu who was holding him captive, and had a bad feeling. Qingqiu, what's not enough? Hey, can you hear me? Guyan suddenly panicked. Lang Qingqiu seemed to be very abnormal now, and he struggled hard. But the opponent was so strong that he was completely imprisoned and had no power to fight back. What the hell? I really am born with it. Don't move, Guyan, you have to have your own consciousness. I started this, and I won't let you go unless I'm satisfied. And cricket Guyan, why do you repeatedly do this to me? If you want to do it, I should take the initiative to give it to you as a reward. Lang Qingqiu's words made Guyan feel that something was wrong with Lang Qingqiu's current condition. He kept struggling, always feeling that he had gotten out of his depth. Wait a minute, Qingqiu, wait. However, before Guyan could finish his words, his mouth was roughly blocked by Lang Qingqiu, who was very strong and his actions were very rough. Guyan felt faint again, just like the first time he kissed Lang Qingqiu. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Lang Qingqiu's kissing style caused Guyan's brain to be deprived of oxygen again. The innate cultivation seems to be completely useless at this moment. Anyway, this style of painting is too weird. Why am I the one being pressed down? And Guyan slowly lost consciousness. My wife is unexpectedly fierce. I don't know how much time has passed. Lang Qingqiu realized that the person under her had lost her response, and she suddenly raised her head in shock. Hiss. While taking a deep breath, he looked at Guyan, who had already closed his eyes as if he had ascended to heaven. She was in a panic. Oh no! It's the same as the first time. Lang Qingqiu hurriedly shouted at Guyan. Guyan, wake up! Guyan, are you okay? Pa. She began to slap Guyan's cheek. Lang Qingqiu finally breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that the other party still had a slight reaction. Fortunately. After breathing a sigh of relief, Lang Qingqiu fell into self-blame again. What on earth was wrong with him? Why is it that every time I do this kind of thing with Guyan, I can't help but use too much force? I know clearly that Guyan is just an ordinary person. He can't stand the torture from me. But Lang Qingqiu slowly lowered her body, and lay on Guyan's slightly rising and falling chest. The cheeks also flushed. It seems like she just can't help but treat Guyan like this. Wanted everything about him to be hers alone. Another me, can you feel it? This time the power increases twice as much as before. I see, so this was all your plan from just now until now. You really haven't become weak, everything is just your disguise. Xiaoling praised generously in his mind. It seems that reading more books has its benefits. Look at another self, who has mastered so many sophisticated skills in controlling people in just 5 years. Lang Qingqiu felt very uncomfortable when hearing this, and always felt that the other party was playing tricks on him. After all, fake is not disguise, and soft is not weak. How could I not know this? But, Xiaoling, if you have half of my power, it's not impossible to let you take charge of the body. It's a pity that you don't have the ability to control Guyan's furnace. Lang Qingqiu laughed in his heart. You are right. I will study hard. I will also show my learning results at that time. Lang Qingqiu breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this, and didn't take Xiaoling's words seriously at all. After all, without her consent, Xiaoling would definitely not be able to come out. Then, Lang Qingqiu stood up and looked at the unconscious Guyan with confusion. As he watched, Lang Qingqiu became fascinated again. This boiling source of life is so dazzling. If I could see, what would Guyan look like? Lang Qingqiu stretched out her hand and touched Guyan's facial features. Then she lowered her head again. The ambiguous atmosphere in the house continued. Chapter 150. It is normal to eat with such beautiful hair. In the living room, Langlinger was lying on the sofa like Jiyu. Her favorite TV series were playing on the latest model TV. She was using her latest mobile phone to make a video call with Bae Quan Lan. Quan Lan, you don't know, my sister and brother-in-law. He talked a lot. Bi Quan Lan was also terrified after hearing this. In the video, Bi Quan Lan seemed to be sitting on the bed in her room, listening to Ling Linger telling what had just happened. After hearing the end, she sighed. Fortunately, Sister Linger, you are smart. Otherwise I doubt you will survive this night. As he said this, he also joked, by the way, Sister Linger, where is that book? Do you dare to keep it with you? Ling Linger was a little embarrassed and annoyed when she heard this. This is because you, Quan Lan, insisted on lending me this kind of book, which is why it turned out like this. But, after a pause, Ling Linger's expression became a little unnatural. She asked Ba Quan Lan curiously, Quan Lan, have you ever had a boyfriend? Ba Quan Lan smiled on the surface, but in fact, a question mark slowly appeared in her heart. Why did Sister Linger suddenly ask me this question? But it be. Ba Quan Lan felt a little flustered. But it be that Ling Linger really fell in love with Guyan after reading the book? Or are you interested in men? Don't do that kind of thing. She quickly shook her head. No, what's so good about men? Isn't it wonderful that we girls all smell good together? Sister Linger, please don't even think about having a boyfriend or anything like that. Ling Linger obviously didn't expect Ba Quan Lan to react so strongly. So she coughed dryly and continued to ask, Quan Lan, don't be so excited. I just wanted to ask you what it feels like to kiss. Since you've never been in a relationship, forget it. I'll ask my brother-in-law when the time comes. Ask Guyan? No. Ba Quan Lan quickly stopped her. Judging from Sister Linger's expression in the video, the other person seems to be very interested in kissing. If I let the other party ask Guyan, I don't know if the situation will develop into the plot of a novel I have read. The male protagonist is so powerful that he takes in the two sisters directly. Moreover, the younger sister originally hated the male protagonist. But as she became interested in him, things became increasingly out of control. Ba Quan Lan didn't know what she was thinking of. And her cheeks gradually turned red. She looked at Ling Linger in the picture and shouted loudly. If Sister Linger wants to know what it feels like to kiss, I have a way to help you. Hearing this, Ling Linger became interested and asked expectantly. Oh, Quan Lan, do you have a solution? Okay, how can you help me? Hearing this, Ba Quan Lan's tone also became a little unnatural. Well, that you will know when you come to my house tomorrow. Ling Linger didn't think much about it and nodded. Okay, then I'll ask my brother-in-law to take me there tomorrow. Ba Quan Lan nodded. Let's skip the topic of kissing. The good friends started talking about other topics. Time passes slowly. It's dusk again. Guyan opened his eyes in confusion. Well, he felt his mouth was a little swollen and painful, and his chest was stuffy. Guyan looked up and was stunned. Ling Qiyu was lying in his arms, breathing steadily, obviously asleep. This is a very rare thing. You should know that Ling Qiyu usually stays in the study reading at this time. I get very little sleep in a day, so I won't waste time sleeping at this time. Guyan didn't want to disturb the other person and wanted to gently help him up and let him leave. But this slight movement might have made Ling Qiyu uncomfortable. So she frowned. So cute. Guyan did not move, and prepared to observe Ling Qiyu's reaction for a while. As he watched, he became fascinated again. Ling Qiyu's face was extremely delicate, and her fair skin seemed to be radiant. In her sleep, she was defenseless, and all the tiredness on her face gradually disappeared at this moment. As if the current environment made her feel extremely at ease, leaving only a sense of tranquility and serenity on her face. A long black hair spread on Guyan's chest, like a pool of black stream, exuding a faint fragrance. Her lips were elegant and slightly upturned, as if she was having a sweet dream. Looking at Ling Qiyu like this, Guyan started his own little actions. He reached out his hand and gently ruffled Ling Qiyu's smooth black hair. And then, cha-cha-cha. The taste of autumn, only now can I enjoy it like this. Guyan put the hair in his nose and savored it continuously. It would be even better if he could taste it like noodles. Well then, why not give it a try? Ling Qiyu's expression became more and more ashamed, as if something terrible was happening in her dream. His eyelids trembled slightly under his closed eyes, and he was obviously waking up. Next second, Ling Qiyu opened her eyes, and the heavy breathing sound like an abnormal sound lingered in her ears. She raised her head and looked over. Guyan was tasting a handful of Ling Qiyu's hair in his mouth, which happened to collide with the other's lifeless eyes that had just woken up. It seemed that she was aware that her hair was being torn by Guyan's mouth. So Ling Qiyu spoke coldly to the dazzling Guyan, not hiding the shame and anger in her heart. What are you doing? Guyan's expression was a little stiff and awkward. After all, he was tasting someone else's hair. It seems to be no different from a pervert. But Guyan took out the hair and held it in his hand. Not trying to hide his strange exp instead, he said righteously. It's normal to eat with such beautiful hair puff. Before he could finish his words, Guyan was thrown out by Ling Qiyu, and his body rolled on the ground for 2.5 weeks. Normal as hell. You pervert. Ling Qiyu touched her hair with an embarrassed look on her face. Why would you do this to your hair? Does Guyan like his own hair more than himself? Qiyu my Qiyu don't misunderstand me, I'm really not a pervert. I just like everything about you, Qiyu. Guyan lay on the ground, crawling in a dark and twisted manner, trying to explain and save his image. As a result, the response was a humiliating and angry trampling from Ling Qiyu. Pervert, 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 pervert. Trampled by the object of pure love. Pure love value 666. Continuously trampled by the object of pure love. Pure love value 777. Being trampled by the object of pure love all the time. Pure love value. Being insulted by the object of pure love. Hey, enough of your system, I don't want to earn points this way at all. Ask yourself, is my behavior really abnormal? Was driven downstairs. Langlinger, perverted bastard. Driven back into the car. Lao Gao thought about it and said hesitantly. People who like to eat hair must be perverts, right? Or maybe a mental illness. Why do you suddenly ask this? Young master? That's enough, I really mean enough. Guyan didn't want to discuss whether he was a pervert or not. So he waved his hand. He sighed and said, it's okay. I'm asking for my friend. Lao Gao, let's go to Zhangye hospital. As he spoke, Guyan touched his lips and found that the skin was broken. He felt strange. What the hell? Was his body lacking some vitamins? On the other side, in the Lang family study, Ling Qiyu was upstairs watching the dazzling source of life leaving outside the window. The feeling of shame and anger in her heart gradually subsided. She touched her lower lip lightly, and her heart trembled slightly. Rather than talking about others, it seems to be the same on my side. Fortunately, Guyan didn't know. Well, he probably won't know. No, I won't let him know. Okay, let me see how much my strength has increased this time. Ling Qiyu spread out her palms, a wisp of black air emerged, and her expression gradually returned to her usual coldness. That's right, Ling Qiyu, you are the Night King. Just a moment of immersion in the land of tenderness is enough. Next you need to get into office mode. Chapter 151 Wang Yilan finally joins Peach Blossom Club. In order to bring this plan to a perfect end, Lian came to Zhangye hospital again. When he arrived at the ward where Wang Yilan was, Wu Yan did not go in immediately, but instead gathered his emotions. Then he pushed open the door. Click. When he walked into the ward, there was already an expression of sadness and unwillingness on his face. Sister Yilan, I'm here to see you. Guyan spoke in a low voice and looked at Wang Yilan, who was sitting on the edge of the bed. After resting, Wang Yilan's condition was obviously much better than at the beginning, but those red eyes from crying made everyone understand that the other person had not had a good day. In addition to Wang Yilan, there was another person here. Hey little brother, we meet again. Tao Ying greeted Guyan with full energy, and didn't seem to be very sad about the death of Wang Yilan's mother. When Wang Yilan saw Guyan coming, her expression did not show much emotion except for a slight smile. Guyan, you're here. Wang Yilan's tone and expression seemed very unnatural, as if she knew something. See this scene. Guyan pretended to be sad and walked over. He sighed and said, Sister Yilan, listen to me, Shaolin. But words haven't finished yet. Wang Yilan shook her head. Her expression did not change at all, but a hint of murderous intent flashed in her eyes. Well, I know everything. The body of her mother Wang Lan was kept in the morgue. Due to the particularity of this case, all non-governmental organizations were asked to stop investigating the matter. She was also interviewed by a department called the Warrior Department. They wore a white uniform and offered compensation. Due to Shaolin's special identity, this matter had to be put on hold. When Wang Yilan heard the news, she was completely devastated. She felt that revenge was hopeless and she might as well commit suicide. But suddenly, she remembered something. That was what Tao Ying had always said to her. What warriors, what flower god Zora, what peach blossom meeting? Originally, she just treated it as a story, but now, after what happened to Shaolin, she thought about it. Apparently such things really do exist in this world. So she took the initiative to contact Tao Ying and agreed to join her Peach Blossom Club. And the purpose is very simple, which is to kill Shaolin with personal hands after becoming stronger. In fact, she should have been discharged from the hospital immediately. But she knew that if she didn't get an accurate answer to one thing, she would not be able to join the world of warriors with peace of mind. Seeing that Wang Yilan looked like she knew everything, Guyan obviously understood that she already knew and recognized that there were still warriors in this world. And Master, Wang Yilan has agreed to join the Peach Blossom Club. Listening to the message from Tao Ying in his mind, Gu Yan's heart was about to burst with laughter. No, no, at least you have to wait until the people leave before you smile. Right? On the surface, Gu Yan looked at Wang Yelin and hesitated to speak. His expression was filled with unwillingness and sadness. I'm sorry, Sister Yelin, since you know everything. I can't hide it from you. In fact, Shaolin has great means and a special identity. Even I can't do anything about it. Speaking of this, Gu Yan choked up at the right time. Wang Yelin looked at Gu Yan, and a trace of sadness welled up in her heart again. But she couldn't continue to be sad. Her purpose is very clear, which is to practice and become stronger, and then take revenge on Shaolin. Therefore, in order to be able to feel at ease, he abandoned all factors and practiced seriously just for revenge. Wang Yelin felt that she needed to make peace with Gu Yan. Then, Gu Yan. Wang Yelin spoke softly, and Gu Yan looked up at her. Wang Yelin looked at Gu Yan seriously, and her tone was more firm than ever before. I like you. Ao Ying's brows twitched slightly when she heard that. How dare a cricket chess piece confess its feelings to its master? Once you join the Peach Blossom Club, there will be a lot of suffering waiting for you. Gu Yan felt no wave of emotion when he heard this. In fact, he had long noticed that Wang Yelin seemed to like him. But if he asked himself, all he did was to provide a little financial assistance when Wang Yelin needed help. Perhaps for Wang Yelin, providing her with financial assistance at that stage was the easiest time to touch her heart. After all, her mother is her weak spot. Of course, all of this was a deliberate plan by Gu Yan. But this is not bad. Rejecting the other party at this moment allows her to better devote herself to her job as a tool. So Gu Yan pretended to be shocked first, then closed his eyes, and replied in a resolute voice, I'm sorry, you are a good person. I only see you as my sister. Wang Yelin already knew the answer. But deep down I still have a feeling of worry and loss. She seemed to feel that she had finally gotten the answer. So a stone fell from her heart. A warm and relieved smile gradually appeared on Wang Yelin's face. Yeah. Soon, Gu Yan left. For a moment, Tao Ying and Wang Yelin were the only two people left in the ward. The room was quiet for a while. Wang Yelin was the first to speak and asked Tao Ying, let's go to the Peach Blossom Club you mentioned. The latter nodded, with an inexplicable smile on his face. Yelin, you will know a brand new world. Once you get there, you can also get your own power to deal with Shaolin. Wang Yelin didn't say anything, but just clenched her fists tightly, with only hatred for Shaolin in her eyes. Just wait. Shaolin, I will definitely kill you. Left the ward and returned to the car. Gu Yan's face became calm, and when he sensed Wang Yelin's determination, he couldn't help but slightly curl the corners of his mouth. In the dim basement, the faint light shining on his face seemed to make his expression even more gloomy and indifferent. Very good, this way Wang Yelin can devote herself to serving the knight he created. As long as the leader of the Peach Blossom Society dies, Tao Ying will succeed the Peach Blossom Society. Then, a Peach Blossom Club would be in his pocket. In this way, the second force will be G. Mahayo. Gu Yan couldn't help but cover his face and let out an evil laugh. Lao Qiao in front looked at him with a frown on his face. Which personality is this, young master? Gu Yan laughed enough. He gently soothed the mood. I started to organize the next plan in my mind. According to the plot development in the original novel, not long after Wang Yelin joined the Peach Blossom Society, then that plot will be triggered. That is, night raid event. This means that Leng Qingqiu issued an order, ordering for members of the organization to destroy the Peach Blossom Society and the Xuanwu Gate respectively. It was also this plot that led to the death of the old leader of the Tao who was Society and Tao Ying's brother, as well as the deaths of all the few members of the sect. Only Tao Ying and Wang Yelin are left. Why are these two left? Because these two beautiful girls were rescued by the male protagonist Shaolin who came rushing over. However, Shaolin obviously does not have the energy to save these two people now. After all, TSK. Now that he had sorted out his thoughts, he was not in a hurry, because according to the development of the plot, it will take some time for the members of the Night Organization to find the Peach Blossom Society's base. During this time, he can make other arrangements. And at this time, buzz. Suddenly there was a beep from the phone. He picked it up and took a look. I saw it was sent by Leng Linger. Brother-in-law will pick me up tomorrow. I want to go to Quan Lan's house. Quan Lan? Bi Quan Lan? Gu Yan thought about it carefully, and it seemed that, well, the other half of the Dragon King Jade is on Ba Quan Lan's body. Right? But Gu Yan's eyes flickered. Now he still has many plans to complete. And he is worried that something unexpected may happen if he rashly synthesizes the complete Dragon King Jade. For example, the group of old Dragon Kings hiding in Long Wang Mountain. I wonder if I can sense the complete Dragon King Jade pendant. But it doesn't mean that we can't keep up with the progress. I recalled in my mind how Bi Quan Lan and Ling Linger got along. His expression was slightly odd. Just try it and you'll know if it's what he thinks. After thinking it over, Gu Yan said, Lao Gao let us go to the vegetable market. Okay, young master, so why don't you let your men buy it and send it to the Leng family? You don't understand, Lao Gao buying groceries in person represents smile up for King Qiyu. Okay master. Lao Gao, who was driving, breathed a sigh of relief. The young master's personality was restored. Chapter 150. To Shaolin and Shenwaner have been under surveillance. Leng family. Leng Linger was lying on the sofa with a lazy look on her face, occasionally making strange laughter while watching the funny scenes on EV. Because of the close relationship between the two sisters, Leng Linger's behavior seemed to become even more rampant. Leng Qiyu sat on the sofa, looking unhappy. Why? That's because Guyan didn't even prepare dessert for her. Sorry King Qiyu, eating dessert at night is such a disaster. You don't want to get fat, do you? Guyan squatted beside Leng Qiyu's legs with a basin of hot water placed in front of him. The former stretched out his hand and touched the other's calf, massaging it while speaking earnestly. As the Night King, he has the ability to absorb all energy perfectly. The calorie content of crickets is just so-so. Of course. You can't say such things. So Leng Qiyu raised his chin proudly and refused to speak. Only, as Guyan's technique of massaging her calves became more and more comfortable, her expression gradually became more and more tense. As she bit her lips gently, I only heard Guyan say, Okay King Qiyu, today's massage will be a little shorter because I have something else to do later. Come on, soak your feet in the water. Looking at the jade-like feet in front of him. Although Guyan was very moved, he also knew the price of following his heart, so he behaved very well and didn't have any other thoughts. On Leng Qiyu's side, Guyan's big hand groping caused ripples in her heart. But this feeling soon ended, because this time, Guyan surprisingly had his temper and did not touch or do anything strange. I don't know why, but Leng Qiyu felt a little disappointed. Just thinking of this, Leng Qiyu quickly shook his head. No, if I think that way, wouldn't I become a pervert? This is all because of Guyan, who always does strange things. The reason why I have become so strange must be because of him. So she suddenly became very angry and said to Guyan, What are you going to do? What can the eldest son of the Gu family do? Well, in every sense. Guyan thought about what he was going to do later. So he replied with a dry cough. What's going on? Why do I feel Leng Qiyu is suddenly angry? Snort. Busy? Who is busier than you? Leng Qiyu's jade feet swayed gently in the water of the basin. And she didn't know why she had such a feeling. Maybe because I heard that Guyan was leaving, so I was upset and unhappy? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Guyan understood it as soon as he heard it. Oh, I understand my wife doesn't want him to leave. But there was no other way, besides doing the serious business of loving King Qiyu. He also had other small things to do. Then, Guyan was so bold that he went straight to the attack. And it was a whoosh. Grabbed the white and tender feet in the water. Leng Qiyu's sensitive spot was suddenly caught. And her pretense of being cool and aloof was immediately ruined. Her whole body began to go limp, and a blush spread across her cheeks. She began to struggle to retract her legs, gritting her teeth and cursing. Asshole, what are you doing? Guyan didn't care and started to act directly. What are you doing, King Qiyu? How do you talk to your husband? Woo no more. Thanks to the special technique. Leng Qiyu laughed and cried at the same time. Guyan was merciless. He played with the thing in his hand and threatened. Say sorry, tell your husband that I was wrong. Cricket Guyan. Woo. Say sorry, quick. Leng Qiyu naturally didn't want to speak out his pride. But she clutched the sofa cushions tightly. But why? Sorry. I was wrong. Leng Qiyu spoke awfully and weakly, collapsing on the sofa and breathing slightly. Looks confused. Guyan was stunned on the spot for a moment. Plop. Lap. My heart beat faster and my heart was pounding. This kind of King Qiyu. In short, she is very cute. He looked at her jade feet and said subconsciously. King Qiyu cannot. Leng Qiyu was still immersed in the happiness just now, but was suddenly broken by Guyan. After getting along with Guyan, she knew what he was going to say even if Guyan farted. It must be another outrageous statement, so I interrupted him directly. Hearing this, Guyan cleaned up the mess with a look of disappointment, and then was kicked out in disgrace. Leng Qiyu sat on the sofa, feeling angry and embarrassed. I was recalling the scene just now in my mind. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up slightly. Well, I don't know why I suddenly feel better. Leng Linger was stunned watching from the side. No, sister, why do you look so happy? It seemed that she noticed Leng Linger was looking at her. So Leng Qiyu looked over with a straight face and inferently said, Linger, it's time for you to go to bed. Yes. Leng Linger's instinct engraved in her body awakened again. and she immediately turned off the TV and stopped talking. I want to cry but I have no tears. Brother-in-law, look at your wife. Holy knows how to bully others at home. Spring Hill Community 11501. I've already told you I won't give you any more money. Chao Qian, can you please stand up for yourself? Guyan? Don't mention him anymore, I can't help you ask him for money. After a tiring day, Shenwaner hung up the phone angrily. Her eyes were filled with fatigue. Why are both of them like this? Lack of understanding from parents and sarcasm from relatives. My younger brother is ignorant. Everyone blamed her for breaking up with Guyan. They didn't understand anything and knew nothing. What they were pursuing at the time was a career, not love at all. And Guyan didn't show anything that attracted her. I have already done my best to be worthy of Guyan by not giving a clear refusal. But why has Guyan become so outstanding and so attractive now? Shenwater thought of Guyan's figure at the banquet again. He also thought of how the other party had offended most of the important people in Zhangye in order to protect Ling Linger. I also thought that the other party would marry my former idol, Ling Qiyu. All of this echoed in her mind, making her really regretful. But it's too late to regret now. Since that day I mustered up the courage to give my first time to the other person. When the result was rejected, she then understood. Guyan really didn't love her anymore. Back to Chun Shan community. This is the house she bought. The Shen family is obviously a family of neither big nor small. But the intrigue and scheming are no less than that of the big families. It's too tiring and too hard. Shenwaner wants to be a strong woman and it's right for the Shen family to go global. But her family's lack of understanding made her very upset. Mingming's company is now on the right track with Shaolin's prescription. I believe her company will soon go global. Taking the elevator to 501. Shenwaner pushed open the door. I found that the door was not locked and the lights were on. She was stunned at first, then reacted. There was another person in this family. And that was Shaolin. So she took a deep breath. This was the first time she lived under the same roof with a man. Is this what is called cohabitation? However, Shaolin is just his bodyguard. And the gap between their identities is too big, so it is definitely not suitable. By the way, the other party seemed to have said that he was going to visit a patient. Did you finish reading it? I didn't come to work today and didn't ask for leave. I even gave him a formal written promotion to become my bodyguard. Following the light into the living room, Shenwaner looked for Shaolin. Shaolin, are you there? Chow. The sound stopped abruptly. Just see. Shaolin curled up on the sofa in the living room as if he had suffered a major blow. His face was pale, his pupils were terrified, and he kept muttering. It's not me, it's not me. I didn't kill anyone. Shenwaner was stunned for a moment, then rushed over. Shaolin, what's wrong with you? When Shaolin heard Shenwaner's voice, he finally reacted and looked up at Shenwaner who was running towards him. He cried, Waner? Shenwaner looked at the crying Shaolin and her heart trembled suddenly. Why? Why do I feel so sorry for Shaolin at this moment? Because the other party had always appeared to be very strong. So seeing Shaolin like this made her feel very sorry. She couldn't help but step forward and gently hugged Shaolin, letting him lean his head against her chest. Then she patted him gently. It's okay, what's wrong with you? What happened? Shaolin felt the warmth and his emotions gradually calmed down. Honor. Only. What the two didn't know was, at this moment, the image of the two people appeared on another hidden surveillance screen. The image looks like it was zoomed in and shot from a far distance, somewhere in a residential building that has been converted into a monitoring room. Guyan sat in front of a huge screen. The heartwarming scene between Shaolin and Shenwaner was playing on the screen. He nodded with satisfaction. Very good, the relationship between this couple is gradually heating up and everything is going according to plan. His men also disguised themselves and sneaked into the community, keeping a close eye on Shaolin and Shenwaner's every move. Next, just wait for the plot to develop. Chapter 153. Going to the BA family for warrior selection. Early the next morning, Ling family. At the entrance. Good morning, brother-in-law. You didn't stand me up today. It's worthy of praise. Ling Linger was ready, took her gain console and greeted Guyan happily. Guyan looked speechless at Ling Linger who brought a bag of snacks and a gain console. This you little brat, do you think we are going on a spring outing? At this time, Ling Qiyu also came down from upstairs holding the handrail. As soon as Guyan saw his wife, he was in a good mood for the day again. Good morning, Qiyu, you are still as beautiful as ever today. Even though I can't see, I walk as if I can see. What kind of nonsense literature is this? Ling Qiyu walked over here, feeling very pleased in his heart. But on the surface he still snorted coldly. I want you to say more. Then, she said to Ling Linger, be a good boy when you go to your friend's house. Don't show that you are uneducated. Did you bring any gifts? Linglinger said that she was still very afraid of her elder sister, even though she had a big fight with her sister yesterday. But now he is still worried that his stingy sister will take revenge on him later. So he couldn't even speak louder, picked up the snacks in his hand and said, I brought it. Quan Lan loves to drink want milk the most. Well, that's fine. Ling Qiu nodded slightly. Even though Linger was a bit naughty on weekdays. But I still know this rule. Although it's a bit strange to bring milk, snacks and a game console to someone else's house, but it's rare for Linger to go to her friend's house. So I must support her, not to mention it's a girl's home. That would make her feel more at ease. So she looked at Gu Yan again and reminded him, don't forget to pick up Linger when you go to pick her up this afternoon. Gu Yan became unhappy when he heard this, as if it meant that he would always stand Linger up. So he patted his chest and promised, I will definitely not forget it. Linger curled her lips and muttered, you'd better be. Did you say anything just now? Gu Yan looked over kindly. No, my brother-in-law is the best, of course he won't forget me. Linger smiled awkwardly, thinking that Gu Ziyu was really stingy. It was true that a husband is like his wife. My whole family bullies me. How abominable. Watch, I'll put Linger's bunch of snacks in the trunk. Then get back into the car and start it. Linger was swinging her legs in the car and humming an unknown song. Gu Yan felt strange. Why was the other party so happy today? So he asked, why are you so happy? Aren't you just going to see Bi Quan Lan? Don't you to see each other all the time? Hearing this, Linger subconsciously wanted to say that she was going to ask what it feels like to kiss, but she quickly realized that if she said that, Gu Yan might go to the emperor to file a complaint. So he closed his mouth and snorted, Zany Gu, you are old and don't understand the thoughts of young people at all. A corner of Gu Yan's mouth twitched. Am I considered old when I'm in my 20s? Forget it, I'd better not say anything more to this damn brat. Otherwise I will not be able to help but punch her twice. Thinking of this, he leaned against the car window and closed his eyes. Over time, Linger also felt a little bored, so she looked at Gu Yan beside her. I saw that the other person had his eyes closed and his breathing was steady, as if he was sleeping. So he reached out his hand to tease Gu Yan. But she seemed to have seen something, so she reached out and curiously took the thing out of Gu Yan's pocket. She took it out and saw that it was only half of a dragon-shaped jade pendant. Jade pendant. Linger was a little confused. Why was it only half a piece, and why did it look so strange? That's not right. This jade pendant, why does it look familiar? I seem to have seen this color somewhere. Linger couldn't remember it no matter how hard she tried. What are you doing with my things, little brat? Gu Yan suddenly woke up at this time. He took the Dragon King jade from Linger and then put it back into his pocket. Linger, who was caught, smiled awkwardly. No, I just thought this thing looked familiar, so I took it out to have a look. Hearing this, Gu Yan's eyes showed a hint of inexplicable meaning. And he deliberately asked back, oh, this thing is so rare. Can you find a second piece? Seeing that Gu Yan didn't believe it, Linger got a little anxious. You don't disbelieve it. I will definitely bring it to you when I remember it. Okay, I believe you, so don't disturb my sleep. Gu Yan waved his hand and closed his eyes again. This attitude made Linger very unhappy. She felt that her dignity was being trampled upon. So, you stinky bastard Gu, just wait for me. I will definitely bring a jade pendant that looks similar to this one and throw it in your face. Then you will know whether I lied to you or not. Bei family. Because of the Bei army, and because of the unspeakable relationship between the Bei family and the Dragon King Palace, all those who knew the inside story poured countless resources towards the other party, making it a first-class family in Zhanghe. It is an existence that all families in Zhanghe, big and small, only want to make friends with, not to make enemies with. At the front door, Bi Quan Lan and Ba Jun had been waiting here for a long time. As the luxury cars slowly stopped, Linger jumped out of the car. Good morning, Quan Lan. I'm here to play with you. She greeted Ba Quan Lan. The latter also rushed over happily and hugged Linger's arm. Sister Lingery have been waiting for you so hard. Linger scratched her head. There was nothing she could do. It was a bit time-consuming to organize the snacks, but it was no big deal. After that, I discussed with Bi Quan Lan what it feels like to kiss. That's not right. I hadn't finished the game when I came to play before. So let's play the game first and then talk about kissing. And there are so many snacks, I want to eat them too. I can't overeat at home because my sister is watching me. But it's no problem at Quan Lan's house, after all. My sister is not here. Gu Yan greeted Ba Jun. We meet again. Then he looked at Linger, who had been pulled into the house by Bi Quan Lan, and said, this little brat insisted on coming over to play it. It's just right. I also want to spend some time alone with King Qiu, so I sent him over to you. Ba Jun smiled awkwardly. not knowing how to respond. So he coughed and changed the subject. Gu Yan, you are still as unique as ever. I don't have anything to say, and I just want to tell you something. Gu Yan became interested after hearing this and asked, "What's the matter?" The Yi Jun continued, "Shen Yingyan has resigned. I plan to arrange her for the warrior selection meeting next January. Of course, she has been specially recommended by me. So she will have a green light all the way to the final talent test." When Gu Yan heard this, he smiled in his heart. I didn't expect Chen Yingyan to be so decisive. But this is also good. He looked at Ba Jun and said with a smile, "Warrior selection meeting? That's a very modern name you guys chose." The latter nodded. "It's not like before. Now we live in a society ruled by law. Warriors must go through special management. Every warrior has a special ID. We should keep up with the times and make it more formal." Gu Yan nodded, showing his understanding. "So the reason you told me this is..." Seeing that Gu Yan understood what he meant, Ba Jun said, "First of all, I think it's necessary for you to know about Shen Yingyan because you introduced her. The second is..." He glanced at Lao Gao, who was standing behind Gu Yan, then thought for a moment and said, "Every year at the warrior selection meeting, each warrior family will send a warrior to participate in this selection meeting as an examiner. I will be responsible for the selection of warriors in Zhangye. Chen Yingyan will also be in Zhangye to test his talent. And your Gu family will also need to send a warrior over. Speaking of this, I actually want to ask, are you interested in serving as an examiner? As an innate warrior, you have the absolute ability to be qualified for this position." Gu Yan thought about it and did not answer. He looked at Lao Gao and asked, "Who did our Gu family send in previous years?" Because in the original novel, in order to protect the eldest son of the Gu family, who was a loser in cultivation, he never revealed anything about warriors to the other party. Lao Gao smiled slightly and said, "They all sent me." Wow, they directly sent the master to be the examiner. They are worthy of being the Gu family. No, it should be said that Lao Gao really does everything. He is a housekeeper, an examiner and a bodyguard. It's worthy of you, Lao Gao. Gu Yan praised it in his heart, and the plot of the warrior selection meeting popped up in his mind. The warrior selection meeting was full of talented people, and Shaolin would have participated, because in the original book it was said that Shaolin was directly allowed to join the warrior department, which made everyone else very dissatisfied. So Shaolin took the initiative to say that he wanted to enter through the selection. In the end, he had to pretend to be cool and slap Long Aotin in the face. By the way, he entered the warrior department with the first place. In the plot, he also had an unclear relationship with a beautiful examiner. I just don't know if the other party will still participate now. And the warrior selection will be scheduled in January every year. It was just in time for him to wrap up the drama of the Gu family's annual party. This time is enough for him to do many things when the warrior selection comes. Gu Yan seemed to have thought of something and laughed in his heart. He nodded, "I agree." Ba Jun smiled, "Okay, thank you." In fact, he was also under pressure from his superiors, who said that the masters of the martial arts department all had strange personalities and were unwilling to serve as examiners for the martial arts selection meeting. However, every year the Gu family sends out master warriors to demonstrate their strength, which has a very bad influence. Therefore, he was asked that for the martial arts selection next year. Except for him, the chief examiner, who was a grand master. All the examiners sent by other large families must be below the grand master level. Alas, the personalities of the leaders of the warrior department are all very strange. Ba Jun said he was very tired. Chapter 150 for Yu Xingzu was found. Biao Xuanlan is ready to act. Left the Bei family. Gu Yan sat in the car and began to think about his follow-up plans. The warrior selection will be a relatively important plot that cannot be missed. This is directly related to the direction of his main plan. That is to say, replace Night. Gu Yan thought for a long time before finalizing this plan when he discovered that his pure love value could be used in various ways. He has already thought of the follow-up ideas. Since I don't want Ling Qingqiu to suffer the pain in the original novel again, then, he created a knight for himself and became the Night King. Becoming the Night King does not mean that he will really become the Night King in the original book. Instead, he just needs to make the public believe that he is the real Night King. As long as everyone thinks that he is the leader of the Night organization, it can directly replace Ling Qingqiu's knight. And what Gu Yan has to do after becoming the Night King is also very simple. That is to wipe out all of Ling Qingqiu's enemies in the original novel. When Ling Qingqiu discovered that her enemies were decreasing one by one, she might stop thinking about revenge. I know all the plots in the original novel. As long as I proceed step by step, I can absorb and integrate all the forces belonging to Ling Qingqiu in the original novel. Use their powers to take on stronger enemies. Then, he must be able to let Ling Qingqiu circumvent the original plot and let both of them survive. Finally create a happy ending. But what will I do with Kinkyu after we get married? Guyan has already thought about his subsequent development after success. And he will definitely buy a bigger house by then. Then I will live a happy and loving life with Kinkyu for the rest of my life. As for failure, or was there something unexpected that caused it not to go in the direction planned? Then, Guyan was silent. Let's talk about it when the time comes. There's no way, no one can guarantee what will happen in the future. Right? Especially, he recalled Ling Kinkyu's crying and seductive look in his mind. He coughed lightly, with an unnatural look on his face. Especially since the final villain has become like this. What else is impossible? And just at this moment, a voice came into Guyan's mind. It was the voice of Long Ziyan, the current lord of the Yama Palace. Master Yu Xingzu has been found. Those who have forgotten can read chapter 122. Hearing this, the corners of Guyan's mouth slightly raised. Not bad. Very good. Yu Xingzu was the cultivation genius that Guyan had asked the controlled Long Ziyan to find. The other party is also one of the later villains in the original novel, who was recruited by Ling Kinkyuyu. But now she is still an ordinary socially anxious female college student who wants to make many friends. As for how he turns evil according to the plot, it's about to begin. Thinking of this, Guyan said, Lao Gao, go to Rose Love. At the same time, he also made another call. Okay, master. The other side. Bei family. In Bei Quan Lan's bedroom. Click. The moment she entered, Bei Quan Lan locked the door. Langlinger was stunned. Quan Lan, why did you lock the door? As nervous as if she was caught doing something bad. Bei Quan Lan shifted her gaze away from Langlinger and naturally. Because I'm afraid of being disturbed. Sister Linger. You don't want someone to break in when we're playing, do you? Langlinger seemed to be thinking of the scene where she hid her cell phone and Guyan suddenly broke in. So he nodded repeatedly. Yeah, you are right. After saying that, Langlinger naturally lay down on Bei Quan Lan's bed. Yeah, I haven't come to your house to play for a long time. This bed is really comfortable. That's right, this is not the first time Langlinger has come to Bei Quan Lan's house. I'm already familiar with it. After she finished speaking, she chuckled and said, Quan Lan, come quickly, I brought a lot of snacks. We can play all day today. Today, Langlinger is wearing a cute JK uniform, black stockings on her legs, and a pair of round-to-ed leather shoes. At this time, the leather shoes were thrown casually on the ground, revealing Langlinger's feet, which became extremely seductive because of being wrapped in stockings. Seeing this, Bei Quan Lan swallowed unnaturally. Sister Linger, have you forgotten something? She asked as she walked forward. Pretending not to care, Langlinger thought about it. She sat up, looked at Bei Quan Lan and smiled. You are right. I forgot to tell you. Bei Quan Lan was already sitting beside the bed. Langlinger's unique scent began to enter my nose. She felt extremely excited inside. The smell of Sister Linger. This is the smell of Sister Linger. That's great. Now it's time to get down to business. As long as Sister Linger brings up that topic, I will take action. Come on, speak up, Sister Linger. Come on. Bei Quan Lan appeared extremely calm on the surface, but she was actually starting to get excited on the inside. Finally, Sister Linger came to her house to play again. This time, no matter what, we have to do what we should have done long ago. Oli. Langlinger picked up a controller and handed it to Bei Quan Lan. And said apologetically, Quan Lan, look at my memory. I haven't finished the game we played last time. Come on. This time I changed to a new model. It must feel great. Bei Quan Lan's mouth twitched as she looked at Langlinger, who was expecting her. For a moment, I couldn't help but sigh. Okay, Sister Linger. But it doesn't matter, as long as you pass the level. It's time to get down to business. Bei Quan Lan has already decided that no matter what happens today, nothing can stop her from doing what she is going to do. Chapter 155 Yu Xingzu, I just want to make friends. My name is Yu Xingzu. Because I was a bit socially anxious and introverted, I didn't make any friends in the entire 12 years from elementary school to high school. At first, some girls in my class asked me to go out with them, but because I was suffering from social anxiety and tension at that time, I rejected them all. I don't know when it started, but I don't have any friends around me. And even I have gradually gotten used to being alone. My mother works as a clerk in a medium-sized company. My father used to work on the construction site of Yanxing Group. But due to a construction accident, his lower body became paralyzed. The entire burden of the family fell on the mother alone. If you continue to be socially anxious and introverted, you may not even have the courage to find a job after graduation. With this idea in mind, I want to change myself. So, I asked my mom to take me to the beauty salon I always go to. And I changed my ugly black framed glasses and changed my previous braids. Changed into clean and beautiful clothes. Maybe I have a good foundation. So I look very beautiful when I dress up. At least. I made friends because of this. Rose Love. In a noisy private room. The table was filled with countless alcoholic drinks. 3 men and 2 women were trying to persuade a woman who was sitting alone on a sofa. This woman had long black hair that fell gently on her shoulders. She had discarded her original black framed glasses, revealing Yu Xingzu's clear eyes. These eyes are deep and bright, like clear lake water, intoxicating, and there is star-like light twinkling in the eyes. Her facial features are well defined and her fair skin has a faint glow. Her clothing style is simple yet sophisticated, exuding a youthful vibe. At this moment, she was holding a glass of drink in both hands. She looked at the drink hesitantly, then looked at her good friend who was sitting on the sofa hugging her and brought her out to play. Xi-Yumin, do you really want to drink? I've never drunk alcohol. Will I? The woman called Xi-Yumin was a woman wearing a miniskirt and heavy makeup. She was sitting in a man's arms and heard Yu Xingzu's words. He waved his hand and urged, Xiaozhu, what are you talking about? We are all adults, what's wrong with adults drinking a little? Come on, Xiaozhu, why don't you try it too? Besides, Xi-Yumin pretended to be angry and said, I brought you out to play and introduced you to so many friends, and you still don't give me face? As soon as these words came out, the rest of the people in the box also started to make noises. Yes, Yu Xingzu, since you are Xi-Yumin's friend, you are our friend. If you don't drink this glass of wine, does that mean you don't want to be friends with us? When Yu Xingzu heard this, she looked a little flustered and shook her head repeatedly. No, I didn't mean that. After she finished speaking, she looked at the full glass of wine in her hand with difficulty. Xi-Yumin is my good friend and she won't harm me. Even if I was drunk, I believe she would take me home. Yes, that's right. Amid the crowd's cheers, Yu Xingzu slowly raised the wine glass to her lips. After drinking this glass of wine, she closed her eyes, held her breath and drank it. I can make for more friends. As the spicy liquid flowed down her throat, Yu Xingzu felt her stomach burning and her face gradually turned red. Drinking didn't seem as difficult as Yu Xingzu had imagined. In less than a moment, she had finished the full glass of wine. She put down her wine glass, her eyes a little dazed. My body feels warm and comfortable. Yu Xingzu rubbed her face and subconsciously looked towards Xi-Yumin. Xi-Yumin, I'm done drinking. Before she finished speaking, her eyes widened. I saw my good friend Xi-Yumin, who had brought me out to play, was actually lying on the sofa with the man holding her. Not only her, but another friend of Xi-Yumin also started doing things that can only be seen in the video with the female companion she brought with her. You guys, what are you doing? Yu Xingzu felt something was wrong. She was about to stand up, but found that she felt weak all over. Even his mind was a little confused and he seemed about to fall asleep. Only now did Yu Xingzu realize that there was something wrong with the wine. Why? Yu Xingzu looked at Xi-Yumin in disbelief. Her heart was filled with panic. She recalled the previous scene where Xi-Yumin enthusiastically invited her to come out and play, and said that she had many friends to introduce to her. At that time, she didn't suspect anything, but just felt that this place called Rose Love was a little strange, but she still followed Xi-Yumin in. But why? At this time, the third man who had been silent stood up. He has been fiddling with something like a syringe on the table since a while ago. It was only now that he came over with a syringe. He looked at Yu Xingzu with a wicked smile. And when he saw her attractive face, he couldn't help but lick his lips. Xi-Yumin, the quality of what you brought this time is really good. Yeah, of course, give me more of that after this. Hey, I understand. The third man walked up to Yu Xingzu and grabbed her arm. Don't worry, you will feel happy soon. Yu Xingzu vaguely sensed what that thing was, and waves of fear rose in her heart. She struggled desperately. No, why are you doing this? She tried her best to look at her good friend Xi-Yumin who was standing beside her. Xi-Yumin, save me, please make him stop, please. She still held on to the last glimmer of hope in her heart, hoping that Xi-Yumin was still the good friend she knew. However, Xi-Yumin put a small pill on her tongue and looked at Yu Xingzu with disgust. You're so annoying. As soon as these words came out, Yu Xingzu's face turned pale and her heart felt as if it had fallen into an ice cellar. She couldn't believe her ears. They used to be such good friends and spent many wonderful times together. They confided in each other and shared happiness. She didn't know why Xi-Yumin became like this. Xi-Yumin looked at Yu Xingzu, with a hint of sarcasm in her eyes. As a countryman, you should have the consciousness of a countryman. Her tone was full of disdain and disgust. Do you know that what I hate most is your innocent look of pretending to know nothing? Xi-Yumin's words pierced Yu Xingzu's heart like a needle. She didn't know what she had done wrong, why Xi-Yumin hated her so much. Her tears could not stop flowing down, and she begged. Xi-Yumin, I don't know what I did wrong. Why did you do this to me? Aren't we good friends? Xi-Yumin's expression became even uglier. and her tone was full of anger. It's good that we are friends. Don't worry, there will be many friends who will communicate with you in the future. After saying that, Exayuman turned around and no longer looked at Yu Xingzu. See this scene. Yu Xingzu felt her heart broken into countless pieces. She didn't know what to do and could only let the tears blur her vision. Her heart was filled with pain and despair. Why is this happening? Then, the third man reached out and grabbed Yu Xingzu's hair to pull her head up, and then pointed the syringe at her neck. Don't move. You will not resist soon. As she watched the syringe getting closer and closer, the light in Yu Xingzu's eyes faded. Hey, big brother. You're finally starting. Come on, I'm ready. Another man raised his phone and pointed it at Yu Xingzu and the third man. When Yu Xingzu saw this scene, she felt even more desperate. Why is this happening? Why did this happen to me? The medicinal ingredients in the wine made Yu Xingzu's body gradually heat up, and her body gradually became limp and weak. It's over. It's all over. At this moment, Yu Xingzu already knew the cruel fate that was about to happen to her. Her body couldn't stop shaking, her heart was filled with endless fear and despair, and tears welled up in her eyes. She looked at her good friend Exayuman who was having fun over there, and recalled in her mind how the other person approached her and said that he wanted to be her friend. Now, its true face is revealed, so ugly, so awful, I don't know why. At this moment, the weak girl seemed to have regained strength, and surging resentment filled Yu Xingzu's heart. She screamed in her heart. Why? Why do you treat me like this? I hate it. I hate it so much. She clenched her fists tightly, her nails digging deeply into her palms, as if only this could help her alleviate some of the pain in her heart. However, her body involuntarily went limp and her fists gradually loosened. She felt so powerless and helpless that she could only let fate take its course. Yu Xingzu closed her eyes silently, waiting for the atrocity she was about to suffer. I am too weak. I don't even have the strength to push away the person in front of me. Who will come to save me? No one will know what is happening here. And just at this moment, a low yet seductive voice entered Yu Xingzu's mind. Do you want to gain power? The sudden voice startled Yu Xingzu. Do you want to kill these dirty people? The voice asked again. Yu Xingzu confirmed that she was not hallucinating. Her gurgle. No one noticed that a black sticky liquid began to seep out of the entire private room. Every corner was covered with black viscous liquid. Do you want to change yourself? When the sound appeared for the third time, Yu Xingzu didn't hesitate at all, choking and shouting. I want to, please help me. Satisfy you. The next second, under Yu Xingzu's shocked gaze, puff 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 puff. Snap. Crash. It was as if the world had frozen in time, and everyone present was silent except Yu Xingzu. Everyone's head suddenly exploded and broke into countless pieces of flesh and blood that splattered all over the room. Blood rain gushed out, and this horrifying scene instantly appeared before Yu Xingzu's eyes. Half of the man who was holding Yu Xingzu's hair slowly fell to the ground. Gurgle blood continuously gushed out from the gap in the head. Yu Xingzu's pupils suddenly contracted, and she opened her hands and touched her face. Her whole body was covered in blood. She made a meaningless sound. The sound was very low, as if it was squeezed out from her throat. The sound was unusually clear in the silent environment. She stared at the corpses on the ground with her eyes wide open, her body shaking uncontrollably, her breathing becoming rapid. Like a frightened bird, she covered her mouth tightly with her hands. Trying not to scream, her heart was beating so fast that it seemed like it was going to jump out of her chest. But, I should be very scared, but why? At this moment, in this environment, she felt an inexplicable excitement. Even her cheeks gradually turned red and her body began to heat up. She was very sure that it was not because of the drugs. Yu Xingzu's eyes were fixed on the corpses filling the room, as if she was admiring each piece of art. Don't want. She told herself in her heart not to look, not to think about it. But her body refused to obey her and she couldn't take her eyes off the corpses. She felt her body becoming lighter and lighter, as if she was about to float up. Why is this happening? A sick smile gradually formed at the corner of Yu Xingzu's mouth. She covered her face with her hands, and her sick eyes revealed through her fingers. So happy, so excited, what is this feeling? Chapter 156, this is the fourth thing. Claw cells. Pa. And at this time, as the applause sounded, a familiar voice appeared in the private room. Good performance. Hearing this voice, Yu Xingzu was startled and she looked up at the source of the voice. At some point, a person dressed in pure black night clothes and emitting a creepy malice was standing in a private room and clapping. Who are you? That voice just now. You did all this? Yu Xingzu's tone was a little weak, and she asked hesitantly. She found that this abnormal phenomenon did not seem particularly difficult for her to accept. Guyan stopped clapping and slowly walked towards Yu Xingzu. He didn't stop until he reached the other side. Guyan looked at the other person who was curled up on the sofa seeking a sense of security. It was as if the one who had just shown that morbid smile was not her. Gu Yan couldn't help but whispered, "You can say yes, but you can also say no." Yu Xingzu was a little confused. She couldn't see the face of the person in front of her clearly, as if it was covered by some mysterious power. "I clearly know that the person in front of me is very dangerous and is a villain who has killed so many people. It is even possible that it is an evil creature similar to the one in the novel. You can see it from the black liquid wriggling all over the ground. But why?" Plop, plop. Yu Xingzu covered her chest. Her heart was beating so fast. The person in front of her gave her a feeling she had never had before. The unknown, the power, and... Yu Xingzu raised her head and looked at Gu Yan. Although she couldn't see his face clearly. "But, can I follow you?" A sickly blush appeared on Yu Xingzu's cheeks. And when she looked at Gu Yan, she had a dazed expression. Hearing this, Gu Yan stretched out his hand, gurgle. A sharp claw wrapped around his index finger, and then pressed against Yu Xingzu's forehead. "Accept this power, and you will open up a new world." After hearing this, Yu Xingzu's mouth corners slightly raised. And her eyes looked extremely sick when she looked at Gu Yan. Half an hour later, countless police cars appeared and sealed off the Roselove venue. Chen Jiuoping was extremely troubled by the fact that his daughter Chen Ying had resigned. Suddenly a report call came in. The whistleblower had to process his voice, and even the phone number he called was invalid. The other party reported that Roselove showed signs of grey industry activities. "As long as you say the secret code, someone will be arranged to enter the special private room to provide the grey service, because this kind of thing is severely punished in Long Guo. So he took it very seriously and rushed here. Director Chen, there is indeed contraband trading in consumption. When we entered the room, they were just conducting a transaction of contraband. There are also hidden guns and so on. The boss of Roselove has confessed everything. Listen to the reports from your subordinates." Chen Jiuoping finally relaxed his brows. Finally there was good news. And at this time, "Oh no, Director Chen, come and take a look." A panicked voice sounded, causing everyone's expression to change. Chen Jiuoping led his men to rush over. But they saw a scene that they could never have imagined. Just see. In this private room in front of you, there were 5 headless bodies in total. They were all connected in series and hung on the wall. The blood formed a sentence below them. "Night will eventually destroy all evil." Director, what does this mean? Night will eventually destroy all evil. Chen Jiuoping's pupils shrank and a creepy feeling spread throughout his body. Even my breathing became slightly heavier. Night, it's night. The night from 5 years ago, it appears again. Even the words are the same as 5 years ago. In fact, ever since the death of the previous lord of the Yama Palace, the leaders of the warrior department have been speculating whether Night has returned. Was this something done by the Night organization? Originally he still had a glimmer of hope. But now, this glimmer of hope was also shattered. Night really came back. He clenched his fists and stared at the scene in front of him. No, this matter was no longer something they could interfere with. Night is really back. This matter must be handed over to the warrior department as soon as possible. A rooftop terrace on a high-rise building. Gu Yan stood at the edge of the rooftop. He looked into the distance and opened his palms. Buzz. Chirp, chirp. The Sansheng demon claw slowly emerged from the palm of his hand and let out a joyful cry. If you observe carefully, you can notice that the opponent's dragon energy seems to be stronger. That's right, the 3 lids demon claws absorbed 3 dragon auras again. The dragon energy coming from Yu Xingzu's eyes. This also makes the original power of the demon claw stronger. And it can even split its own cells to give others warrior abilities, thus achieving the artificial creation of natural warriors. I have to say that dragon energy is something that both the good and evil factions in the original novel are pursuing. The effect is indeed powerful. However, Yu Xingzu is a later villain in the original work after all, and his own luck index is not comparable to that of Long Ziaidian. Therefore the amount of pure love needed to fully control it is beyond Gu Yan's ability to afford. But he was not worried that Yu Xingzu would betray him. After all, in the original book, she was very grateful and respectful to the Night King who recruited her. Of course, betrayal doesn't matter. He has made preparations. The 3 lids demon claws, or the cellular structure of the claws, have spread throughout Yu Xingzu's body. This is a double-edged sword. A benefit is that these cells with a faint dragon energy can help organisms continuously nourish their bodies, and can also allow an ordinary person to become a cultivation genius in one fell swoop. Even if you are injured, the cells in the claws will quickly repair your wounds. Broken arms or legs, the claws can restore them to their original state over time. But the disadvantage of this is that as long as Gu Yan wants, he can directly manipulate the claw cells to destroy your entire body. It can be considered a means of controlling people, but it is not as complete as the control of pure love value. Thinking of this, Gu Yan glanced at Meizu, who was standing aside and was called over to act as a tool. He said slowly, "The fourth thing I have to tell you is to practice with her. If possible, let her observe your practice." Meizu heard this and looked at Yu Xingzu, who had fainted in her arms. She had many questions she wanted to ask Gu Yan. But he still nodded. "I know, but..." She looked at Gu Yan and said seriously, "The next time will be the fifth thing after I finish it. You must tell me where my brother is." Gu Yan nodded. "Of course, I always keep my word." "That's fine." Meizu said no more and took Yu Xingzu into the shadows. "Everything is ready." Gu Yan was not worried that others would tell Ling Qiyu about Yu Xingzu, because that was what he wanted to do. Although Ling Qiyu in the original novel is cold and ruthless, he has the greatest expectations and tolerance for things. That is talent. Yu Xingzu was one of the people she recruited because of her talent in the original novel. Its abilities are extremely terrifying after being nourished by the three dragon auras. Yu Xingzu has become an extremely terrifying villain in the original work. One of Gu Yan's goals is to allow Yu Xingzu to lay a solid foundation in the real Knight organization. The other is to let Ling Qiyu know that there is another Knight in this world. Gu Yan retracted his claws and took a deep breath. Everything went well. The next step was to wait for the birth of my own organization. I had asked my father for a group of death warriors before, and he had arranged for them to create an organization. It's about time. And at this time, after witnessing all this from behind, Lao Gao couldn't help but say, "Master, there is something I don't know whether I should tell you or not." "Go ahead, Lao Gao." Gu Yan understood that Lao Gao had many questions to ask. The rooftop is very dangerous. Even a congenital warrior would become disabled if he fell down. Gu Yan. That's enough, I really mean enough. Please don't interrupt my mood at this moment. Chapter 157. Yi shows up as expected. The Leng family will be the first suspect. Bei family. Snap, 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 snap. The game is going on fiercely. Half an hour later. Bei Quan Lan smiled on the surface. As long as she passed the level. 1 hour later. As long as you pass the level. 2 hours later. As long as you pass the level. 3 hours later. Dong dong. Sister, come out to eat with your friends. The White Army shouted at the door. The light in Ba Quan Lan's eyes disappeared. She looked at the time, then at the game on EV. And he looked at Ling Linger, who was standing beside him with an excited look on her face. "So why did you spend the whole morning playing games?" Biawan Lan wanted to cry but had no tears. "But it doesn't matter." She looked at the words clear, on the TV screen. "Afternoon. I'll definitely do it in the afternoon." "Sister Linger. Don't worry, my love for you will not be hindered by these little things." The lunch was cooked by the White Army, but I can't say it was delicious. All I can say is, it's so, not as delicious as my brother-in-law's. Glasses guy, why don't you take my brother-in-law as your master? Ling Linger wiped her mouth and giggled. This has always been her personality. She is not afraid of anyone except her sister. Bia Jun's mouth twitched. After all, he was a master, and he was a few years older than Gu Yan. Asking him to worship Gu Yan as his master, isn't this going against Tian Gang? So he coughed lightly and said nothing. There was no point in arguing with Gu Yan's sister-in-law. She didn't know that there were warriors in this world. Bi Quan Lan, on the other hand, also agreed. "Yes, brother. Just listen to Sister Linger." Rub. Bi Jun covered his chest with his hands, looking hurt, his expression becoming somewhat helpless. "Sister, it's a good thing that Ling Linger is a girl. Otherwise I would really think that you like her. But as an adult, I am a magnanimous person, so I won't argue with you two kids." He said helplessly, Yes, I will ask Gu Yan to be my disciple and learn martial arts from me when I have the chance." Buzz. At this time, the warrior department's special cell phone vibrated. Bi Jun's expression remained unchanged. He picked up his phone and stood up. "You guys eat first, I'll go answer a call." After the elders left, the atmosphere at the dinner table became more relaxed and comfortable. The two little ones started to fight. "Quan Lan, tell me the truth. Are you a brother Khan?" "Ah, Sister Linger is wronged. Why do you say that to me? I've read a lot of comic books. And you guys all like your brother." "You, Sister Linger, please stop talking nonsense. I'm not a brother complex. I really am not." Biawan Lan was almost crying with anxiety. The other side. Bei Jun answered the phone. A message came from the other end of the phone that made his expression change suddenly. He hung up the phone, clenched the phone, and his face looked extremely heavy. The Knight organization actually appeared in the world. The death of the Lord of Hades' palace was not an accident. It was really the Night King coming for revenge. In his mind, he recalled the forces that continued to pour into the rivers and seas because of the death of the Lord of Yama. The Bai Jun's expression became more serious. But Zhang He is still under his jurisdiction. Now the problem is huge. He sighed, thinking that he was indeed qualified for an extraordinary position in an extraordinary era. The Ling family must be the first suspect. Gu Yan, can you withstand this storm? The Night King is so cruel and brutal. And he is an evil heretic that endangers the world. If it was really done by the Ling family, Gu Yan, what will you do then? Ling family. Meizu knelt on one knee respectfully and reported the message in a heavy tone. The news of night was of great importance and soon spread to the ears of everyone who knew the inside story. Meizu also learned about this matter through special channels. After settling Yixingzu as Gu Yan had asked her to do, she immediately rushed to her master. What, you said night appeared again? And he killed 5 people? And left behind that sentence, the night will eventually destroy all evil. Ling Qingqiu was stunned when he heard the news. No, I didn't ask my subordinates to do anything else. Did I? Our Night King is still here. Where does the second night come from? So was it Yi who did it? How could she, the Night King, not know? So, that must not be night. So Ling Qingqiu sneered. Oh, a mere grain of sand dares to use the name of night. If they want to be the night, let them be the night. Ling Qingqiu believed that they were just a group of unknown people who wanted to use the name of Yi to harm others. It's not worth her considering it, let alone. This is actually better. Let that knight stand in the front, and their real knight stay in the back. From then on, no matter what the real Yi did, it would be blamed on the fake Yi. Just enough to protect her from the firepower. Although she didn't know why those imposters pretended to be Yi. But this was exactly what she wanted. A large number of warrior forces poured into the rivers and seas. Once this incident came out, she could hide behind the scenes and no one would be able to see her true identity. It's perfect, Atatachi. Thinking of this, Ling Qingqiu said in a deep voice. Go down, I will make the decision on this matter. When Meizu heard this, she was even more impressed by her master's wisdom. In just a few minutes, he had figured out how to deal with the fake night organization. It's like a god. No, the master is God. Thinking of this, Meizu was about to leave. Wait a minute. Ling Qingqiu seemed to have thought of something. So he suddenly said, recently has there been any dangerous situation around Gu Yan? Not that I care, it's just that he's an integral part of the plan. So you can't get hurt. Ling Qingqiu already felt regretful the moment she asked Gu Yan. Because she found that her tone was starting to get wrong again. And her image was about to collapse in front of her subordinates. The more you explain, the more distorted it becomes. Just shut up. After Meizu stopped, cold sweat broke out all over her body. Her expression was horrified and her heart was beating rapidly. Master, why would you ask this? Could it be that the master has already found out that I didn't protect Gu Yan? The transaction between him and Gu Yan was also discovered? Would it be that the master is testing her now? Testing her loyalty? Or something else? Meizu was in a very heavy mood at the moment. She was afraid that her master might have known about this matter for a long time. Asking this now is also to test her loyalty. If I tell the truth now, I might be a glimmer of hope. But, I no longer know the whereabouts of my brother. What should I do? What should I do? Ling Qingqiu was also very anxious. What happened? Why hasn't Meizu said anything yet? Could it be that something dangerous has really happened to Gu Yan recently? Finally, Meizu was ready to take a gamble. She lowered her head, her expression tense, and replied in a trembling voice. Master, the most dangerous time for Gu Yan recently was when he was in the hospital with Shaolin, the young master of the Dragon King Palace. At this point, Meizu immediately raised her head and forced a smile, saying, but don't worry, Master Gu Yan is protected by a master, and I secretly obstructed Shaolin, so Gu Yan was not harmed. I really didn't get hurt at all. Ling Qingqiu heaved a sigh of relief after hearing this. Oh, Shaolin, Gu Yan told her about it after he came back that day. It's true, fortunately, there are Meizu and the other party's master. Otherwise I really don't know what to do. But, I'm not really worried about Gu Yan. It's just because he is my nominal husband. And still, another me, our furnace is here. It's my furnace. Ling Qingqiu emphasized in his heart, feeling somewhat dissatisfied. Really, why does Xiaoling only appear when Gu Yan comes over? This made her feel very uncomfortable. Do you think you are Gu Yan's sensor? You can actually sense Gu Yan's breath faster than me. Although Xiaoling is my other personality, I just feel very unhappy. But before that, Ling Qingqiu also understood that Gu Yan must not know that Meizu was here. So Ling Qingqiu nodded slightly and praised him. Well done. Continue to protect Gu Yan in secret, and remember not to be discovered by him. Go down. Hearing this, Meizu felt as if she had been pardoned, and was sweating profusely. She quickly excused herself. Thank you, master. Chapter 158. This doesn't mean I like doing this kind of thing. Snap. The door was pushed open. Xiaoqing King Im here. Guyan strolled in with a smile on her face. How can I not be happy? The protagonist Xiaolin breaks up with the second female-led Wang Yilan in the original novel. A Hades Palace is in hand. The Peach Blossom Club is also about to be in hand. Even the brutal villain Yu Xingzu in the later period of the original work is in hand. Free Live's claws are in hand. The Knight organization already has high-level combat personnel. All we need to do now is wait for Demon Claw to establish the basic territory outline of the organization before we can officially start the action. If you forget who the Demon Claw and others are, you can read chapter 109. Leng Qingqiu was flipping through the Braille book, and it was impossible to tell that he was discussing important organizational matters with Mei Zhu. To be honest, when she heard that Guyan was coming, she was a little excited. But no, why is the Night King crying? Making a fuss and laughing in front of a man all the time. She naturally has her own reservedness. As for Guyan, because he and Leng Qingqiu were talking to each other, the amplitude of his movements was a little bigger. He sat down on the chair next to Leng Qingqiu very naturally, then stretched out his evil hand and touched Leng Qingqiu's little hand. Asshole, he started to touch me right away. Leng Qingqiu deliberately frowned and resisted for a while, but soon stopped this action, turned his head to look at Guyan, and asked calmly, "Are you back? Why did it take so long to send Linger off?" Calculating the time, it's already time for lunch. In fact, ever since she started practicing the evil scripture, she no longer needs to eat. You only need to absorb the true energy of heaven and earth to fill your stomach. However, in order to pretend to be a normal person, she would still eat 3 meals a day in front of Leng Linger. Especially when Guyan came to cook, even though I didn't have to eat it. I just couldn't help but want to eat it because it was so delicious. Hearing this, Guyan wrapped Leng Qingqiu's small hand with both hands and kneaded it gently. Then said, "Qingqiu, the Bi family has a good background after all, and the eldest son of the Bi family, Bi Jun, is the youngest master in the warrior department. Although the Grand Master is not a rare thing for our Gu family, I am the eldest son of the Gu family and the future head of the Gu family, and I must communicate with the other party. So well, you know?" Leng Qingqiu snorted softly when he heard this. "You have too many excuses." Speaking of this, Leng Qingqiu felt a little hesitant again. There is something I don't know whether I should ask Guyan. Because she knew that the Gu family had a set of institutional guidelines for selecting heirs. Although voting for an heir seems a little ridiculous, but for a large family like the Gu family, this voting system is more like a way to screen loyal objects. Although Guyan seems to have been rejected twice, this year should be his last chance. If the other party is unable to inherit the Gu family and his status in the Gu family plummets, then it is not a big deal. At worst, she could just support Guyan. She could still afford to support just one Guyan. Furthermore, if Guyan really wants to become the heir of the Gu family, it's not like she can't help. So he asked again, "Guyan, do you really want to inherit the Gu family? If you really want to, will the Gu family really let you be one? As long as Guyan wants it." Leng Qingqiu said he would definitely help him get on it, even if he had to use some despicable means. However, Guyan started to make moves without any concern. While playing with Leng Qingqiu's little hand, he began to squeeze closer to Leng Qingqiu. "Actually, I don't care. After all, my father is the current head of the family. With my father's ability, there is no need to worry about my status in the Gu family changing. Secondly, Qingqiu, you know about the Yan Xing Group's banquet. There is something I didn't tell you because of some things at the banquet. I offended a lot of people in Zhangye City. My reputation has become even worse now. Especially there is a relatively important person who can vote. I think her name is Zizi or something, a daughter of the Z family. I beat her and put her in the hospital. Then on the night he was hospitalized, he was suddenly strangled to death by his own bodyguard. After the bodyguard was found murdering someone, he cried and said that it was because the daughter of the Z family was arrogant and domineering and always bullied him and insulted his personality. So he couldn't help but kill her. Now, the Z family is in chaos, and they will definitely not support me at that time. When he said this, Guyan had already put his face close to Leng Qingqiu's shoulder, absorbing the Qingqiu energy from the other person with an infatuated expression. The smell of Qingqiu's body is so sweet. It's like sweet juice, I can't help but want to inhale it like this. Leng Qingqiu was still thinking about Guyan's words. She could tell that Guyan actually didn't care whether he was the controller of the Gu family or not. As for the Z family's daughter, Leng Qingqiu naturally knew. Zzhi Lan was the idiot who insulted her own sister at the banquet. At night, she ordered her subordinates to kill him by controlling the bodyguards around him. In general, the grudge for insulting my sister has been resolved. Of course, Leng Qingqiu has never forgotten one thing. That is the eldest daughter of the Shen family, Shen Weiner's younger brother Shentian. That idiot had attacked her own sister directly at K worker V before. Which really made her want to skin and pull out the tendons of that beast named Shentyan with her own hands. But considering that the other party was the younger brother of the woman Guyan had pursued before, she did not act trashly. But if she doesn't get rid of Shentyan, her killing intent will never subside. I don't know whether Guyan cares about whether Shentyan lies or dies. Ling Kinkyu frowned because she felt like a hissing hot air was gushing out from her neck. Kinkyu, my Kinkyu. You smell so good, you smell so good. I love you so much. I snort. Ling Kinkyu came back to his senses and immediately pushed Guyan away in anger. You pervert, stop going crazy here. Damn it, I'm overthinking it all. But this guy is still thinking about that kind of thing. Guyan, who was pushed away, looked very aggrieved. He wiped the corner of his mouth and said innocently, Kinkyu, there are only two of us in this house now. It's rare that Linger is not here. Shouldn't we have some time to be intimate? Ling Kinkyu listened to this twisted logic and clenched her fists in shame and anger. Who wants to be intimate with you? It's because you've always wanted to do this kind of thing with me. That's why I've never been able to do my real work. That's right, the culprit who delayed the organization's progress has been found. And it's Guyan. Guyan waved his hands and argued. Kinkyu, the occasional hormonal collision can actually improve work efficiency. Ling Kinkyu curled his lips and sneered. I don't believe it. Guyan was furious when he heard this. He stood up suddenly and said, Don't believe it? If you don't believe it, why don't we try it with our mouths? Ling Kinkyu slowly put a question mark, and rubbed his eyebrows. Speechless lie. Guyan, I know that what I said in front of Linger before may have caused you some misunderstandings. But, she said with a stern face, this doesn't mean that I like to do this kind of thing. Another me, for our night's development plan, and to deal with the forces pouring into the river and sea. I think we need to seize the time to improve our strength. Ling Kinkyu. 3 minutes later. With Guyan's half-hearted consent and Xiaoling's assistance, an ambiguous sound was heard from the study. Ling Kinkyu hooked Guyan's neck with an embarrassed look on her face. This was just to improve her strength. It's all about the development of the organization. After all, I am the Night King. Only when your own strength is improved can the strength of your subordinates also be improved. That's right, I do this all for night. Chapter 159. Another me you will regret. Ling Kinkyu restrained herself this time. So she didn't make Guyan faint. She gave herself a thumbs up in her heart. And realized that she was able to grasp the right measure after becoming proficient. Oh no, it can't be called proficiency. It can only be called a habit? That's not right either. As Ling Kinkyu thought about it, his mind became confused again. How hateful. It was all Guyan's fault. The cricket wants this and that for the same cauldron. Just make requests, but are so perverted that they can't be any more perverted. After finishing, Guyan, who was sitting aside recalling what it felt like to kiss his beloved wife, suddenly shuddered all over. He felt as if someone was emitting a wave of malice towards him. Guyan turned his head to look at Ling Kinkyu, but the other party was reading a book seriously. Oh, it's an illusion. Guyan shook his head, although he really wanted to unlock the various XP systems in his mind with his good wife. But unfortunately, as soon as he blurted out the words, he was interrupted by a punch from the furious Ling Kinkyu. Let me ask myself, are my demands too abnormal? For example, one of the requirements. Because I have been doing time-consuming, labor-intensive and brain-consuming work recently. The pressure is increasing. So I just want some XXX or something like that Ling Kinkyu took off. When you feel tired, take it out and look at it or smell it. And you will feel energetic all day long. It was just such a normal request. Why would Ling Kinkyu call him a pervert and disgusting? Guyan didn't understand and felt very wronged. Ling Kinkyu's response to this was, are you still feeling wronged? But it doesn't matter. There is still a long way to go. Guyan believes that as long as he continues to improve his favorability, Kinkyu will definitely agree to his ordinary requests. Well, until then. Guyan looked at Ling Kinkyu, who was sitting next to him reading a book, but the blush from just now still lingering on her cheeks. He coughed lightly. Kinkyu, don't you feel bored reading all the time? Whenever Guyan asked this kind of question, it meant that the other party wanted to do something to hinder her organization's plans. Ling Kinkyu sneered at this. I'm not bored at all. Didn't you say that the collision of hormones can improve efficiency? Yeah, it is true. I feel like I can read several times faster now than before. So Guyan, just sit aside quietly and don't disturb me. Okay? Talking after a kiss is tough. Has the feeling of increased strength made you feel calm now? Xiaoling suddenly interrupted. Ling Kinkyu's eyes twitched. And a feeling of shame and anger suddenly surged in his heart. Xiaoling, what do you mean? Why do you always interrupt me? Do you know that I am the dominant one in this body? Ling Qingshuayu cursed in shame and anger in her heart. What a rebellion! The personality of the cricket is actually going to devour its master. I am just stating the facts, and haven't you noticed that the increase in strength has been much slower than before? You need new ways to improve efficiency. Ling Qingshuayu was very disdainful of this. Do you understand, or do I understand? Xiaoling, just shut up and watch. Another me, you will regret it. Xiaoling, I am the master personality. After criticizing Xiaoling, Ling Qingshuayu was in a good mood. Bu Yan didn't know that Ling Qingshuayu had so many thoughts in his mind. He just felt a surge of shame, anger, and sudden happiness and comfort in his heart. This made him feel strange. So what did Qingshuayu mean? But it bo. Bu Yan understood, this was a tactic of playing hard to get. So Gu Yan approached again with a calm face. Qingshuayu. My Qingshuayu, do you still remember the last time Linger and I went out shopping and bought a lot of things? Among them, I bought a lot of your clothes, so what I want to ask is, can you try them on for me to see? Ling Qingshuayu was slightly stunned when he heard this. This reminded her that Gu Yan had bought a lot of things before. Sofas, wardrobes, kitchenware, clothes, televisions, and game consoles. I also bought a bunch of clothes and put them all in the cloakroom on the other side. But change clothes for Gu Yan to see. I always feel that Ling Qingshuayu feels very ashamed. Moreover, for some reason, Ling Qingshuayu felt something was very wrong when these ordinary words came out of Gu Yan's mouth. I always feel that the other party has bad intentions. So, no. Not to mention that I can't even see what clothes you bought for me. It would be bad if it was something particularly perverted. Ling Qingshuayu shook his head and rejected it. Seeing this, Gu Yan became anxious and took the other person's hand and persuaded him. Qingshuayu, they are just some ordinary clothes. Linger chose it with me. Just this once, can you just change your clothes? And I'll leave you alone. Good wife, think about it. I will feel uncomfortable if you don't change your husband. Whenever I feel uncomfortable, I will beg you to change. If you don't change, I will continue to feel uncomfortable. If you keep feeling bad, I'll keep bothering you. You won't be able to study well if I continue to bother you. If you don't study hard, you won't be able to. Ling Qingshuayu's head was about to explode. So he quickly interrupted. Stop. She looked up at Gu Yan with a hint of helplessness. Are you sure it's just this once? After I change, will you shut up and stop bothering me? Gu Yan saw that there was hope. So he nodded repeatedly. Of course, I keep my word. After hearing this, Ling Qingshuayu thought that it was no big deal as she was just changing her clothes for Gu Yan to see. After the change, I was able to calm Gu Yan down no matter how you look at it. I won't lose out. So he snorted and said, okay, just this once. The other side. Bei family. After lunch, Ling Linger and Bai Quan scored twice. The former took out another game and smiled at Bai Quan. Quan, look, this is the latest version of World of Warcraft Lulu. You can also catch pets and build houses online. Let's play together. Today's goal is to level up and catch monsters. Seeing this, Bai Quan slowly put a question mark. She looked at the game cover and the controller in her hand and fell silent. This game is not a level-breaking game at all. This is obviously an open development game. If I play this, I don't know when I can do that kind of thing with Sister Linger. Bai Quan was silent, with a look of confusion in her eyes. Ling Linger's mind was so full of games and snacks that she gradually forgot the main purpose of coming to Bai's house today. She looked at the silent Bai Quan, wondering if she didn't like the game. So he asked hesitantly, Quan, do you not like this game? How about changing to another one? Change to a... No, that's not the case. It shouldn't be like this. Bai Quan clenched her hands together as she missed today. She didn't know when she would have the chance to be alone with Sister Linger like this again. Since I have that half of the jade pendant, I am destined to be a partner with the person named Shaolin. I don't want that kind of thing. The person I like is... Bai Quan couldn't bear it any longer. She suddenly raised her head and looked at Ling Linger, crying with tears in her eyes. Sister Linger, I can't bear it anymore. Ling Linger was stunned. Next second, Bai Quan bit her lips slightly and pounced towards Ling Linger. Thump. Huh? They both fell on the bed. Ling Linger was bewildered as Bai Quan pressed her down. A little head is confused. Wait a minute. What is going on now? Chapter 160. My brother-in-law also has this jade pendant. A second success in the cloakroom. Snap. Bai Quan tears kept falling on Ling Linger's face. She pursed her lips and looked at Ling Linger without saying a word. Quan, what's wrong with you? Ling Linger was a little stunned. She had never seen Bai Quan like this before. Bai Quan wanted to blurt out that the person she has always liked is you, Sister Linger. And after I tell others, how will Sister Linger look at me? I wonder if the other person will look down on me because my sexual orientation is female. What if I have no friends to do by then? For a moment, Biao Lan's courage was deflated again. She closed her eyes, shook her head, and said in a choked voice, "Sorry, Sister Linger. I thought about my engagement. I have to marry the man I don't like." When Lang Linger heard this, she immediately recalled the man named Xiaolin who had attended the Yan Xing group's banquet. Quan Lan's elder brother seemed to have said that Xiaolin and Quan Lan were engaged. For a moment, she stood up and hugged Ba Quan Lan, shouting, "Quan Lan, if you hate it, then I will help you too. What era is this still about arranged marriages? I'll talk to my brother-in-law later, ask him to teach Xiaolin a lesson. Let him know what it means Toad should not dream of eating swan meat. Quan Lan, don't be sad, we are all on your side." The heartwarming words seemed to be the same as when he first met Lang Linger. Biao Lan kept dropping little pearls and hugged Lang Linger with sobs. "Sister Linger, actually this is not what I want to say. And I'm afraid that after I say it you'll leave me. This is fine, I'll be content as long as I can be close to Sister Linger." After a good comfort, Bei Quan Lan's mood also calmed down. She wiped her tears, picked up the controller and said to Lang Linger, "Sister Linger, I'm fine, let's continue playing." However, as she was talking, Bei Quan Lan noticed that Lang Linger's eyes were always on her neck. "Sister Linger?" Bei Quan Lan was a little confused. She looked down and saw that her jade pendant had fallen out of her neck at some point. Seeing Lang Linger staring at it, she held it in her hand, her eyes becoming a little lonely. "Do you care about this? I should have told you before, Sister Linger, this is actually..." The words haven't finished yet. Lang Linger suddenly shouted, "Ah, I remember now, I was wondering where I had seen that jade pendant." She suddenly excitedly grabbed Ba Quan Lan's jade pendant and looked at Ba Quan Lan with shining eyes. "Quan Lan, my brother-in-law also has a jade pendant made of the same material. His piece is a dragon head jade pendant, and yours looks like the other half. Look, yours looks like a dragon's tail. It seems to be a perfect match for him. And you lend me this piece? I'll take it back and show it to my brother-in-law." As soon as these words came out, the sudden sadness disappeared immediately. And at this moment, the only thing left in Ba Quan Lan's mind was, "No, what's the matter? The other half is with your brother-in-law?" Ling family. In the cloakroom. Because of Guyan's large-scale purchasing, this place is already filled with Lang Qiyu and Lang Linger's clothes. The difference between the two clothes can be seen at a glance. Most of Lang Linger's clothes are youthful, cute and cool, and there are even some COS costumes. Lang Qiu's clothes are more mature and domineering. Lang Qiu casually walked to a familiar place and reached out to explore. Being well-read, she could tell the material of the clothes just by touching them, which showed that the clothes were very expensive. However, as he touched it, Lang Qiu sighed slightly in his heart. Ever since she destroyed her own eyes, she has actually never paid special attention to the matching of clothes again. After all, you can't see it, and her philosophy has always been that wearing nice clothes is for yourself to see. When you see your beautiful self, your mood will also improve. But now, I no longer have that feeling. Turning his head to look at Guyan who was standing at the door, Lang Qiu said softly, "Close the door and go out. I want to change my clothes." Guyan heard this, with an inexplicable look of anticipation on his face. He asked cautiously, "Qiu, can I watch you change?" Lang Qiu immediately failed, and said with a look of shame and anger, "No. Damn you, bastard, why do you want to ruin the atmosphere when people are feeling sad? Just look at the atmosphere." Snap. Guyan was driven out disappointedly, sighing loudly as he walked out. Lang Qiu started choosing clothes angrily. She couldn't see, but she could construct the appearance of the clothes in her mind through touch. Lang Qiu said that she just wanted to change her clothes quickly so that Guyan, the pervert, could see them and study quietly. She picked one up, touched it, and nodded, "Just pick one at random." Then, 1 hour later, Guyan, who had been squatting at the door and watching short videos for an hour, finally heard the sound from inside the house. "You can come in now." When Guyan heard this, his face lit up with joy. He immediately stood up, opened the door and walked in. I don't know if it was because Lang Qiu stayed in the cloakroom. So as soon as Guyan entered, he found that the whole room was filled with Lang Qiu's familiar body fragrance. Of course that's not the point. His eyes quickly turned to Lang Qiu. But he was stunned for a moment. Lang Qiu was wearing a dark black turtleneck sweater with a pair of jeans that highlighted her straight long legs. And she cleverly wrapped the sweater inside the jeans. She wore a slim gray windbreaker on the outside, and the overall look was simple yet fashionable. Lang Qiu's lips slightly raised with an elegant smile. She simply crossed her hands over her chest, her every move exuding confidence and composure. her whole person exuding a unique charms. He tapped her slipper-ed feet and chuckled. How is it? I'm too lazy to change my shoes because I'm at home. Once these words were spoken, coupled with Lang Qingqiu's already cold and beautiful face and temperament, Gu Yan just stood there in a daze. And plop, plop, plop. His heart was beating abnormally violently. This version of Lang Qingqiu. He has never seen it before. It feels so fresh. No, I can't do it anymore. Qingqiu, I really can't help it. You are so beautiful. Lang Qingqiu was still waiting for Gu Yan's evaluation. When she heard Gu Yan's exaggerated praise after waiting for a while, she couldn't help but feel a little excited. He raised his head slightly and snorted. Need you to say more? Now you are satisfied, But the words were not finished. She then found her hands pressed against the closet. And a warm breath came up. She didn't know when Gu Yan had already run to her side. Lang Qingqiu lost his fighting ability in an instant. Bastard. So you were waiting for me here? Another me. My efficiency has improved a lot. I see you've already thought of a solution. Xiaoling, shut up. It's not what you think. Lang Qingqiu wanted to resist in her heart, but she was too weak to do anything at the moment and was powerless to resist. The two scored twice again. Chapter 161. I don't want it anymore. I'll give it to you. My family. When Bai Quan Lan heard that Sister Linger's brother-in-law also had a jade pendant similar to hers, she was confused. Why is the other half with Linger's brother-in-law? Shouldn't it be Xiaolin's? The reason why Bai Quan Lan was so confused actually started when her mother gave her the jade pendant. Her late mother once said that whoever possessed the other half of the jade pendant would be her destined child. We will definitely become a couple in the future. But suddenly, his father said that he actually had an engagement letter. And the person he was engaged to was Xiaolin. Moreover, the other party had the other half of the jade pendant in his hand. At the banquet that day, my brother confirmed this and made it clear that he and Xiaolin were engaged. So Bai Quan Lan subconsciously thought that the jade pendant must be on Xiaolin, even though she didn't see it at the time. Moreover, as she grew older, she actually found that she didn't want to become the other person's partner just because of this inexplicable jade pendant. But what is the situation now? The owner of the engagement letter is Xiaolin, but the owner of the jade pendant is Gu Yan. Bai Quan Lan's mind was a little confused. Wait a minute, let me sort this out. Gu Yan is Sister Linger's brother-in-law, and the husband of the legendary figure Lang Qingqiu. The jade pendant is in Gu Yan's possession according to his mother's last words. The owner of the jade pendant is her destined son and they are destined to become lovers in the future. In other words, I will become Gu Yan's wife, so the relationship is that I will become the wife of Lang Linger's brother-in-law? In other words, I will become Linger's sister. Yes. But what should Lang Qingqiu do? And this Gu Yan is my brother's friend. Bai Quan Lan hugged her head, feeling very confused. I don't want this. This is horrible. Even though I am not a sexually normal person, I know this situation is outrageous. Why did the plots in comic books and novels happen to me? Could it be that Gu Yan was the type to have a harem? Will I become one of Gu Yan's harem? Is he going to be the man who becomes the harem king? Or will he, according to the predetermined course of fate, snatch Gu Yan from Lang Qingqiu, Linger's sister? Open. What a joke. We otters are just talking big. How can we really put it into practice? Even Sister Linger can really take any action. Lang Linger looked at Bai Quan Lan, who seemed to be in a brainstorm, with a worried expression. Quan Lan, what's wrong with you? If you don't agree, then I don't want it. As she said this, she wanted to return the jade pendant to Bai Quan Lan. No, wait a minute. Bai Quan Lan immediately stopped Lang Linger and held Lang Linger's hand. He stared at her intently, and when her expression became a little strange, he slowly said, Sister Linger, I don't want this jade pendant anymore. I'll give it to you. As soon as these words came out, Lang Linger was slightly stunned. Give it to me. No, so suddenly? Just give it to me? Isn't this not good? Lang Linger was somewhat reluctant to take away other people's things like this. After all, from what Xia Yugu said, the jade pendant should be very expensive. She thought that Bai Quan Lan chose to give it to her out of consideration for their friendship. Good, that's great, Sister Linger. Bai Quan Lan shook her head fiercely, then held Lang Linger's small hand and held the jade pendant tightly. Then he smiled with a smile that showed he had thought of everything. Sister Linger, listen to me. When you go back, give this jade pendant to your brother-in-law. Just say it's a thank you gift from your brother-in-law who came to K-Work to save me. Besides, there's a high chance that this jade pendant of mine is a compatible model for your brother-in-law's jade pendant. If your brother-in-law doesn't want to repair it, then you can ask him to give it to your sister. They each have one piece. Isn't that meaningful? When Lang Linger heard this, she wondered, can this be possible? But thinking about it more carefully, Hey, it seems to be a good way to improve the relationship between my sister and the little guy. Let's do this. So Lang Linger took the jade pendant and hugged Bi Quan Lan happily. Quan Lan, you are so good to me. He. What's the relationship between me and Sister Linger? No need to thank me for such a small thing. Bi Quan Lan also went up to him and said with a smile. She also gave herself a thumbs up for her wit. That's great. Now I finally got rid of this jade pendant. Finally, I don't have to be bound anymore. The best of both worlds. Simply perfect. In a good mood, Bei Quan Lan started spending the afternoon with Lang Linger again. Time passes slowly. It was afternoon. Lang family. Cloakroom. Lang Qingqiu's face was slightly red, and her clothes had obvious wrinkles from being pulled. She put her finger to Guyan's lips and whispered. Okay, it would be impolite to continue. Ling, or still has to pick her up. After sucking up a lot of Guyan's liquid, Lang Qingqiu finally felt comfortable. She probably wouldn't have any urge to have love affairs with Guyan today, or even for many days to come. Even the cult book in my mind let out a whimper as if it was too full. It takes a lot of time and energy to digest this energy. After absorbing enough Qingqiu energy, Guyan's face was full of joy and he felt very comfortable inside. I guess until today I won't have the urge to have love affairs with Qingqiu anymore. It's hard to say about tomorrow, but we'll talk about tomorrow. He nodded and gently took Lang Qingqiu's hand. Okay. I'll listen to you, Qingqiu. You wouldn't do something like this all of a sudden. Lang Qingqiu snorted, and then warned, I'm telling you, I really need to study hard in the next few days. Don't come to the Lang family just to do this kind of thing next time. If you absorb too much at one time, you must digest it well. Guyan assured again and again, isn't it because Qingqiu you are so charming? But don't worry, I have some things to do later, so I may not bother you Qingqiu for a few days. A family annual meeting will be coming soon, and I have to make some preparations for it. But with today's clear autumn energy, I'm sure I can endure it for a few days. After hearing this, Lang Qingqiu felt a little unhappy. I just told you not to come to the Lang family just to do this kind of thing. I'm not stopping you from coming. What does that mean? She shook off Guyan's hand and snorted, oh, you should go pick up Linger. After saying that, Lang Qingqiu shook her hair and left the cloakroom. Only Guyan was left with a confused look on his face. Wait? Why are you suddenly angry? If you are upset, your wife will be angry. Even if I am not annoyed anymore, my wife will still be angry. Guyan took a deep breath. But I should say it or not. Qingqiu looks like this. In short, she is very cute. I like this. He quickly shouted at Lang Qingqiu's back. Qingqiu, I love you so much, I will come back as soon as I'm done. Lang Qingqiu, who had walked not far out, paused for a moment when he heard this. Her eyelashes trembled slightly, she pursed her lips, and murmured softly, idiot. And he smiled and walked into the study happily. In order to get revenge and deal with subsequent situations, I have to improve my strength as soon as possible. Chapter 160 to Ba Jun's reminder. The other half of the Dragon King Jade is obtained. It was afternoon. It was rare that Guyan did not forget to come and pick up his sister-in-law, because Lang Linger was still packing up her game console. She hadn't come out yet, but the Bi army had already been standing at the gate, as if waiting for Guyan to come. After getting off the bus, Guyan greeted him. Brother Ba, are you so polite? You came specially to greet me. Hearing this, Bi Jun adjusted his glasses and glanced at Lao Chao behind Guyan. Still nodded and said, you can say that, because there is something I think I need to let you know. Oh, what's so serious? Guyan had roughly guessed something in his mind and pretended to be interested. After thinking about it in my mind for a moment again, Bi Jun decided to remind Guyan about the recent changes in the situation in Zhangha. Not only because he has already regarded Guyan as a close friend, but more importantly, the warrior department will also investigate the Lang family later. In order to prevent Guyan from feeling disgusted, he chose to reveal some things to Guyan directly, because this matter is so secretive. Bi Jun lowered his voice slightly, since you and I, Guyan, are both warriors, especially since you are the eldest son of the Gu family. You must know some things that are not disclosed to the public. What I want to talk about is actually about your lover, Lang Qingqiu and the Lang family. Guyan heard this. His expression remained unchanged, he just asked back. Is he back? As soon as these words came out, Bi Jun smiled bitterly and nodded. Sure enough, you already knew it. That year, the major forces actually massacred and wiped out not the Ling family, but an existence called Yi. That night, the largest demons laying for Sever assembled was dispatched. Whether it's the positive or negative forces, official forces or civilian forces, all of them have been defeated. The purpose is to wipe out an organization called Night. According to the news, the owner of Night, King Yi, is in the Leng family. Everyone knows the principle of catching the leader first. But, Bi Jun sighed when he said this, as if he was pitying the ordinary people who were affected by this incident. It's just because no one knows which one of the Leng family the Night King is. In order to force the other party out, some forces have taken some irrational actions. It endangers some ordinary people. Finally, the Night King showed up on his own initiative, and all the forces worked together to defeat the other side. We thought that this was the end of the matter. The Night Organization reappeared again in Zhangchai not long ago. When Bi Jun said this, his tone was very solemn, and this also led to a large number of ancient martial arts forces pouring into Zhangchai, for no other reason than to investigate whether Yi has reappeared in the world. And the first suspect is the Leng family. Bi Jun usually wouldn't reveal such things, but Gu Yan was different. The other person's philosophy is the same as yours, especially since you have seen his loyalty to the things he wants to protect. So he concluded that the other party must be a chivalrous person, a good person. In addition to the forces in the ancient martial arts world, relevant personnel from the warrior department will also go to the Leng family to investigate. I'm telling you this in advance just in case there's any misunderstanding. Bi Jun finished speaking and watched quietly to see how Gu Yan would react. Gu Yan understood everything, even though they were things he had already known. But he gave the White Army a kind smile. Good, this news is really important. If you need my help in the future, I will never refuse. Bi Jun nodded. In short, it's best not to conflict with various forces. Otherwise, even if you are Gu family. At this point, Bi Jun fell silent. No martial arts force could survive the siege of martial arts forces from all over the world. Gu Yan nodded, indicating that he would definitely not do anything irrational. Next second, snap, brother-in-law, the door was pushed open. Linglinger ran over while pulling the game console and swinging the jade pendant given to her by Bi Quan. When she saw Gu Yan, she shouted, brother-in-law, look. She ran over swinging the jade pendant in her hand. Bi Jun was also nearby, and he was just about to say let's stop talking about this. As a result, the moment he turned his head, he saw the jade pendant in Linglinger's hand. His pupils shrank and cold sweat began to break out on his back. Wait. Bi Jun quickly looked at his sister's neck. But there was nothing there. He looked at Bi Quan again. And the other party turned her head away guiltily. Sister, what the hell are you doing? Bi Jun cursed at his own sister in his heart. Which was rare. No, you are confused. That thing is the Dragon King Jade. When Dad comes back and sees you gave the Dragon King Jade to the Leng family, he will be scared to death. Bi Jun was sweating profusely. The Dragon King Jade was safe and sound in his sister's hands because this half-piece was handed to their Bi family by the former Dragon King himself. If people knew that this half-piece fell into the hands of Linglinger or the Gu family, what will other forces think? Do you think that the next leader of the Dragon King Palace will come from the Leng family or the Gu family? Now the Gu family and the Leng family seem to be very close. In addition, a large number of warriors have recently poured into the rivers and seas. With the appearance of the Yi organization, the Leng family was the first suspect. After so many storms, Gu Yan, whether you take this jade pendant or the Leng family takes this jade pendant, I'm afraid they will become the eyesores of many forces. Everyone wants to become the master of the Dragon King Palace, because the other party's power is too huge. Now that Bi Quan has taken the initiative to hand over the jade pendant, doesn't that mean she has taken the initiative to give up the right to inherit the Dragon King Palace? Isn't this equivalent to dropping a huge rock into a calm lake and causing a huge splash of water? Doesn't this mean that the Dragon King Palace has sent out a signal that anyone can be the heir? Sister, you have harmed Gu Yan at this critical moment. Do you think they have the other half? The other half is with Shaolin, the successor chosen by the previous Dragon King. At this time, Gu Yan also saw the half-jade pendant in Linglinger's hand, which was the other half of the Dragon King Jade, a jade pendant in the shape of a dragon's tail. He picked it up and asked in surprise, "Oh, you little brat? Where did you get this jade pendant?" Linglinger, who was originally happily preparing to slap Gu Yan in the face, suddenly put a question mark. Didn't you say that your half was unique? But let me explain first. So she yelled. Quan Lan said she didn't want it anymore. So she asked me to give it to you. She said she wanted to repay you for saving her at K-Worker V. When Gu Yan heard this, he pretended to be stunned and then looked at Bi Quan Lan. The latter nodded repeatedly. Yes, Sister Linger's brother-in-law. I'll give it to you, don't want me anymore. Bi Jun's mouth twitched. He looked at Gu Yan, and could only force an ugly smile. At Gu Yan, since it is my sister's intention, you should accept it. But you also know the specialness of this jade pendant. The river and the sea are so chaotic now. As a result, the next second, the White Army choked. because Gu Yan naturally put away the jade pendant, and then smiled at him and said, "Everyone knows the special nature of the jade pendant on the eldest lady of the Bei family. In that case, I won't be polite." Bei Jun's eyes twitched. "Oh, brother Gu, I have reminded you so much. Why are you still thinking about walking into the fire pit? Oh, should I say, you are courting disaster? Then okay." The White Army had no choice but to agree. Lao Jiao watched and smiled without saying anything, with a gleam of brilliance in his eyes. "This is half a piece. The young master has the other half that he got back from Shaolin. Doesn't this mean young master is already the palace master of the Dragon King Palace?" Lao Jiao smiled knowingly inwardly. So that's how it is. All of this was the young master's plan. After some thought on the part of the White Army, he also gave up the idea of taking the jade pendant back. He sighed inwardly. Maybe this is fate? Because the previous Dragon King said that the Dragon King jade is the most spiritual thing in the world. After giving it to his sister, unless his sister voluntarily gives it to someone else, the Dragon King jade will eventually return to his sister after many twists and turns. Maybe this is fate. Gu Yan should take this half? But Bei Jun always thought that this half piece was given to Shaolin. But it turned out that he was overthinking. So what is going on? Would it be that in the end, Gu Yan and Shaolin will compete for the throne of the Dragon King Palace? Just to get the other half of the Dragon King jade in the other person's hand? The White Army was no longer able to understand what was going on. Things were happening one after another. Is this still Zhonghai city under his jurisdiction? Bid farewell to the two White Army soldiers. Gu Yan ragged his sister-in-law, who wanted to continue saying that he also had the other half of the jade pendant. Into the car. Back in the car, Gu Yan couldn't suppress the smile. The more I look at the jade pendant in my hand, the more I like it. He didn't even care about the death stare from his sister-in-law next to him. Hatahichi. No way, it's that easy to get it? I originally thought it would take a lot of effort. As a result, after spending a whole morning lovingly with King Qiyu, I got this half of the jade pendant? As expected, loving King Qiyu is the best way to go. Linglinger seemed very unhappy. She hit Gu Yan's side and yelled, "You bastard Gu, have you seen enough? I'm not wrong. There is another half, right? I'm telling you, this piece of yours has to be given to my sister. You are not allowed to combine this piece with your piece. To your sister?" Gu Yan broke out in cold sweats when he thought of the scene of Lang Qingqiu, you becoming the master of the Dragon King Palace. "Stop it, sister-in-law. Your sister knew that this Dragon King jade appeared in the Lang family. I'm afraid that life would be difficult for you and me. Letting Lang Qingqiu be the master of the Dragon King Palace. Isn't this equivalent to recognizing a thief as your father?" So Gu Yan calmly stuffed the jade pendant into his pocket and put it into the system space. Then he looked at Linglinger with dissatisfaction. He coughed softly. "Okay, I was wrong. I'll buy you whatever you want. And you want to be an internet celebrity, so why don't you sign a contract with our Gu group? All resources are allocated to you, so that you can become the top short video star. Let everyone watch you jump into the laser rain. Is that okay?" When Linglinger heard this, she immediately put aside her dissatisfaction and laughed. "Hey, really? Brother-in-law, you are so good to me. And for dinner I want fried chicken legs." Gu Yan was in a good mood and agreed to everything. Okay, I'll make you whatever flavor you want. Yeah." After comforting my sister-in-law, the corners of Gu Yan's mouth couldn't help but rise. "Alright. When will the Dragon King jade be combined into one? Well, we just have to wait a little longer for the right time. After all, the monsters of the previous Dragon King are not dead yet. At least before Shaolin's death, the complete Dragon King jade cannot appear in the world. But when I think about the changes in the relationship between Shaolin and Shen Wan'er," Gu Yan's heart burst into laughter again. "I believe it won't be too late by then." Chapter 163. Yu Xingzu's arrangement. Warriors gathered at Gu's house. Night falls. The moonlight shines through the broken window into an old room in an old neighborhood. The mottled paint on the walls and the yellowed celebrity posters looked even more messy under the moonlight. On a shabby bed in this room, Yu Xingzu slowly woke up from her dream. She sat up slowly in confusion, her fingers gently touching the familiar headboard, feeling it all. There it is. My home? Yu Xingzu muttered to herself. She looked around and found that this place was her home. What's going on? What's going on? Yu Xingzu felt something was wrong. She touched her forehead, but there was nothing there. Not even a scar. But she clearly remembered that she was given power by that adult. Could it be that it was all a dream? There was a hint of loneliness and disappointment in Yu Xingzu's dazzling eyes. She clenched her fists tightly together, with an expression of unwillingness. Is everything fake? Just at this moment. Snap. The door of the room was pushed open. A middle-aged woman with black hair mixed with white hair walked in. After she saw Yu Xingzu, her tense expression finally relaxed and she rushed over in 2 or 3 steps. He hugged Yu Xingzu and choked up, "Xiaozu, you scared me to death. When your classmates brought you back, you looked so pale that mom thought something had happened to you." Yu Xingzu felt as if she was in another world, as if she had not yet recovered from the private room of Rose Love. But her mother's worried voice brought her back to reality. Yu Xingzu hugged her mother and comforted her, "It's okay. Mom, it seems everything is fine." After the mother and daughter comforted each other, Yu Xingzu asked, "Mom, what happened? And who are my classmates?" When the middle-aged woman heard this, her expression became somewhat grateful. "Ah, it's a classmate named Miyami." "Miyami?" As soon as the words fell, a voice came from the door. "Are you awake?" Yu Xingzu looked over. "I saw a strange figure appear at the door of the room at some point. The other person had a tall figure and was wearing a fiery red coat. There is only a strange black color in the whites of the eyes." But her mother didn't feel anything strange at all. When she saw the other person, she introduced him gratefully. "Xiaozu, this is your classmates, he brought you back. I heard that a lot of people died in the Rose Love place. I was scared to death when I found out that you, Xiaozu, went there. Luckily you're back, otherwise I don't know what to do." As she spoke, Yu Xingzu's mother started crying again. But she quickly calmed down, stood up, and said enthusiastically to the woman in red, "Come on, you guys chat first, I'll go prepare dinner for you." Having said that, he left the place. For a moment, the only people left in the room were the woman in red and Yu Xingzu, who didn't understand the situation. The atmosphere in the room became very strange. The woman in red was Meizu. Because the fourth thing is to guide and teach Yu Xingzu to become an entry-level warrior. So protecting Ling Linger was put on hold for the time being. But Meizu looked at Yu Xingzu, who was sitting on the bed in front of her, clutching the sheets tightly, her eyes dodging furfully, not daring to look at her. She felt a little disdainful. This kind of person is actually worthy of Gu Yan's concern? Yu Xingzu did feel a little afraid to look directly at the woman in front of her. Whether in aura or appearance, Yu Xingzu felt that she could not compare to her. It was as if the other person was from a different world from her. That. Yu Xingzu opened her mouth timidly and was about to thank the other party. Meizu interrupted and said, "Since you are the one that person is taking care of, let's make it short. That person asked me to train you to become a decent warrior. No, in other words, as long as you can cultivate true ki, it means that my mission is accomplished. So you don't have to go to school during this period. I have already asked for leave for you. As for me, I will train you strictly. Just be mentally prepared." After saying this, Meizu looked at Yu Xingzu quietly, waiting for her answer. As long as the other party nods in agreement, training will begin immediately and the other party will become a warrior as soon as possible. Then complete the fourth thing. The result was different from the script Meizu had imagined. Yu Xingzu seemed very nervous and uneasy at the moment. She raised her hand weakly and said furfully, What are you talking about? I don't understand." Meizu slowly asked, "This person actually knows nothing?" No. Meizu shook her head. In her heart, no matter how much of a jerk Gu Yan was, he would not give her an impossible task. Therefore, this woman named Yu Xingzu may simply not know what a warrior is. But she has the potential to become a warrior. Do I still have to learn from theoretical knowledge? Meizu sighed softly. Then he began to explain the origin of the warriors. This time, the Leng family's dinner included a fried chicken leg, which was Leng Linger's favorite. In order to shut up his sister-in-law, Gu Yan also agreed to let his sister-in-law sign a contract with Gu Group and become an internet celebrity under the name of Gu Entertainment. Overall, the effect is good, and Leng Linger has forgotten about the jade pendant today. At the door, what Gu Yan said was a problem was really a problem. So I didn't stay at Leng's house for too long after dinner. If you have any problems that you can't solve, you can come to me. After all, I'm smarter than you. Leng Qinkyu still had an arrogant look on her cold and beautiful face. What he said made Gu Yan feel very heartwarming. He smiled and said, "Of course, I'm not a fool if I can't solve it. I will definitely ask my wife, who has a very high IQ. Let's go." Leng Qinkyu raised his chin with satisfaction, then walked back to the house with a happy step. Seeing this, Gu Yan couldn't stand the loneliness anymore and decided to stop thinking about anything and just enjoy his love with his wife peacefully. No matter how big the flood is, we'll deal with it when the time comes. And Bae Zhang was right. Zhangha's city has changed a lot in recent days. If you don't do some preparation and keep being lazy, I'm afraid the originally happy ending will turn into a happy ending. Damn it, a bunch of dog warriors are delaying me, they must all die. Gu Yan got angry for a moment. Then he got into the car, closed the door, and took out the laptop from the compartment in the car. The action is done in one go. He took a quick look at the information his subordinates sent him. When you see someone, the corners of his mouth rose slightly. After closing the notebook, Guyan opened his VX phone. A rare chat window appeared above. A loving family 3. He clicked on it and took a look. My old father is madly me, come back soon, little brat. There are many guests at home, all of them are your seniors. Smile more when you come back. Picture, JPG. Looking at the group of people sitting in the reception hall on the first floor, there was an inexplicable look in Guyan's eyes. Lao Gao seemed to know something. So he said, Master, there are many guests at home today. They all came here from other provinces or the ancient martial arts world. They are all warrior families. Hearing this, Guyan nodded. He had known about this for a long time. In the original work, when the Night Organization emerged, a large number of warriors poured into the rivers and seas. Because the Gu family is the local boss of Zhanghe. Some forces that know etiquette will go to the Gu family first to say hello. Guyan leaned against the car window, thinking about how to deal with these people, and slowly said, Lao Gao, let's go back. Okay, master. The other side. Yu Xingzu is here. Meizu has explained everything. She looked at Yu Xingzu again, waiting for her answer. But to her disappointment, the student in front of him was the one who had received special care from Guyan. After hearing everything she said, his face turned even paler and more frightened. Yu Xingzu held her head, and she looked at Meizu nervously. No, it's so scary. Warriors are actually that kind of thing. It's too scary. Do I really want to become that kind of person? Who is that person? I don't even know him. No, please let me go. I just want to go to school and find a job after graduation. Seeing this, Meizu couldn't help but frown and said coldly, this is not up to you. Training will start tomorrow. You have to do it even if you don't want to. After saying that, swipe, Meizu's figure disappeared from here. Only Yu Xingzu's sobbing was left. However, just a few minutes after Meizu disappeared, Yu Xingzu was originally holding her head, shaking and crying. But he gradually calmed down, and his frightened expression turned into something extremely morbid. She covered her face. The corners of her mouth couldn't stop rising, and her dazzling starry eyes revealed a morbid sense of pleasure. Ah, it's actually true. This is all true. Sir, is this considered an entrance test? Don't worry, I will definitely follow your orders. Just now, the message that appeared in her mind made Yu Xingzu understand everything. She slowly raised her head and looked at the moon outside the broken window. It was as if the adult was caressing her in the moonlight. Ah, big. Flick. Xiaozu, come down and eat. Me left first because of something. Spell interruption. Yu Xingzu came back to her senses instantly, her expression becoming extremely timid and nervous. Oh, okay, Mom. What happened to me just now? So weird. Chapter 160 for the arrival of major forces, Shaolin's junior sister. In the Gu family's mansion. In the living room on the first floor, the gorgeous chandelier hangs from the towering arch. And every crystal sparkles with golden light, illuminating the entire living room brightly and warmly. The walls are covered with oil paintings, each of which is a work of a master. The furnishings in the reception room are luxurious and elegant, with exquisite carpets laying on the floor, soft and gorgeous, like a deep pool of running water. The exquisitely carved furniture is arranged in an orderly manner, and each piece exudes a traditional and solemn atmosphere. Sitting on a sofa were a group of people with different temperaments, men and women, young and old. Some are graceful and elegant, with noble temperaments. Some sit calmly with sharp eyes. Some sat in the corner, being gentle and polite, chatting happily with people they knew. Some of them put their feet on the coffee table with the ostentatious smile on their faces. And there was no one around them. These people each occupy a place in the living room, and each has a different temperament and identity. Their presence filled the entire space with a subtle atmosphere of tension. The servants of the Gu family served tea, water and snacks to the guests who the masters had asked them to take good care of. The younger generations of some small forces already know each other. Young men and women from several forces stood together in a corner, talking in low voices. Wow, this is so spectacular. Look at the two sitting over there. They are from Huoyan Mountain and Xiaoyao Mountain. Two of the four major mountains have come directly. People from Guye sect and Shuiyan sect are here too. In addition to these, representatives from all the major warrior families are also gathered here. Is the Zhanghe Gu family really that powerful? Are these big guys so respectful? As soon as these words came out, a middle-aged man wearing a bamboo hat standing next to them chuckled. Little kid, you guys underestimate the Gu family. As the local boss of Zhanghe and a famous martial arts family in the ancient martial arts world, the Gu family is naturally worthy of so many forces coming here. Of course, if I were to say who surprised me the most among the people who came, it would probably be those two. The man in the bamboo hat said this and turned his gaze to the two women sitting in the corner. Everyone followed the gaze of the man in the bamboo hat. I saw the stunning women in the corner. One of the women had long hair draped over her shoulders, and there was a look of gentleness and tenacity between her brows. She was dressed in a simple green dress and had graceful manners. She was like a flower bud about to bloom, exuding a fresh and intelligent aura. Strangely, however, her eyes were slightly closed. The other girl was completely different. She was wearing a black robe and had a cold expression, with a hint of murderous intent between her brows. Her beauty was tinged with a hint of indifference and alienation, like an orchid blooming in the darkness, making people afraid to approach. To be honest, the appearance of these two women here surprised all the major forces present. The group of young people were also agitated by the beauty of the other two. They couldn't help but ask the elders of the sect, "Master, who are they?" However, the answer he got was a harsh rebuke. All of a sudden, everyone who didn't know their identities realized that they were not someone they could afford to mess with. The woman in green was Shangguan Maiyin. She is not only the most talented young generation of the Shangguan family, but also a member of the Knight organization. Because Leng Qingqiu had previously given an order to investigate how many forces had entered Zhanghe and what their strengths were. That's why Shangguan Maiyin came to the Gu family. The first was to know that these forces had agreed to come to the Gu family today. And the second was to meet the master's husband in the secular world. See what's so special about the other person that makes the owner choose him/her. Listen to the discussions of people around you. Shangguan Maiyin smiled at the indifferent girl beside her and said gently, "Why would Ningqian come to a place like this? Also for Knight?" The girl looked to be about 15 or 16 years old. After hearing Shangguan Maiyin's words, there was a slight reaction on her cold face. She glanced at Shangguan Maiyin and then looked away. He said coldly, "Of course not, I'm here to find my senior brother." After these words were spoken, Shangguan Maiyin received good news. She asked intentionally or unintentionally, "Senior brother? Oh, is it Shaolin, the young master of the Dragon King Palace?" When Ningqian heard the name, Shaolin, her originally cold expression became a little unnatural, and her eyes revealed a hint of shyness that only belonged to a young girl. Her movements became a little stiff, and she refused to say more, but just nodded, "Yeah." In fact, besides Shaolin, there was another person practicing on Dragon King Mountain. That is Ningqian. It was Shaolin's junior sister from Longwang Mountain. The purpose of going down the mountain was to find Shaolin, because Master Lin on Longwang Mountain said that the hexagram had changed suddenly and the Knight organization had reappeared, and Shaolin would definitely encounter trouble during this period. So she needed to go down the mountain to help Shaolin. Shangguan Maiyin stopped talking, with the corners of her mouth slightly raised, ready to report the news to her master after it was over. But before that, she narrowed her eyes and looked around at the people present. Bored. A bunch of boring guys. If it weren't for the master's order, this group of small fry would have no way of living in the same room with her. I guess the guy named Guyan must be as boring as these men. Just thought of this. An apologetic voice came over. Sorry, I'm a little late because of something at the company." "You didn't have to wait too long, did you?" When everyone heard this, the living room suddenly became much quieter and they all looked over. Just see. Gu Qianming, the head of the Gu family, walked over with an apologetic look on his face. Behind him, he was followed by a man with an elegant and easygoing smile on his face. Exactly, Gu Yan. Following his old father's instructions, Gu Yan kept smiling and spoke less. Suddenly, the atmosphere in the living room changed. The real owner, Gu Qianming, is finally here. Gu Qianming deliberately waited until Gu Yan came back before showing up. Actually just to help Gu Yan adapt to the serious atmosphere with so many warriors present at the same time. In addition, he also wanted Gu Yan to get to know more about the members of the major forces in the martial arts world. There's no harm in keeping in touch with each other more often in the future. As Gu Yan walked over, he quickly passed by a group of cannon fodder and small fry. When I saw the black figure sitting in the corner, Gu Yan smiled slightly in his heart. Very good, Shaolin's junior sister is here as expected. So everyone is here. Shangguan Maiyin saw Gu Yan looking at this place and felt disdainful. Another person who is easily seduced by beauty. Oh, I really don't know why the master chose this kind of man as a chess piece. Oh, Shangguan Maiyin understood it was precisely because the eldest son of the Gu family was too useless that she would not feel any regret even if he was discarded casually. I see. As expected of the master, Shangguan Maiyin admired in her heart. And let me see the more unbearable part of this man. So she narrowed her eyes and stared at Gu Yan intently. I'll complain when the time comes to report to my master. Gu Yan felt something strange, as if there was a particularly fiery gaze staring at him. He couldn't help but sigh that there were too many people who were tempted by beauty. It's a mistake to be handsome these days. Boys must protect themselves. Chapter 165, Just kill all the Ling family members and wipe them out. In the reception room of the Gu family mansion, Representatives of various major martial arts forces and elites from powerful martial arts families gathered here. Ahead of the family, Gu Tianming sat in the main seat, his brows revealing a calmness. In fact, he had already learned about the reappearance of the Yi organization a long time ago. If it were in the past, he would naturally not care at all. After all, the Gu family did not participate in the encirclement and suppression of the Yi organization 5 years ago. If he reappears tonight, they naturally won't pay much attention to him. Only, Gu Tianming felt helpless as his son fell in love with Lang Qiyu from the Lang family. The Lang family was the family most affected by the demon slaughter operation back then. And the Night King was from the Lang family. In this operation, the Lang family is definitely the first suspect to be investigated. My son, you have really given your old father a difficult problem. Although it is not clear whether Xiaogu knows about the incident 5 years ago. But since he has reached the innate level through his own cultivation, he must have some secrets of his own. Well, it's time to tell him what happened back then. Thinking of this, I realized that the time was almost up. Gu Tianming looked around at the representatives of the major forces who came to visit him, and said in a deep voice, "Everyone, 5 years ago, we thought we had completely eradicated the Nike organization. However, now there are signs of their activities again. And they even caused the death of the Lord of the Hades. This is something we never expected." For a moment, there was a flurry of discussion in the hall, and the faces of the representatives from the major sects were filled with surprise and confusion. An elder of the sect stood up. He stared at Gu Tianming with a serious expression and said in a heavy voice, "Master Gu, was the death of the Lord of the Hades Palace really caused by the Night Organization? Have you investigated it clearly? What if it's some evil way hidden in the world?" In fact, when the Lord of Yama Palace died, most of the forces and sects speculated that it might be the work of the Yi organization, but it has not been fully confirmed yet. I rushed here just in case. But now, after hearing what the head of the Gu family said, is the person who did this really from the Yi organization? Upon hearing this, Gu Tianming said seriously, "It is normal for Mr. Zhang to think so. But, there is one thing you may not know yet. Not long ago, 5 murders occurred again in a prohibited place called Rose Love in Zhanghe. 5 bodies were hung on the wall in a string, and underneath them, there was a sentence written in blood." At this point, Gu Tianming's tone was very solemn. "That is, night will eventually wipe out all evil." As soon as these words were spoken, the whole audience was in an uproar. Gu Yan kept smiling. The effect is very good. Even my old father was fooled. Although my night organization doesn't even have a prototype, but not yet established, there is really no night organization." He glanced at the people present whose faces changed drastically, and laughed happily in his heart. Very good, very good. The more you turn your eyes to me, the easier it will be for me to complete my plan." The Gu family's living room was already noisy at this moment. It's exactly the same as it was more than 10 years ago. Yes, didn't the Nike organization, which made the ancient martial arts world tremble with fear, leave such a sentence after each action? Why, he was destroyed 5 years ago. Why did he appear again? Will the Night King come to find me? Our sect is not as powerful as before. How could this happen? The news about the Night organization should have been completely blocked. Could it be that the organization that participated in the encirclement and suppression back then deliberately created panic? What do you think I mean? Do you mean that our Bloodblade sect is pretending to be the Nike organization? Oh, I didn't say anything. Do you think this is a confession? Fuck, do you want to fight? Don't forget that we are not the same kind of people. We are only gathered here for the Night organization. Seeing the atmosphere getting increasingly tense, Gu Tianming coughed lightly. Next second, buzz. A powerful pressure appeared here in an instant. The noisy voices were suppressed in an instant, and everyone's eyes were focused on an old man who had been standing behind Gu Yan for some reason. Lao Cao's eyes swept across everyone present like a sharp sword. His presence immediately made the entire reception room quiet, and the depressing atmosphere solidified in an instant. A powerful Grand Master. Everyone present was extremely shocked. I've heard that the Gu family is very powerful, but I didn't expect that an old servant would have such power. Seeing this, Gu Tianming spoke slowly. His voice was cold and majestic, resounding throughout the living room. "This is the Gu family, not a place for you to fight casually." For a moment, everyone shut up. Changguan Maiyin was not affected at all. She looked at Gu Yan with interest. The other party still had a smiling expression on his face, and did not show any fear at all due to the current situation. The heart is good. His strength is at the early stage of innateness, and he is indeed a genius. However, it seems that Gu Yan is just an ordinary kid from a genius family with a good character. There is no highlight at all. And he didn't say a word. Smiled. Could it be that Gu Tianming asked him to keep smiling and talk less? Changguan Maiyin was a little disappointed, as she thought Gu Yan would show something brilliant or shameful. This way she can feel more balanced. After all, he actually became the master's secular husband or something. Although it is just a nominal illusion. Still, she was so jealous. She was so angry. If she wanted the power of a big family, they can do the Shangguan family too. It's not impossible for me to dress up as a man and take over the Shangguan family together with my master. Shangguan Miaoyan felt very unbalanced inside, and she said that she must find something that embarrassed Gu Yan. Ning Qian on the side looked at Lao Gao behind Gu Yan with a strong fighting spirit. Perhaps it was the influence of the masters from Longwang Mountain. So fighting with the strong is her favorite thing to do. The atmosphere gradually eased with Lao Cao's arrival. Representatives from each sect began to have a serious discussion. A middle-aged man stood up and bowed to everyone. Everyone. I am the 33rd generation master of Wuhui Palace. My master also participated in the operation to encircle and suppress the Yi organization. So I know the horror of the night and their rules. Leaving this message after each action is what every member of the night organization must do. I can't say I'm 100 sure, but I feel like I'm 90 sure that this night is the night 5 years ago. At this point, the tone of the Wuhui Palace master became angry. You are so self-righteous that you use your own methods to kill the evil you think you are. This is the usual trick used by those people in today's society. Even warriors who have committed many crimes must be handed over to special departments for handling. We will eliminate them privately and use the excuse of eliminating evil as an excuse to absorb their souls for cultivation. This is no different from the evil ways of the devil. We can't let night continue to wreak havoc, otherwise the consequences will be disastrous. The words of the Wuhui Palace Master made many warrior forces nod in approval. There are some who hold opposing views. Shangguan Miaoyan is one of them. She smiled on the surface after hearing this, but in fact she was very disdainful in her heart. It's too hypocritical. The battle between warriors is a life and death battle. The warrior department is meaningless to powerful warriors. In the ancient martial arts world, without the constraints of the martial arts department, the acts of killing and stealing treasures are countless. Who will take care of it? Who can take care of it? A man with a flamboyant face also thought so. He taunted the master of Wuhui Palace. Idiot, I have nothing to say about what you say about Yi. But if you say that all warriors who have committed many crimes should be handed over to a special department for handling, that's ridiculous. Between us warriors, if two of us start fighting, do you think it's possible for the other side to survive? If we leave a trouble behind, he might grow up and seek revenge on us in a few years. Do you think we should kill him? Kill them and turn them into warriors who have committed many crimes? Don't kill them, let them grow up and come back to seek revenge on us in the future. Don't blame me for speaking harshly. It was because my master was soft-hearted that he didn't kill all the people in the Ling family. I heard that. There was murderous intent in his eyes. Does the Ling family still have a lot of people left? The Night King might be one of them. In my opinion, we should just kill all the Ling family members and eradicate their roots. Chapter 166. Everyone is stunned. Ling King Huayu is my lover. As soon as these words came out, Shangguan Miaoyan's expression immediately turned cold. And when she looked at the ostentatious man with his feet on the coffee table, a hint of murderous intent flashed in her eyes. No, I have to hold it in. I can't expose myself. Shangguan Miaoyan, you have to hold back. Be patient. Keep smiling. Keep your mindset. Ipa? Shangguan Miaoyan was just about to give herself some psychological counseling. Suddenly, she saw the husband of the master in the secular world who had been smiling and saying nothing. At this moment, he stood up suddenly. And he walked towards the flamboyant man. Hey, wait, what's going on? Shangguan Miaoyan was a little confused. What did he want to do? Because the other party said that he wanted to wipe out the Ling family. So this man was angry? Shangguan Miaoyan looked at Gu Yan, who had a smile on his face. Shouldn't it? Gu Chunming also suddenly widened his eyes and looked at Gu Yan, who suddenly stood up and walked towards the young master of the demon sect with a smile. He was about to speak up to stop it, but then he changed his mind and felt helpless. Oh, what a sin. The other forces also looked at this young member of the Gu family who had not spoken since a while ago in surprise and confusion. Why did this man go to the young master of the heavenly demon sect? Didn't he know that the other party was extremely cruel? And the human protector was still there. The young master of the demon sect put his legs on the coffee table. The voices of discussion gradually died down. He noticed that all eyes were focused on his left side. So he frowned and looked up. When he saw it was Gu Yan, he sneered. Why, do you have anything to say? As the son of the Gu family's patriarch, you are indeed qualified to speak. Gu Yan just smiled kindly upon hearing this, and clenched his fists and said slowly, bite your teeth. What are you talking about? The young master of the heavenly demon sect did not react. Are you talking to me? Ignoring the nonsense of the outsiders, Gu Yan muttered to himself. System, please give me some strength. A discount has been given to the host. Consume 10W pure of value and increase the host's power to the peak of innateness. And at the moment when the power is increased, Gu Yan's originally kind expression suddenly turned extremely cold. Boom! He swung his fist swiftly and hit the stunned face of the young master of the demon sect hard. The young master of the demonic sect never expected that Gu Yan would suddenly attack in this place. Caught off guard, he could only instinctively raise his arms to try to block Gu Yan's fist. Are you crazy? What do you want to do? The young master of the demon sect is a genius with the cultivation base of the middle stage of the innate realm. The moment he raises his hand, he activates the demonic heart to operate defensively. However, what he didn't expect was that Gu Yan's fist was too powerful. Just heard bang. The true energy scattered, and Gu Yan's deliberate punch directly broke through his defense. Following a dull sound of a blow, the young master of the demon sect let out a scream and flew backwards from the sofa and hit the ground. A reddened swollen mark appeared on his face, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. When has a genius from the demonic sect ever suffered such injustice? He gritted his teeth and looked up at Gu Yan, cursing. Asshole, how dare you hit me? Do you know who I am? Gu Yan didn't say anything when he heard this. He just walked to the side of the young master of the demon sect with an expressionless face, and raised his fist again and hit the young master of the demon sect who was lying on the ground in the face. The young master of the demon sect wanted to dodge, but Gu Yan's speed was too fast and he had no time to react. Bang! Gu Yan's fist hit his face again, and this time, his nose was also broken and blood spurted out. The young master of the demonic sect covered his nose and groaned in pain. GBANG. However, Gu Yan did not stop. He continued to attack the young master of the demon sect, punching him again and again, hitting him hard. The young master of the demon sect was beaten so badly that he had no power to fight back and could only twist his body and crawl on the ground. Everyone around was stunned by Gu Yan's actions and no one reacted. Just ask. When you were discussing how to destroy the demon, someone came up with an idea. Then suddenly the son of the person presiding over the meeting rushed over and beat up the person who made the suggestion without saying a word. Anyone would be stunned, right? Right? At this moment, the young master of the heavenly demon sect could no longer bear it. And he screamed loudly, "Master Demon, save me." As soon as these words came out, an old man who had been stunned suddenly came to his senses. He was an elder of the demonic sect and the young master's protector. His cultivation was at the peak of the innate warrior level. He was shocked to see his young master being beaten like this. He finally came to his senses and rushed over to yell at Gu Yan. Stop now. Do you want to kill our young master? Hearing this, Gu Yan stopped what he was doing and looked at the young master of the demon sect who was lying on the ground with his eyes rolled up and sobbing. He shook off the blood on his hands, looked at the old man, and said calmly, "Your young master wants to kill my people. I am already very law-abiding by sparing his life." Everyone thought Gu Yan wanted to say something. As a result, he actually said that the young master of the heavenly demon sect wanted to kill his people. The old man was also stunned for a moment when he heard it. He thought Gu Yan was deliberately provoking trouble. So he looked at Gu Tianming angrily and asked, "Master Gu, what exactly does your good son mean?" "I don't mean anything." However, before Gu Tianming could speak, Gu Yan picked up the wet tissue handed to him by the trembling servant and wiped his bloody fist, then glanced coldly at everyone present. He slowly uttered a sentence that stunned everyone. "I just want to tell everyone here that Ling Qingqiu is my lover." The seriousness of Gu Yan's words was no less than if a great master in the ancient martial arts world had self-exploded and destroyed the gate of the Taichu sect. A moment. Everyone's mind went blank. Gu Tianming held his forehead helplessly, and finally said it. "Now, I have to be involved." Lao Gao smiled without saying anything, and sighed that this is what a young master is. This is youth. Chang Wanmaiyan's mind was also confused. He actually revealed his relationship with his master in front of so many powerful people. Doesn't he understand what this means? Chang Wanmaiyan held the armrest tightly with her hands, and the corners of her mouth couldn't stop rising. Interesting. Very interesting. This man loves his master so much? Chang Wanmaiyan has already begun to look forward to the moment when her master reveals his true face and takes away the Gu family's Hu Guyan, the affectionate man, and breaks down crying and making a fuss. Ming Qian also raised her eyes and glanced at Gu Yan. I looked up to Gu Yan in my heart. She originally thought that the most principled man in the world was her senior brother Shaolin. But who would have thought the eldest son of the Gu family is so strong-willed that he actually dared to admit in front of so many warriors that the eldest daughter of the Ling family is his lover? Now the Gu family is also a suspect. Gu Yan didn't show any regret at all. He had originally thought that these people would definitely talk about the Ling family today. I must control my emotions at that time, and then talk about my relationship with the Ling family in a calm manner. Let everyone know that the Ling family is innocent and has nothing to do with the Yi organization. The plan is this plan. But he chose an approach that would force everyone to think in a worse way. Gu Tianming, is your Gu family also related to the Yi organization? An old man who reacted first stood up suddenly, leaning on his crutch, and yelled at Gu Tianming with a grim expression. In an instant, everyone reacted. Yes, it was very strange that the Gu family did not participate in the suppression of the Yi organization back then. And now the Ling family is actually connected to the Gu family. Now, they have to be suspicious. Brush, brush, brush. All of a sudden, all the warriors stood up and looked at Gu Tianming vigilantly. The atmosphere became extremely solemn. Gu Yan, the instigator, sneered and said, "A bunch of fools who believe everything they hear. You still want to find the real knight like this?" Fortunately, I had already anticipated the situation where I would be unable to resist taking action. So I prepared a plan B long ago. Well then, let me help the Ling family clean themselves up. Chapter 167. Putting facts aside. Stupid. Idiot? Everyone present felt a touch of magic. Which of these people is not a well-known and prestigious figure in the ancient martial arts world? Which one of them was not a respected senior before Gu Yan was born? This little junior actually dared to insult them in public. Even Gu Tianming didn't dare to talk to them like that. For a while, the old man with the cane snorted coldly. "You little brat, I should teach you how to talk to your elders on behalf of your father." Buzz. A powerful aura rushed from the old man towards Gu Yan. Xiaoyao Mountain Ji Yuolao. He actually advanced to Grandmaster level. Now Xiaoyao Mountain has 4 great masters in charge. Everyone's expression was startled, and then they began to exclaim in admiration. There were originally 3 grandmasters in Xiaoyao Mountain. And now that Ji Yuolao has been promoted, he will be the 4th. Now Xiaoyao Mountain will become the leader of the 4 major mountains. Snort. However, before the master's aura could hit Gu Yan, another cold snort dispersed this breath, and an even more powerful breath rushed directly towards Xiaoyao Mountain Ji Yuolao. Ji Yuolao groaned and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Everyone looked over. Gu Tianming's face was gloomy. And the aura he exuded was also. Grand Master. Patriarch Gu is also a master. No one has ever seen Gu Tianming take action, so everyone is guessing his cultivation level. I didn't expect that the other party is also a master. Everyone was shocked, and at the same time, they became even more convinced that the Gu family was really related to the Yi organization. When Ji Yuolao of Xiaoyao Mountain saw that his aura was dispersed and he was injured, he felt unhappy. He wiped the blood off, looked at Gu Tianming, and said in a cold voice, "Master Gu, what do you mean? Is your Gu family really related to the Yi organization?" Gu Tianming was almost laughing out of anger after hearing what the old man said, and was about to speak. Then he heard Gu Yan on the side laugh and say, "What are you talking about here, old man? I was attacked by a shameless person like you. Even though I am just a little innate, my father didn't save me. But did he allow you to kill me? Old man, can you use your brain before you speak? Also, how did my father saving me become related to the Knight organization? From the beginning, they kept saying that we were related to the Knight organization. Excuse me, everyone present, do you have any evidence to prove that our Gu family and the Ling family are related to the Yi organization?" As soon as these words came out, being scolded by the old man left and right, Xiaoyao Mountain Ji Yuolao's face turned green and white. He suppressed his anger and said in a deep voice, "Anyone related to the Yi organization? No evidence is needed. If the investigation later proves that they are innocent, then there will be no problem. This statement has been recognized by many people. That's right, the Knight organization is best at hiding in various major forces. All we have to do is to conduct an in-depth investigation. If the person is innocent, that would be great. If not..." Another old man looked at Gu Tianming. "Master Gu, you also know that the Knight organization is of great importance. It's not that we don't respect your Gu family, we just can't let the world fall into darkness again. Everyone, I propose to investigate the Gu family and the Ling family today." Shangguan Maiyan watched this scene with interest. She looked at Gu Yan, who looked calm. "I wonder how would you deal with this situation? Just thought of this." Gu Yan showed a mocking smile at the corner of his mouth, and then interrupted, "Shut up, if that's what you say. And as a good and law-abiding young man of today, I have something to say." When Mr. Ji Yuo and the other old man who was talking heard this, their eyes twitched. He suppressed his anger and looked at Gu Yan. "Do you have anything else to explain?" The latter shook his head. "Explain? No. Identify?" He took a deep breath, then looked at Xiaoyao Mountain Ji Yuolao. "You just said that our Gu family is related to the Knight organization because my father rescued me. So can I say?" Gu Yan pointed at the stunned Heavenly Demon Sect protector and said, "Just now, the protector of the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect saved him. Does that mean they are related to the Knight organization? Speaking of this, without waiting for the protector to explain anything, Gu Yan pretended to be enlightened, and he pointed at the equally confused Jiu Olao and said, "Are you teaching me a lesson to protect the young master of the Tian Mo sect who is related to the Yi organization? The young master of the Sky Demon sect is related to the Knight organization. So you are also related to the Knight organization? You want to kill me to silence me?" Upon hearing this, Xiaoyao sect's Jiu Olao broke out in a sweat. He looked around at members of other forces who showed a hint of hesitation in their eyes. He cursed in his heart that he was indeed an idiot. And at the same time he shouted in panic, "What a joke! I am Jiu Tianyun from Xiaoyao Mountain. I participated in the encirclement and suppression of the Knight organization back then. How could I be related to them? Don't talk nonsense. Kid, do you have any evidence to prove what you said?" Gu Yan nodded and said with a smile, "Anything related to the Yi organization. No evidence is needed. If the investigation later proves that they are innocent, then there will be nothing to worry about." As soon as these words came out, a smile appeared on Gu Yanming's face. I laughed and shook my head. "Son, you." Shang Wan Maiyan couldn't help but curl up the corners of her mouth, her eyes full of surprise and joy. Ning Qian on the side also looked at Gu Yan with interest. She didn't expect that this man was quite interesting. The faces of the people around and Mr. Jiu looked as ugly as if they had eaten shit. I didn't expect that I would be outmaneuvered. But the protector of the young master of the heavenly demon Seksu reacted and shouted angrily, "Bullshit, you are fighting because my young master said he wanted to kill the people of the Ling family. That's why you are fighting. You said Ling Qinkyu from the Ling family is your lover. Everyone knows that the Ling family was related to the Yi organization back then." These words finally had some effect, and the others also reacted. Old Jiuo also looked at Gu Yan, and said as if he had found the key point, "Yes, doesn't this prove that your Gu family is related to the Yi organization?" As soon as these words were spoken, just when everyone thought that Gu Yan would show a hint of panic, but he just sneered, putting aside the facts of that year. He took a deep breath and accused the young master of the heavenly demon sect who had fainted beside the protector. "Is he completely innocent? Every time you open your mouth, you mean to kill my lover's entire family. You think it's possible for a man not to lose his mind? Yes, you. If it were you, would you endure it or take action directly?" Gu Yan pointed at a young member of a powerful group. And everyone looked over there. The young man felt a little pressured when being stared at by so many people at the same time. He swallowed and said, "You won't. Hold it in, will you?" "That's right." Gu Yan nodded affirmatively, attracting everyone's attention again. He shouted with great emotion, "Even a third-rate warrior would not be able to endure. Could it be possible that I, the eldest son of the Gu family, would be able to endure it? Why, just relying on a third-rate demon sect like the heavenly demon sect. As the young master of the Gu family, I can't teach them a lesson when my Gu family can't suppress them with one hand? You have to know. Ling Qinkyu is my lover. We are related to the Knight organization." The protector of the demonic sect looked extremely grim upon hearing this. His hand was clenched into a fist. He always talks about third-rate magic. You have to know that our Tian Mo sect is also one of the great sects in the ancient martial arts world. How could it be a third-rate magic sect? Yes, it's also first-rate. The thoughts of the others were gradually led astray by Gu Yan. For a moment, everyone seemed to understand why Gu Yan took action. "Yes, they said they were going to kill your whole family. You are a hot-blooded young man, how could you possibly hold back?" Plus Gu Yan's emotional look. "But it be. The other party in the Ling family are actually innocent. Otherwise, how can you speak so confidently?" Especially since they had never heard of Gu Yan's words before. But they inexplicably felt that they made sense, which made them feel that the Ling and Gu families were innocent. Chapter 168. Afterwards, Ning Qian became interested in Gu Yan. Seeing that the situation was gradually stabilizing, Gu Qianming spoke, and his voice reached everyone's ears. "My son Gu Yan has an engagement letter with Ling Qinkyu from the Ling family. It was a childhood marriage arranged between my father and Ling Qinkyu's grandfather. My little Gu is a man who values friendship and loyalty. Even if the Ling family has become like this, he is still willing to fulfill the promise of the older generation. Plus, the two of them already love each other, so they are together." Speaking of this, another cold voice came over. "That's right. If you say that the Gu family is related to the Yi organization, doesn't that mean that our Su family is also suspected? Do you want to investigate the Su family as well?" Everyone turned their heads to look. Su Muran walked over with a cold expression. Behind her was an old man in a black robe. The aura was so strong that everyone's expression suddenly changed. Su Muran originally didn't want to show up, but his son was bullied. And the Gu family was mistakenly believed to be related to the Yi organization. Besides, his son beat up the young master of the human heaven demon sect in public for linking QIU. So he really couldn't help but step forward. Some people recognized Su Mulrong and their faces turned pale. The other part did not know Su Mulrong, but knew the Su family. Everyone was suddenly silent. Su Mulrong walked up to Gu Tianming and glared at him first, causing the latter's shoulders to tremble slightly. And he walked to Gu Yan's side and carefully checked that he was fine. And he looked at everyone present with a cold face. I'm putting this out there, no matter whether it's the Gu family or the Ling family, they can't possibly have anything to do with that Yi. If you still don't believe it, you can go to the Su family to find my father. Ask him what the old man means. As soon as these words came out, no one dared to answer. At this time, a gentle and soft voice came over. Sister Su is right. I also don't think the Ling family and the Gu family would have anything to do with that Yi organization. As this voice appeared, the pressure in the living room gradually decreased. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief and looked towards the source of the sound. Just see. Changguan Maiyan walked over from her seat and stood opposite Gu Yan. She looked at Su Mulrong and smiled. Hello, Madam Su. It's the first time we meet. I am Shangguan Maiyan from the Shangguan family. Su Mulrong nodded slightly. I have heard of you. I wanted to bring you together with my son. But Xiaogu likes linking QIU, so you have no chance. Shangguan Maiyan's eyes twitched, but she kept smiling. Try not to let yourself fail. She looked at Gu Yan with a smile. The eldest son of the Gu family is a handsome man. I believe that my love with the daughter of the Ling family will last forever. Gu Yan looked at Shangguan Maiyan, a member of the night organization, and said, thank you. The love between King QIU and I is known to all. So, when it comes to those scumbags who say rude things, I can't help but have the urge to cover their mouths. To be honest, this is not my fault. My King QIU is so beautiful, kind, gentle, generous and lovely. That's why I can't stand other people's trash talk. Everyone, why are you looking at us when you say this? And is it appropriate to say such corny words in this kind of atmosphere? Can you please take a look at the atmosphere? Changguan Maiyan also felt a little numb inside. What a love-brained man! If the master heard such words, wouldn't he be disgusted to death? Do you think that the Night King would be deeply moved or blush and have his heart beat fast by such extremely corny words? These are just a fleeting dream before a man collapses. On the surface, she nodded and agreed with Gu Yan's words, then looked at everyone present. Everyone, I Shangguan Maiyan, believe that the Gu family and the Ling family are innocent. If you think that my Shangguan family is also related to the Night organization, then, she slightly emphasized her tone and said seriously, our Shangguan family can also allow you to investigate. The words fell. The warriors representing the forces looked at each other in bewilderment. No one spoke. What a joke. The Gu family is fine, after all. They are just the local tyrants in Jianghe, a family of warriors with a little reputation in the ancient martial arts world. But the Su family and the Shangguan family are different. Neither of these two companies can be shaken by their forces. So they all bowed and apologized. No, it's a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. Yeah, why would we fight among ourselves? Absolutely not. Yes, Miss Shangguan, please stop saying things that are not conducive to unity. Master Gu, I have something to do, so I'll leave first. We'll meet again next time. A group of people left one after another. Mr. Guo from Xiaoyao Mountain also left with a grim look on his face. I had just been promoted to Grand Master and was ready to show off my prestige in front of everyone. But I didn't expect to be disturbed by a damn little devil. The protectors of the demonic sect did not dare to continue looking after Gu Yan. Originally, he was planning to change his attitude and say something like, you either cut off your arms or I will never forgive you. But now I think it's a good thing that I'm not as arrogant as I was in the ancient martial arts world. For a moment, the crowd that had originally gathered in the reception room, except for Shangguan Maiyan and Ning Qian, all dispersed. Su Mulrong looked at the reception room, which had become much more spacious, and glared at Gu Tianming fiercely. I'll settle the score with you later. The latter looked away guiltily. Ning Qian, who had been staying in the corner without saying anything, came over at this time with a long sword on her waist. When passing by Gu Yan, he left a faint sentence. Gu Yan. You are very interesting. I look forward to meeting you next time. Gu Yan was a little surprised. I was still thinking about how to get to know the other person. But he just came to me like this? Changguan Maiyan squinted her eyes and glanced at Ning Qian's receding back. The junior sister of the Dragon King Palace's young master actually began to become interested in Gu Yan. This is also news worth reporting. Thinking of this, she looked at Gu Yan and the others. Then I won't bother you anymore. A night organization appeared in Jianghe, and no one can predict what will happen next. If you need the help of my Shangguan family, you can let me know. After saying this, Shangguan Maiyan also left with a full load. I have gained too much information today. I must go back quickly to claim credit. Looking at Shangwan Maiyan's back, Guyan curled his lips and said, "You didn't leave any contact information. How should I inform you?" At this time, a kind voice appeared in Guyan's ears. "Why in the end when did you become a congenital? How come mom didn't know?" Sumurong put his hand on Guyan's shoulder and asked kindly. Guyan. After he finished speaking, he looked at Gu Chunming and asked kindly, "Why didn't you tell me about my son?" Gu Yanming. Chapter 116 Leng Qingqiu. Did he really say that? As a good eldest son of the Gu family, Guyan was naturally spared from being questioned by his mother. And instead his old father took on everything. Lying on the soft big bed, Guyan recalled Ning Qian's original information in his mind. Ning Qian, female, is Shaolin's junior sister on Longwang Mountain. Because she was saved from the mouth of a wild beast by Shaolin when she was a child. She has always admired Shaolin very much. And Shaolin also said that he would marry Ning Qian when he grows up. From then on, Ning Qian always believed that Shaolin was her hero. And that he would definitely come to Longwang Mountain on a colorful cloud to marry her. Because the Night Organization reappeared in the original novel. The former Dragon King sent Ning Qian down the mountain to help Shaolin. Then the plot became old-fashioned, the junior sister like Shaolin. And Shaolin promised to marry her, but she saw that there were already many beautiful women around Shaolin. Feeling gloomy and disappointed, many misunderstandings occurred between him and Shaolin, and the two brothers and sisters had a fight. During this period, Ning Qian was bewitched by Leng Qingqiu if she killed the woman next to Shaolin. Then Shaolin would come back to her. Ning Qian believed it and became the villain. But in the end, the other party was still moved by Shaolin's heartfelt and touching reminiscences and called him back to his side. From then on, she was cleansed and became one of Shaolin's harem, and also became a powerful helper to the other party. In the later period, the opponent broke through himself in the crisis, not only breaking through to the peak of the Grand Master realm, but also breaking through his own sword skills. Her domineering swordsmanship allowed her to turn the tide, and she killed the sword-wielding members of the Night Organization alone, reversing the crisis facing the protagonist group. Although this will happen in the later part of the plot, it is undeniable that this person is a tricky guy. So there was a hint of amusement in Guyan's eyes. Let me make use of the plot in the original novel. And just at this moment, a message suddenly came to Guyan's mind. "Sir, the organization has been initially established." Hearing the sound of the devil's claws, Guyan's mouth curled up slightly as finally here. At the same time, Ling family. In the study, Leng Qingqiu stood by the window. The biting cold wind blew gently across her face, causing her cheeks to slightly flush. I don't know if Leng Qingqiu did it on purpose, but the lights in the study were turned off. The moonlight from the window sprinkled on Leng Qingqiu, making her feel even more hazy and dreamy. Shangwan Maiyan stood in the shadows, looking at Leng Qingqiu's back with fascination. "The master is so beautiful. The master is so beautiful. Master I love you so much." Leng Qingqiu held onto the window sill tightly and asked coldly, "Did he really say that?" When Shangwan Maiyan heard this, she nodded repeatedly. "That's right. That man actually said in public that you are his lover. What a clown who overestimates his own abilities. He even said a lot of extremely cheesy love words about you. Master, I have just repeated the contents to you, master. This kind of dreaming man really makes me feel ridiculous. His behavior is totally illogical. He actually revealed his relationship with you in front of so many powerful people. Fortunately, I stepped in to resolve the dispute. I believe that neither the Leng family nor the Gu family will be suspected of having anything to do with ye." After Shangwan Maiyan finished speaking, she looked at Leng Qingqiu's back expectantly, hoping to get praise from him. But who would have thought? Leng Qingqiu slowly turned her head, opened her eyes, and looked at Shangwan Maiyan with the eyes that had a pair of ancient runes on them. The voice was calm, but Shangwan Maiyan felt a chill on her back. "Guyan is my husband in the secular world, although he is only part of the plan. You look down on him and ridicule him with such contemptuous tone. But it be you are saying that I have poor eyesight?" Click. Her heart felt as if someone was squeezing it, and the enormous pressure instantly made Shangwan Maiyan unable to breathe. She broke out in a cold sweat and quickly knelt on the ground with her head down. She was trembling all over and said in a trembling voice, "No, I dare not." Leng Qingqiu retracted his gaze and said coldly, "Any more news?" Shangwan Maiyan didn't dare to act recklessly here anymore, so she replied carefully, "Also the junior sister of Dragon King Hall's young master Shaolin has come down the mountain. It's a girl named Ning Qian. She came down the mountain to help Shaolin. And before leaving, he seemed to have a hint of curiosity and interest in Guyan. Say I look forward to meeting you next time." As soon as these words came out, buzz, A creepy pressure appeared in Shang Wan Mayayan's heart. She suppressed her fear and looked over out of the corner of her eye. I saw that there seemed to be a phantom of evil composed of malice gathering on Ling Qingqiu. Got it, let's go down. Ling Qingqiu's cold words reached Shang Wan Mayayan's ears. The latter swallowed his saliva, and replied nervously while lying on the ground. Yes, master, Xiao Mayayan will take her leave now. Gurgle. As he spoke, he sank into the shadow space that suddenly opened up from the ground. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. After feeling that his subordinates had completely left, the depressing atmosphere in the room dissipated instantly. A yelling Qingqiu covered her face and let out a shy cheer. With a large blush on her face, her voice trembled. I actually swore in front of so many people that I am his lover. It's really unexpected. And he said so many disgusting things. He is so shameless. Do you know that I am the Night King? How can I get along with my subordinates like this? And in front of his parents, what a nasty villain. Ling Qingqiu took a deep breath and felt very shy inside. At the same time, I also secretly cursed myself for being so disappointing. She actually blushed and her heart beat fast because of Gu Yan's disgusting words. Fortunately, when Shangguan Mayayan reported, she turned off the lights and opened the windows. He pretended to be frozen by the cold wind, but you could tell it by just thinking. How could the Night King not be resistant to cold? Fortunately, the other party didn't notice anything unusual about me. After all, if I had endured it a little longer, I might have lost my patience and failed. But Ling Qingqiu was thinking about Ning Qian that Shangguan Mayayan mentioned. Her expression gradually turned cold. Why do all of them want to get close to Gu Yan? First it was Shen Wan'er, then Wang Yelan, then Yan King, and now here comes Ning Qian. Although she knew that Gu Yan only liked her, but whenever she thought of a woman getting close to Gu Yan or approaching Gu Yan, she couldn't help but feel murderous in her heart. There is also the demonic sect and those old guys who criticized Gu Yan, whether for revenge or for Gu Yan. They all must die. But what a pity. If Ning Qian, the young master of the demon sect, and Shaoyao Mountain's Jiuo Chen were killed now, it would be too conspicuous and obvious. This will make everyone focus their suspicious eyes on the Gu family again. In that case, everything Gu Yan did would be in vain. So no. I must wait for the right opportunity, and then wipe out the forces at Gu's house tonight in one fell swoop. Chapter 170. I always feel that everyone is plotting against me. Early the next morning, Gu Yan started his early morning exercise. He began to run around the track in the villa, talking to Lao Gao beside him as he ran. We are going to the Light of Hope today to see our new organization. Lao Chao accompanied Gu Yan in running laps when he heard the 4 words, Light of Hope. A hint of doubt appeared in his eyes. The Light of Hope? Master, I remember that place should be abandoned, right? Gu Yan nodded. Yes, it is better to abandon it. It is more suitable as the base of our organization. As he spoke, Gu Yan also recalled the introduction of the Light of Hope. In the original book, the Light of Hope is a place funded by Yanxing Group that claims to provide hope of life for children in need. According to the original plan, this area of about 200 acres should be built as a small microtown living circle. It will house the school's buildings, including classrooms, laboratories, a library, administrative offices, student dormitories, and more. There will also be first-class teachers to teach and educate. In addition, there will be a small amusement park, living area, food area, shopping area, etc. It's a pity the development plan fell through just as the construction of the school building was completed. Because Yanxing Group withdrew its investment, according to internal information, it was because Lon Zietian was already the face of Yanxing Group at that time. He believes that building the Light of Hope is a complete money-losing business and is purely charity. So we decided not to do it and plan to use this land to build a suburban villa. Thinking of this, Gu Yan's slight smile was quite consistent with Long Zietian's values. Lao Gao nodded and asked out of curiosity, Master, I have something I wanted to ask when we were on the rooftop of the building. Master, have you really become the Night King? Our organization won't be night, right? The Night King is a terrifying existence that controls the night organization. His powerful cultivation is not what everyone fears. There are many powerful people, and many people who are more cruel than the Night King. But none of them have been like this, where several forces are besieging him at the same time. There are many things about the Night King that are truly scary. One of them is his strange ability to absorb the souls of others for cultivation. The other one is his dagger named Night. The Gu family did not participate in the encirclement and suppression of the Yi organization back then. In fact, it was out of some friendship in the past. After all, Gu Qianming's father, Old Man Gu, had a very good relationship with Ling Qingqiu's grandfather at that time. That's why they didn't choose to take advantage of the situation and join forces to encircle and suppress the Ling family. But we have to admit that the Night organization and the Night King are extremely terrifying existence. However, Gu Yan curled his lips and said, "What a joke! How can I become the Night King? It's just in the name of night. By the way, Lao Gao, you are right, our organization is indeed called you. You will be my right-hand man from now on. Do you want to give yourself a more resounding name? Like the broken-hearted old man or something like that?" Looking at the enthusiastic young master, Lao Chao thought that this title might accompany him for the rest of his life. So he shook his head slowly. "Forget it, I'll think of one myself when the time comes." "That's fine. Anyway, Lao Gao, tell me when you've made up your mind." Looking at Gu Yan, who was running in front again with a smile on his face, Lao Gao also smiled. "I'm afraid even Patriarch Gu and Madame Su don't know about these things. The Gu family's assassins are very special. Once the inheritance is passed to someone, they will only recognize that person. That is to say, when Gu Qianming handed over the 10 assassins to Gu Yan, it was destined that the 10 assassins would only obey Gu Yan. Even Mr. Gu couldn't command those 10 assassins." Looking at Gu Yan's back, Lao Tiao laughed and shook his head. "Now, the world will be lively again." Time passes slowly. When Gu Yan was about to finish his exercise, Gu Yan, a surprised voice came from behind. Gu Yan turned his head and there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. "I saw that Yan King, the eldest daughter of the Yan family who had been beaten to tears by me at the banquet in the King of Hell's palace, actually chased after me with her arms waving. The other party is one of Shaolin's harem in the original novel, and is an M." Thinking of this, Gu Yan quickened his pace and made the final sprint. Yan King had been to Gu's house to look for Gu Yan before, and I had never met him before. Now I met him during my morning run. I was thinking of saying hello, but he suddenly sped up. "Asshole!" Yan King stomped her feet, disrupting her own rhythm and chasing after him. "Gu Yan, wait a minute." 10 minutes later, when Gu Yan finished his exercise, Yan King ran over from a distance, panting. "You! Why did you run so fast when you saw me? Am I some kind of scary creature?" After Yan King calmed down for a while, she raised her head and looked at Gu Yan with gritted teeth. The latter curled his lips, twisted his neck and said with a look of disgust, "Come on, are we familiar with each other? Why do I have to wait for you? My heart is beating, so beating." It's this kind of disgusted expression. It's completely different from those people who fawn on me. "Man, you got my attention." Yan King's heart pounded, and she felt very relieved, but a dissatisfied expression appeared on her face. "Hey, didn't we meet at the banquet? The Gu family and the Yan family are both one of the 4 major families in Zhanghe. Shouldn't we have a good exchange? This lady came here to talk to you in person. You shouldn't stop right away. Hey, what are you doing, Gu Yan?" As Yan King was talking, she saw Gu Yan turned around and waved away. Okay, shut up. If you want to communicate, you should do it in a formal setting like the family annual meeting. Don't make a mistake, Miss Yan." He turned his head and looked at Yan King with a look of disgust. "I am a married man, please keep your distance from me." The former was stunned at first, then showed a comfortable expression. She wiped her mouth. He's so domineering, I like it. Is it the Gu family's annual party? Good. I must ask my father to talk to the business owners of the Gu family and ask them to vote for Gu Yan. And on Gu Yan's side. Of course he also saw Yan King's happy face, and he couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth. "No, not since I obtained the complete version of Pure Love Body. It seems that many of the original people around me are becoming more and more strange. Think about Long Ziadian, think about Wang Yelin, think about Bi Jun, think about Yu Xingzu. I don't know if it's Gu Yan's illusion, but he always feels that they all have some strange ideas about him. By the way, are Yan King's symptoms somewhat serious? Should I continue with Yan King's storyline?" However, as soon as this thought came to his mind, Gu Yan shook his head. To be on the safe side, we must not allow Shaolin any chance to rise. Although continuing this way always makes Gu Yan feel very uneasy. Uneasy in every sense of the word. He was silent for a while, then laughed and shook his head. Well, nothing outrageous should happen. Chapter 171, Light of Hope. At Yu Xingzu's home. Just take a good rest at home recently. Xiao Zuman will go to work first. Your and your dad's lunch is already prepared and in the refrigerator. Just heat it up in the microwave when the time comes. A middle-aged woman spoke to Yu Xingzu tenderly and caringly. Yu Xingzu nodded, her expression somewhat unnatural, and her tone somewhat timid. Okay, Mom. Yeah, good boy. After saying that, the middle-aged woman closed the door and left. And then came a voice that made Yu Xingzu tremble all over. Okay, Yu Xingzu, it's time to start our training. Yu Xingzu turned her head stiffly, only to see Meizu appear behind her at some point. Ah, so sudden. Yu Xingzu thought that she had to make some mental preparations before starting. Meizu couldn't bear to see the other party being so lazy. So she nodded and said, yes, time is running out. Don't you want to become a warrior? Become a warrior. Yu Xingzu struggled internally for a moment, but finally nodded. Well, okay, but you have to come back at noon. I still need to take care of my dad. Hearing this, Meizu shook her head and sneered. When you become a warrior, you will not be from the same world as them, forget it. It's too early to tell you this now, so let's go. She was too lazy to explain how big the gap was between warriors and ordinary people, so she just mentioned it casually and snapped her fingers. A deep dark space vortex appeared out of nowhere in the room. Yu Xingzu looked stunned. How magical. Meizu smiled proudly upon seeing this. This technique is called shadow space. It is one of our special moves. Others will never be able to learn it, nor will they have the opportunity to learn it. Okay, without further ado, follow me. Meizu said this and went in. Yu Xingzu felt her eyes itchy. She looked at the space vortex in panic, swallowed her saliva and stepped into it. The Light of Hope. This place is the private property area of Yanxing Group. But now, after rounding off, it can be considered Guyan's. A black luxury car slowly stopped in front of a solid metal door. Looking through the windshield, Guyan saw that the entire land was surrounded by high walls and barbed wire. It's like a black prison. The next second, as if knowing Guyan was coming, the door slowly opened. The car drove into it. Because of the abandonment, many of the separated areas are now deserted and are simply surrounded by iron sheets. At the innermost part of this place, you can vaguely see a big mountain connected to it, which also belongs to Yanxing Group. The original plan was to create a summer resort in the mountains. Continuing forward, Guyan saw the playground track. Behind the playground was an abandoned school building with the plaster on the walls already falling off. There were a few little figures playing on the playground. Just stop here. Guyan spoke, as the car stopped casually at the side of the track. The thin figures in tattered clothes on the playground also stopped and looked over there with timid eyes. One of them, a black-haired boy with only one arm, stood in front of the white-haired girl who was holding a teddy bear with a broken arm. At this time, rush! 10 figures instantly appeared beside the car, and the demon claws stepped forward and respectfully opened the door. Guyan, wearing a black coat, walked down looking at the few children who were looking around timidly in the distance. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He said slowly, "Tell me about the current situation of the organization." As he spoke, Guyan also walked towards the children. Mo Shui and others followed behind Guyan and reported, "Sir, we have determined the Light of Hope as the base of our organization through the contact information of Long Ziyi, it Ian of Yanxing Group that you gave us before. So far, we have found a total of 5 children with cultivation talents. They are all orphans who are displaced. Among them was a pair of siblings who were rescued from human traffickers by my subordinates. Because they were skinny and the sister had a strange white hair color, there were no buyers. The trafficker was so angry that he broke one of my brother's arms and left him begging outside." After finishing the report, Guyan also came in front of the 5 children. At this time, the 5 children stood together, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. They were all afraid of Guyan, the strange man who suddenly appeared. One of the little white-haired girls tightly held the corner of her brother's clothes with a broken arm. Hid behind him, stuck out half of her head, and observed Guyan carefully. When he saw the brother and sister, an inexplicable meaning flashed in Guyan's eyes. He squatted down, trying to make his expression look friendly, and said to the children with a smile, "Don't be afraid. Little ones, I won't hurt you. You may not know me, but just know that from now on I am your adoptive parent." The children still didn't dare to speak, but just looked at him nervously. Seeing this, Guyan stood up and looked at Lao Gao. "Lao Gao, go and take those things down." "Okay, master." In less than a moment, Lao Gao took a pile of cardboard boxes from the trunk of the car. When the carton was opened, the contents revealed included candy, clothes, and toys. Guyan took out some candies from the candy and handed them to the timid children, saying, "This is a gift for you, it's very sweet." The children looked at the candies with longing in their eyes, but they still didn't dare to reach out to take them. So Guyan put the candy on the ground and said, "Take it yourself. Don't be polite." The children hesitated for a moment, but finally walked over slowly and picked up the candy. They put the candies in their mouths, felt the sweetness, and smiles appeared on their faces. At this time, Guyan reached out his hand and gently pressed it on the head of the boy with the broken arm. He gently stroked it and asked, "What's your name?" The latter trembled slightly, but still let Guyan gently caress her. "My name is Shitu, and my sister's name is Xiaobie." While tasting the sweetness of the candy, Shita said, "I am 8 years old and my sister is 6. Our parents are dead, killed by bad guys. The bad guys wanted to sell us after they kidnapped us, but no one wanted to buy us. So I wanted to break my sister's hands and make her go out to beg." When he said this, Shita's voice choked up and tears fell down. At this time, Xiaobie mustered up the courage to look at Guyan and said softly, No, it's all Xiaobie's fault because I'm ugly, no one wants to buy me. So the bad guys wanted to break my arm, but my brother disagreed, saying that he could earn the money of the people, so Xiaobie's arm was not broken. At this point, Xiaobie's eyes were red. Big brother, we have no home, can you keep us? Guyan looked at Xiaobie. A boy with white hair, with a hint of heartache in his eyes. He stretched out his other hand and gently stroked the other's head. Then he looked at the other children who were also afraid of being abandoned again and said, "Since I have taken you in, I will not abandon you. You can call me sir from now on. Now, are you willing to follow me? I will give you a warm home, teach you to read, write, and practice, so that you can become people who are capable of protecting yourself and those around you." Feeling the unprecedented warmth above his head, Xiaobi reached out and grabbed Guyan's wrist. Tears falling, and he said in a choked voice, "My lord, I want to follow you." Chitu also raised his head, his eyes gradually becoming tougher. "Sir, I want to follow you too." After the two of them finished speaking, the other three also choked up and cried, my lord, my lord." For a moment, every child was full of trust in Guyan. Seeing that his goal was achieved, Guyan stood up and looked at the demon claws. Take them to take a shower and change clothes. The dormitories in the school building should still be usable, right? Upon hearing this, Demon Claw nodded respectfully and replied, "Your Excellency, the infrastructure is basically operational now." Guyan nodded slightly. "Then let's do it this way." As he said this, he looked at the other assassins, pointed at them one by one and said, "From now on, you will be named by numbers, from 1 to 9. One person will take a child to bathe. One will take these cartons, and the rest will prepare nutritious meals for these children. If you don't have enough materials for cultivation, go to Longzi Tian directly. Yes. Chapter 172 is Yu Xingzu a genius. Xiaobie and others were originally wandering outside, and were suddenly brought to this place by Moz Hua and others. Even though the other party did not do anything to them, they were still very scared in their hearts. But Guyan's arrival today made every child feel extremely warm in their hearts, and everyone rekindled hope for life. They were held hands by the assassins and walked towards the dormitory. As they walked, each child looked back at Guyan. The latter had a faint smile on his face. Guyan's smile slowly faded only after every child left his sight. Chirp, chirp. Claws emerged from Guyan's fingertips, making a sound as if asking for credit. Guyan nodded gently. "I know you've done a good job, so I'll allow you to suck a little." Chirp. After hearing this, the claws twitched slightly in excitement. And then the 3 many sharp claws plunged into Guyan's fingers and sucked blood. He acted extremely obsessed, as if Guyan's blood was some kind of tonic. Guyan silently looked at the claws that were in a strange state. Well, there is one more strange thing recently. Claw seems to have become more attached to his blood. Forget it, I don't want to think about this anymore. Guyan shook his head, thinking of the candies just now. In fact, when he handed candies to the 5 children, the claw cells had already entered the candies. Starting the infection at a young age can allow the claw cells to penetrate deeper. Of course, there is a reason why he is so gentle, considerate and kind. That is the importance of the siblings. Don't look at them like this now. In fact, they are one of the villains in the middle and late stages of the original novel. Yes, because I found that both of them had good talents and personalities. I recruited them. He also gave them a martial art called Twin Magic Art, which had rather harsh conditions for cultivation. The requirement is that 2 people must be of the same bloodline to practice. After practicing, the 2 people will not only be able to be of one mind and one body. You can also get 2 lives, as long as one of the siblings survives. The other can be resurrected in the other's body and be reborn. In the original novel, this pair of villains almost wiped out the main characters. Fortunately, they found the weakness of the brother and sister that made them immortal, so they were able to kill them all at once. As for the others, they are just ordinary orphans with talent for cultivation. But these people are also an important part of his future plans. Thinking of this, Guyan looked up at the sky. It would take some time for Xiaobie and the others to wash up and pack up, so he could take this opportunity to inspect the territory of his future organization. After the actual inspection, we will renovate this place. After all, there will be more than 5 children in this place in the future. Thinking of this, Guyan smiled slightly and said, "Let's go. Lao Gao Mo Shui, accompany me to walk around here." "Okay, master." "Yes sir." Ein passes slowly. Guyan also walked around the place. If I were to describe how it made him feel, it was probably shabby. The only facilities here are an abandoned playground, an abandoned teaching building, and an abandoned dormitory, and the rest is wasteland. It's a pity that I don't have the ability of Kinkyu in my family to create a black hole in space with ease. Otherwise I would be able to pull on Zetian over here now. After he has read it, He will arrange how to build it into a suitable place as a base. Of course, you can just mention it to the other party afterwards. After entering the dormitory, Guyan shook his head in disgust. This place was in a dilapidated state. All the glass windows were shattered, and the connecting staircase between the 4th and 5th floors broke and fell to the 1st floor. It seems that it will need to be rebuilt carefully later. After the construction is completed, we need to find teachers to teach these children first. After all, he didn't want to have a group of idiots who only knew how to fight and didn't know etiquette under his command. Thinking of this, Guyan felt that he also needed to find some talents. Warriors have their own talents, but after all, they are all human beings and everyone needs to live. So we also need some special talents who can help everyone improve their lives. This was not difficult for the Gu family to find. Guyan had to sigh again. It was great to have a big family. That's it, go check on the kids. Guyan had a general idea in his mind, but he would have to wait until the place was rebuilt before deciding on the details. The other side, in a deep forest, Meizu looked at Yu Xingzu, who was panting on the ground with her hands, with some surprise. I didn't expect you to be able to hold on. I underestimated you. But this is far from enough to cultivate true ki. Yu Xingzu raised her head, panting to be honest. She never thought she could hold on. Perhaps it was because they had been overdying in the mountains for too long. So she looked at Meizu uncomfortably. Could it be that? Can't I learn how to cultivate true ki now? Meizu shook her head and laughed. Do you think I don't want to? But your physical fitness is too poor. This level of training is only to improve your physical fitness so that you can reach the minimum conditions for practicing true ki. Look at me, cultivating true ki is very simple. I just need to concentrate and cooperate with the exercises to extract true ki. Just like this, Meizu said as she spread out her hands. Buzz buzz buzz. A black vortex of true energy gradually appeared in her hand. See, this is the true energy I cultivated with the help of the technique. It has many uses. I have also prepared a set of exercises suitable for you. When your physical fitness reaches a certain level, you can practice the exercises. As Yu Xingzu watched, she felt her eyes itchy, and after rubbing them, her expression became a little strange. Meizu didn't notice anything unusual about Yu Xingzu, but looked up at the sky and said, "Okay, before noon, you have to hike another 10 kilometers. Don't worry. I will heal you even if you faint." That. At this time, Yu Xingzu uttered a timid voice, "I don't think I need to train anymore." Meizu frowned. She turned her head and looked at Yu Xingzu coldly, subconsciously wanting to taunt her. Are you giving up just like that? Before she finished speaking, Meizu was stunned. Just see. Yu Xingzu spread out her palms with an embarrassed look on her face, where there was a vortex of black true energy surging that was exactly the same as Meizu's. Looking at Meizu, whose expression gradually stiffened, Yu Xingzu weakly raised her hand. Miss Mei, does this mean I have become a warrior? As soon as these words came out, Meizu began to doubt her life. Wait a minute, it seemed to take me a week to cultivate the true ki? How come this kid can do it in just one look? What's going on? Is Yu Xingzu a genius? No, some genius can learn it after just one look. But it be that the other party was originally a natural warrior? Yes, he must be a natural warrior who had awakened his true energy. Meizu comforted herself in her heart, to be honest. According to Meizu's original idea, she wanted to improve her physical fitness while training her inner will. By the time he was able to cultivate true ki, Yu Xingzu was almost an entry-level warrior. But now, she looked at Yu Xingzu, who was lying on the ground with an embarrassed look and a hint of timidity. She held her forehead in her hand helplessly. It didn't look like she could get started at all. I'm afraid Guyan wouldn't agree to just leave it like this. Well, at least he is a natural warrior. Meizu started to have an idea. She decided to tell her master that if he was talented enough, she could just bewitch him to become their member. At that time, when Guyan tells her the whereabouts of her brother, she will report Guyan's true face. Afterwards, he sent Yu Xingzu to stay close to Guyan and wait for the right opportunity to backstab him. Absolutely perfect. Thinking of this, she looked at Yu Xingzu. Since you have cultivated true ki, then. Oh. Yu Xingzu nodded, but finally said worriedly, I have to go home to take care of my father before dinner. Meizu. Chapter 173, Cricket Scarf, knitted with a snap of fingers. Inside the dormitory on the second floor of Light of Hope, the children looked brand new, wearing uniform white clothes and standing in a row obediently. Number 1 was an expressionless woman who walked over holding Xiaobie's hand. Xiaobie was still holding the broken doll in his hand. After coming here, he hurried to his brother Shitu, held the other's hand, and looked at Guyan timidly. He seemed very worried that he would annoy the other person by being too slow. After no one retreated back to the team, Demon Clore respectfully replied, Sir, they are all here. Guyan responded softly, then looked kindly at Xiaobie and the others present, and said with a smile, Very good. It really looks more energetic this way. Then it's time for the part that everyone loves to watch. Next, each of you introduce yourselves. You can say your name, hobbies or dreams, anything. Don't be shy. Who will go first? After these words were spoken, the children looked at each other and felt a little shy and embarrassed. Fortunately, Shitouyu stood up and introduced himself at this time. He took a deep breath and said, "My name is Shitu. I have been called this name since I was a child. My ideal is to lead a good life with my sister. My hobby is protecting my sister. And now, in addition to wanting to protect my sister, I also want to help adults." Shitouyu looked at Guyan with admiration. No one had ever been so kind to them in their life. He was given food and new clothes to wear, and for some reason, there seemed to be a magical power over adults that attracted him. It made him want to be closer to adults. Xiaobai also spoke crisply at this time. She looked at Guyan and said nervously, "Xiaobai also wants to help adults." After he finished speaking, he seemed to feel that it was inappropriate for him to interrupt. Or perhaps he felt that his white hair looked too ugly and scary. So he quickly lowered his head with a red face. But he would still secretly look at Guyan. Adults give people a very warm feeling. As the two little ones spoke, the others also began to introduce themselves. A 7-year-old named Xingla. His parents died in a car accident when he was 5. His family property was divided up by relatives, and he wandered around. One is 6 years old, named Xing Xing. The same age as Xiao Bie, and the other is 7 years old, named Lin Lin. Their situations are similar to X-Single. Xiao Bie and his sister were rescued from human traffickers, and their parents had both died. In short, the background is clean. At least Guyan thought there was nothing wrong with it. He smiled and said, "Okay, then everyone will know each other now." He pointed at Mo Shui and the others and said to Xiao Bie and the others, "These brothers and sisters will teach you new knowledge later. You must be obedient and study hard. And I will also take time to come visit you. And I hope to see a different you then." Hearing this, although the children were reluctant to leave Guyan, they still nodded and said one by one, "Okay, sir, we will definitely work hard. When you come over, we will definitely be different." "That's right, sir." Guyan smiled and nodded, and after giving a few more instructions, he left with Lao Gao. Inside the car. Talking to kids is so tiring. Think about it, I'm not such a gentle and kind person. Okay? Guyan exhaled, his expression looking very helpless. Bob Cao glanced through the rearview mirror and smiled. "Really? I think you're enjoying it, young master." Guyan curled his lips. "Really, Lao Gao, this might be your illusion. I pretend to be so nice. It's all for the plan. Xiao Bie and the others are part of the plan. And they will all help me in the future." At this point, Guyan let out a villainous laugh. "When they find out that I was using them, they might cry and make a fuss." Lao Gao started the car, smiled slightly, and said, "Maybe, where are we going next? Master, what's the plan?" Hearing this, Guyan restrained his expression. Even though he should now go find Long Ziyi Yan to inform him to build the light of hope. But it's almost noon now, so Guyan lay in the back seat, took out his phone and started watching short videos. "Oh, the plan is that, Lao Gao, you take me to King Qiu, go to Long Ziyi Yan and tell him to build the light of hope." Lao Gao. Ling family. In the study, Ling Qiu was sitting at the desk. Knitting something on the table was a ball of wool and a book of knitting tutorials. "It's just so, I thought it would be very difficult." Ling Qiu was knitting a scarf, and her tone was very disdainful. "A cricket scarf can be knitted in a snap of a finger. When I finish knitting it, Guyan will be so moved that he will kneel on the ground and cry bitterly. My other self, you are really good at controlling Lu Ding's heart. I also support you in knitting a scarf." Xiaoling has already realized that Ling Qiu is better than her in the art of controlling people. So she now understands and supports everything Ling Qiu does. Ling Qiu was very pleased to hear this, but he was still very dissatisfied. Do you really need to say more? By the way, haven't you been coming out too often recently? You have been staying in my body peacefully for the past few years, because you didn't know how to knit a scarf back then. I won't cry, make a fuss, or laugh because of the furnace, and I even sleep as a normal person should every day. This will greatly affect my efficiency. I came out to prevent you from giving up the idea of revenge." "What are you talking about? What do you mean?" Ling Qiu was furious, thinking that Xiaoling was looking down on him. "How could I give up revenge? Revenge is the path I want to take in my life. Please allow me to answer you with a quote from the internet." "What? I can't say. It's hard, my fist is hard." "Xiaoling, what exactly did you learn on the internet?" "No, I should say how can you learn on the internet? Our two spiritual bodies are separate." Ling Qiu suddenly became alert. Ever since Xiaoling was born, Their memories have become unconnected. The only memory they both have in common is the tragedy of the Ling family being wiped out. What does Xiao Ling mean by saying this? She asked suspiciously. When did you get online? How come you were able to come out? How come I didn't know? Another me, our furnace is here. Xiao Ling changed the subject. Ling Qingqiu was obviously fooled by this, and immediately said angrily, "It's my furnace, Xiao Ling, shut up." After saying this, Ling Qingqiu quickly cleared the table and hid all the wool away. She didn't want Gu Yan to see her knitting a scarf for him. After all, she is the Night King. If I tell others that I'm knitting a scarf for a man, my subordinates will laugh at me to death. Why don't you tell him that you're knitting a scarf? Isn't this a way to improve your favorability? Favorability. Where did you learn these words? Anyway, just shut up and watch. Okay, got it. Chapter 170 for the people in the afternoon. I ignored Xiao Ling's abnormal behavior. Ling Qingqiu quickly adjusted his breathing, sat back at the desk, and began to read as usual. Time passes slowly. Ling Qingqiu didn't read the book, but frowned and looked towards the door of the study room. Where is the person? She began to feel restless. Even though Xiao Ling always sensed Gu Yan's arrival before her, which made her feel very unhappy. But I have to say that the other party's sensing is quite accurate. At least 1 second after the other party sensed it, she also sensed Gu Yan's breath. But why hasn't Gu Yan come up yet? Fortunately, I was prepared a long time ago. How come it's been half an hour and he hasn't come yet? And just when I was thinking this, snap, the study door was slowly pushed open. Xiao Qingqing. Gu Yan rushed in. Holding a special bouquet of flowers in his hand, he walked to Ling Qingqiu and said, "Qingqiu, my Qingqiu, do you know that I have brought you a surprise?" "Oh, surprise?" Ling Qingqiu was somewhat tempted in her heart, but on the surface she still ignored Gu Yan coldly and ruthlessly, and continued to read the book as if no one was around. Stay calm every time Gu Yan comes over, you should be very positive. Doesn't that make it seem like you like the other person very much? If Gu Yan really saw something, I would be so ashamed to death. Looking at Ling Qingqiu, who was pretending to be calm, Gu Yan understood immediately that life needs some seasoning to promote the harmonious development between the people. He understood what Qingqiu meant. It must be because the opening greeting was too bland. Then, Gu Yan knelt on one knee, holding a special flower in his hand, and placed it in front of Ling Qingqiu. "Hello, princess. You will live happily in the future without saying anything." "Why?" "Because your words are here." Ling Qingqiu, who had been trying to be reserved, suddenly couldn't hold back anymore. She pushed aside the sweet-smelling flowers in front of her face, and grabbed Gu Yan by the collar and shook him back and forth in anger. What kind of embarrassing and cheesy love talk is this? Even if you're saying something sweet, don't be so awkward, okay? Your words, princess, you are so beautiful, are 100 times more effective than your words, okay? Can you chat? Ling Qingqiu was extremely angry. Of course, what made her even more angry was, even such cheesy love words could come out of Gu Yan's dog mouth. And my heart still beats fast. Damn it, why did I become like this? It's all because of Gu Yan. It's all because of this bad guy that I became like this. Gu Yan saw Ling Qingqiu's reaction so big, but the system prompts in his mind kept popping up. He understood. What should I do if my wife still refuses to admit that she likes me? Gu Yan said that in short, it is very cute. Ha, Qingqiu. No matter what you say, I will answer you. This is my love for you. I can't stop loving you. I want to pump all these words into your head. Ling Qingqiu immediately covered her ears in shame. Stop talking, it's so corny. Please say something like normal people would communicate. She was trembling with shame if her subordinates knew what she looked like. Her reputation would be ruined. Seeing that Ling Qingqiu seemed to be too ashamed, Gu Yan gave up the idea of continuing to say dozens of love words in his mind. Okay, Qingqiu, I won't say anything. It feels like I haven't seen you for a long time. Qingqiu, and I'm very excited. It's only been 1 day since we last met. After Ling Qingqiu saw that Gu Yan had finally calmed down, she raised her head and complained with a flushed face. But enough of the fuss. Ling Qingqiu also asked questions. She wanted to know what Gu Yan was going to do recently and what he was going to do today. So she took a deep breath, put her hand down, and calmed down. He blurted out, "Why didn't you come to see me the first time you came?" Oops, wrong question. Ling Qingqiu's face suddenly turned red. Damn it. I clearly wanted to ask what Gu Yan was busy with recently. Why did he blurt out these words? Sure enough, it was Gu Yan who made him become more and more weird. Gu Yan got excited when he heard that he took the special bouquet of flowers again and said, "Here, Qingqiu, do you remember that I promised you that I would make puffs for you? But ordinary puffs are too boring, so I made the puffs into the shape of flowers." Even though you can't see it, you can definitely taste my love for it. When I type this question mark, it's not me who has a problem. It's you who has a problem. Ling Qiyu pulled the puff flowers over, and didn't know what to say for a moment. Put aside the fact that I promised to make puffs for her. She covered her face with her hands in surprise, joy and helplessness. And complained, why would someone send flowers made of puffs? Do you really think it's okay? Even I can't help but want to complain. When Guyan heard this, he hesitated for a moment. He looked at the edible flowers made of puffs that Ling Qiyu was holding in her hands. And I thought about the flowers that ordinary people give to others. Then, Guyan nodded affirmatively, it must be no problem. Qiyu, don't you think this is cool? If you don't like it, I'll take it away. As he said this, he reached out to take away the puff flowers. Ling Qiyu wanted to say something, but when she heard Guyan ask this, she was stunned at first, and then she immediately hugged the puff flower nervously. Wait, who said I don't like it? She smelled the sweet smell coming from it, swallowed her saliva, and added softly, only I would like this kind of thing. But what? Your voice is so soft, I can't hear you. Guyan came forward and continued to ask. In fact. Ling Qiyu regretted it after he said it. At this moment, her face was also covered with a blush of shame. Damn it, what the hell am I talking about? Damn man, he could clearly hear it. He must have done it on purpose. But feeling the alluring scent emanating from the tip of his nose, Ling Qiyu understood that these were the puffs made by Guyan himself. It's not at the same level as what you buy outside. He can be said to be the god of puffs, commonly known as the god of puffs. No, this metaphor is so weird. In short, I like it. I love puffs the most. Are you satisfied? Ling Qiyu shouted shamefully, then took a puff and stuffed it into her mouth. I don't care if Guyan makes fun of me later, I'll just start eating. In an instant, the sweet and delicious taste of the god-level puffs, made by Guyan's god-level cooking skills instantly bloomed in Ling Qiyu's mouth. In an instant, Ling Qiyu's brain turned into the shape of Guyan's puff. A happy expression immediately appeared on Ling Qiyu's face. And she began to eat the puffs quietly and enjoyably. 1, 2, 3. Guyan sat down next to Ling Qiyu and looked at her tenderly. Well, as expected, when Qiyu eats his favorite sweets, he will turn into a kitten. I don't know if it's because Qiyu is too cute like this. So Guyan couldn't help but reach out and gently stroke Ling Qiyu's head, saying gently, Qiyu, I really love you. As soon as these words came out, the room was silent for a moment. Ling Qiyu's eyelashes trembled slightly. She slowly swallowed the last bite of the puff, lowered her head with a blushing face. And after a few seconds, she made an almost inaudible shy sound. The afternoon is quiet and warm. The sunlight poured through the mottled window frames and sprinkled on the two of them, as if covering them with a layer of golden veil. Their figures are intertwined in the light and shadow, like a dreamlike picture, intoxicating. At that moment, time seemed to stand still and the whole world stopped turning. Only the sounds of their heartbeats and breathing intertwined together to create the most beautiful melody. Chapter 175, Why the Night Members Like to Fight Alone. Zhangye High School. The usually noisy classroom seemed very quiet at this moment. Everyone was whispering, discussing in low voices someone who had disappeared for a long time. Deng Feng, who was once widely regarded as useless except for being good at studying, is back. And his appearance and spirit have changed far beyond what it used to be. Hey, look at Deng Feng. Do you think he looks a bit stronger? Why is there such a big change after taking a leave? And do you think he's become more handsome? He looks a lot more sunny? Yeah, why didn't I realize that Deng Feng was quite handsome before? Deng Feng sat in his seat eavesdropping on the comments of the people around him. He pretended not to care, but in fact he felt extremely happy inside. Yes, that's the feeling, he is different now. I am no longer the same as I was before. I will Linger see me. He quietly looked towards Ling Linger. To his disappointment, Ling Linger was just chatting with Ba Quan Lan. She didn't even look in his direction, and if you look closely, you can see that Ling Linger is wearing the gold bracelet she bought at the jewelry store last time. Why? Deng Feng felt a little disappointed and unwilling. It seems that I didn't perform well enough. It doesn't matter. As long as you do something eye-catching, you can attract Linger's attention. Deng Feng was extremely sure and confident about this. Ling Linger was still chatting about games with Ba Quan Lan. As if she noticed Deng Feng's gaze, Ba Quan Lan whispered, Sister Linger, that Deng Feng seems to have been peeking at you? Ling Linger was talking excitedly, and was slightly stunned when she heard this. Deng Feng? Oh, who is that? Don't worry about him. Quan Lan, let me tell you, do you understand that BOSS is at full health? I threw a magic ball with a 1 chance of catching it successfully. Isn't this more fun than those pay-to-win games with a 50 guaranteed chance of drawing a card? Seeing that Ling Linger didn't care about Ding Feng at all, Biomon Lan immediately smiled. Right. What everyone didn't know at this time was, on the rooftop of the campus, 3 figures stood here. Mu Rongxi closed his eyes, and a huge sense of perception instantly covered the entire campus. Just between breaths, he opened his eyes and said slowly, "There are only 2 warriors. They have a reaction from the true key of the Xuan Wu sect skills in their bodies. One of the people with pitifully weak cultivation should be Deng Fang, the successor of Xuan Wu sect that the master mentioned. The mission target has been found, take action now." As soon as the words fell, Biaolian directly stopped Mu Rongxi, who was about to move, and shouted, "Hey, are you an idiot? That Deng Feng is in Miss Linger's classroom. Aren't you afraid of hurting Miss Linger if you just attack her? That's the master's sister, neither you or I can afford to hurt her." Mu Rongxi shook his head upon hearing this, and said with certainty, "No, a breath of time is enough, and it won't even make any sound." Biaolian's mouth twitched. "That's why I hate teaming up with guys like this who only care about muscles," she immediately said angrily. "Idiot, what if? As the heir of Xuan Wu sect and a person of destiny with Xuan Wu Qi, anything can happen. What if the other party suddenly explodes and summons the Xuan Wu's true form? Have you ever watched TV dramas?" After hearing the word destiny, Mu Rongxi thought about it carefully, then nodded and apologized expressionlessly. "You are right, I didn't consider this." Then he stayed aside and didn't say anything. Biaolian sighed. "Oh, it would be better to let Fang team up with her. At least the other party listens to her." Clivia, who was standing by, smiled and said, "I think you can leave this mission to me. What do we need so many people to do against a broken and ruined sect? It's not convenient to do it in school, so I'll wait until after school. I had already used my skills to summon the dream butterfly and locate the whereabouts of the remnants of the Xuan Wu sect. An old sect leader whose cultivation has fallen from the peak of the innate realm. One in the middle stage of the innate realm, and an heir who has just entered the ranks of second-rate warriors. I can handle them by myself. As for the explosion that summoned the true body of Xuan Wu, what a joke. Do you think this is a novel world? And that Deng Feng is the protagonist? Don't do that magical stuff. When the battle is resolved, I will go and claim credit from my master." Hey. Dielian seemed to have seen through Clivia's intentions. So she warned, "Sissy, I advise you not to think about getting ahead of us to deal with Xuan Wu men. Don't forget that the mission assigned to you by the master is to protect Miss Linger. If something happens to Miss Linger, do you think the master will let you go?" After these words were spoken, Clivia's expression became a little stiff, and he opened his folding fan awkwardly. He covered the corners of his mouth that were twitching in fear at the thought of his master's rage. Aha, Xiao Beilian likes to say these things that are not conducive to unity. Of course I will prioritize protecting Miss Linger. Biaolian curled her lips. It seemed that there was no normal person in the Yi organization except her and her master. As if she felt that she was too embarrassed, Clivia asked, "And what do you think we should do?" Hearing this, Biaolian, who had already considered everything, smiled softly. "My method is very simple. Anyway, no man in this world can resist my charm. So," she brushed her flowing white hair and snorted proudly, "I will leave this mission to me alone. After school today, I will go and get some information about Xuan Wu Gate from the heir named Dengfeng. Once we find the remaining remnants, we will immediately destroy them. When I finish solving the Xuan Wu Gate problem by myself, my master will definitely praise me a lot. As for what kind of explosion can summon the true body of Xuan Wu? How can a small fry have such strength? Of course this girl made these up to deliberately scare Mu Rongxi and them. I believe that by then, no matter what wish I make, the master will agree." Upon hearing this, Mu Rongxi and Clivia looked at each other. The former was silent for a while, then slowly said, "How about this? You are responsible for luring the people from Xuan Wu sect to a place far away from Miss Linger. And then I will annihilate them all by myself. Well, after I complete the task on my own, I must ask the master to let Gu Yan and I meet." Mu Rongxi thought with an expressionless face, but his ears turned slightly red. Di Yaolian was unhappy when she heard this. She stretched out her fist and hit Mu Rongxi fiercely. Hey, what do you mean? What do you mean by seduction? Do you know how to use words? I am a girl with a natural body, and anyone who can't resist my charm is just trash among trash. That's what these stinky men deserve, don't you understand? Mu Rongxi remained unmoved and said calmly, "Anyway, if the time comes, I will take action." After hearing this, the Yaolian became angry and stopped talking, and started kicking the rooftop railing frantically. I'm so angry, one by one. Why is it so difficult for me to monopolize my master's love? A master, if you could hold me in your arms and pat my head and say little white lotus to me. You are my favorite person, how great would that be? Chapter 176. The Yaolian took action and found a genius. Time passed slowly, and it was evening in a blink of an eye. In front of John Hai High School. Why didn't Gu come to pick me up again? Linglinger glared at the Gu family bodyguard who got out of the car and opened the door for her. The latter was trembling with fear, that big sister. The young master has something to do. Snort. Linglinger snorted, threw her school bag in and got into the car. The bodyguard finally breathed a sigh of relief, feeling bitter inside but unable to express it. Boom. The car drove away. Angfeng seemed a little worried as he watched Linglinger leave from a distance. There was still an obsessive look in his eyes. Linglinger's figure still lingers in his mind. Linger, you will definitely be able to see my heroic side. And just at this moment. Ah, perverted pervert, help. A soft and cute scream was heard. Angfeng was stunned, then looked in the direction of the sound. Just one glance made his blood boil. Just see. A white-haired girl in a JK uniform was surrounded by a group of bad boys, and the people around her turned a blind eye and a deaf ear. A white-haired JK was cornered pitifully and inadvertently cast a fearful look for help towards Ding Feng. This scene shot Ding Feng's heart. Can this be tolerated? Of course not. Let go of that girl. Ang Feng roared and rushed over. A few minutes later, the bad boys begged for mercy and ran away one by one. The girl version of BA, Ayan in JK uniform, threw herself into Ding Feng's arms. Oh, brother, I'm so scared. She raised her head, revealing a weak, timid and grateful expression. Luckily, you are here, otherwise, Lianyan would be in danger. Thank you, brother. Buzz. Natural body, start. For a moment, Ang Feng's heart was shocked. Looking at BL Yan, he felt a strong desire to protect her for some reason. Seeing this scene, BA Yan's mouth corners slightly curled up. I can't control you, but as expected of a man of destiny with the energy of Xuan Wu, his resistance is indeed very strong. But it's not a big problem. Next we just need to slowly find out where the remnants of Xuan Wu Gate are. She can start taking action. Master, when the time comes, please be sure to pat my head and praise Lian. Ling family. In the study. At some point the two of them rolled onto the sofa again and ended their mutual charging behavior. Ling Qingqiu lay in Guyan's arms, and they loved each other for a while. Ling Qingqiu finally thought of the important task she needed to do. She asked, Guyan, did your Gu family have many warriors come yesterday? I don't know why, but after eating and drinking, Ling Qingqiu felt that his heart became extremely peaceful. It's like entering some kind of sage mode. And leaning in Guyan's arms, she would feel a warmer sense of security than ever before. Guyan hugged Ling Qingqiu, gently feeling the softness of her body, and nodded in response. Yes, Qingqiu, do you know? When Guyan said this, he hugged the other person a little tighter. It seems that Shangwan Maiyan told Qingqiu what happened that night. Ling Qingqiu became silent when he heard this. He clenched his hands tightly together and said with a complicated tone, yes, although the Ling family has declined, a lean camel is still bigger than a horse. We still have some warriors left in our Ling family. And we also know that Zhang Yeche has seen the same person again. If you think about it for a moment, you will know that these forces will first come to your Gu family, the largest force in Zhang Yeche. At this point, Ling Qingqiu asked in an unnatural tone, Guyan, will I make it difficult for you to do it? After all, before. Ling Qingqiu's voice trembled a little when she said this, and her hands were clenched tightly together. If Guyan knew that she was actually the Night King. So what to do? Guyan naturally understood Ling Qingqiu's meaning, and he sighed in his heart. Then he said without hesitation, Qingqiu, don't talk about the past. Aren't we fine now? That's all. After hearing this, Ling Qingqiu's originally flustered heart gradually calmed down. I felt extremely satisfied in my heart. However, before Ling Qingqiu could continue speaking, besides, Guyan took a breath and said in a serious tone, so what if he is related to you, even if He was interrupted before he could finish his words. Wait, stop talking. Ling Qingqiu hurriedly reached out her hand to stop Guyan from speaking. She was afraid that if Guyan really said it, she would not be able to help but confront him. Doing so would only put Guyan in danger. Her expression became extremely complicated, and she opened her eyes that had been deliberately disguised as dull in front of Guyan. With a smile on his face, he said, that's enough, thank you for trusting me. Guyan, forgive me, I really don't want you to know about the Nike organization, and I don't want you to fall into this kind of danger. I have too many enemies, and the road ahead will surely be full of thorns. Bless. Ling Qingqiu felt a chill in his heart. There was also a fake knight in Zhang Yeche. Once I have accumulated enough strength, this fake existence must be eliminated. Guyan's expression gradually became complicated. He didn't say anything, but just stretched out his hands and hugged Ling Qingqiu tightly. He understood Ling Qingqiu and knew what was in Ling Qingqiu's mind and what she was worried about. mostly because they were afraid that he would be in danger. Forgive me, King Qiyu, I will definitely let you stand in the sunshine again with peace of mind. Even by any means. I will make sure you have nothing to do with ye. Left the Ling family. Lao Cao was already waiting at the door. After Guyan got in the car, Lao Cao said, Master, the things you arranged have been handed over to Long Ziyian. He promised that the Light of Hope will be completely renovated by the end of the year. Guyan nodded calmly and said, well, very good. As he spoke, a hint of murderous intent appeared in his eyes. Check where the people from the demon sect are. And all the forces that came to the Gu family that day. Lao Gao was stunned when he heard this. But he smiled slightly in the end. Okay, young master. The car starts. Guyan closed his eyes and recalled what happened that night in his mind. If it goes as he expected, these sects and families were all the forces that besieged the Ling family back then. Unexpectedly, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Inkyu is facing so many enemies. You can imagine how much pressure he is under. This is really a battle that cannot be fought without turning evil. Guyan sighed in his heart, but that is why he had to intervene. It was impossible for King Qiyu to become evil. Besides, who do you think you can find to make King Qiyu evil? Isn't there only one person who can make King Qiyu evil like in the original novel? Sacrifice Lang Linger like in the original novel. What a joke, Guyan couldn't forgive himself for doing this. King Qiyu is fine the way she is now, and he doesn't want Ling King Qiyu to become evil. The creation of another night was a foregone conclusion and progress had to be accelerated. Oh, and there is a crucial part of the plan. Guyan sorted out his thoughts, opened his eyes, and there was a hint of inexplicable meaning in his eyes. It's time to go to the Peach Blossom party. The other party's Peach Blossom secret technique is an indispensable part of the plan. This was very helpful for him to recruit Ling Qingyu's subordinates in the original novel. And not long after Guyan left, in the Ling family's study, Ling Qingyu received the message from Mei Zhu. After listening to this, she was a little confused. When protecting Guyan, you found a genius, by the way. You can learn everything just by looking at it? You Xingzu? Ling Qingyu fell into deep thought, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Very good. This gave her an idea. Constantly attracting talented people into the Knight organization is also one of the ways to strengthen the Knight's strength. Thinking of this, Ling Qingyu conveyed the order to keep that talented person. Well, since the warrior department is also looking for talents hidden in the world, then you can also search for it yourself, yes. Ling Qingyu thought that all they had to do was to recruit all the talents into the Knight organization and give them the special skills of the Knight organization. Then even if she had to deal with warriors from all over the world, she would not be afraid. Ling Qingyu immediately gave the order to everyone in his mind to collect talents from all over the world. Haha, that's enough now, let the fake knight stand in front. I am secretly discovering talents and accumulating strength. By the way, assassination attacks and revenge. It's perfect. Tahiyu. Another me, if we do this, won't we become substitutes for ye? Xiaoling suddenly jumped out at this time and interrupted Ling Qingyu's self-entertainment. Ling Qingyu frowned immediately and said dissatisfied, Lai? What are you talking about, Xiaoling? Don't forget that the dagger is in my hand. A Knight organization only recognizes daggers and not people. You should know this. There is a second half to this sentence. Even a dagger can judge a person. Hearing this, Ling Qingyu shook his head and sneered. What do you mean? Do you mean the dagger will recognize that fake yi? Xiaolang, do you think I could possibly let this happen? If I were to do it, I would not allow anyone to impersonate me, and would suppress the counterfeit yi with thunderous means. Another me. If it was you from the past, you would definitely choose the same approach as me. Although bewitching the furnace cauldron is good, don't forget that the furnace cauldron is only used to improve the cultivation so as to better revenge. Bewitching the opponent is not our main purpose. Another me. Haven't you noticed that you've been spending your time trying to seduce Lu Ding recently? The more Ling Qingyu listened, the angrier and more ashamed she became. It sounded as if she had been idle and was only thinking about how to have a loving relationship with Guyan all day long. Xiaoling, shut up, what do you know? Can't you see how I've been living these past 5 years? Don't you know what kind of person I am? I can't be bound by emotions. I bewitched Guyan just for revenge. This is all part of the plan. You know? Even if I really became weak, it's definitely not because I fell in love with Guyan. But I'm a good person. All the kindness I've shown is to compensate for treating the other person as a furnace. Do you understand? Compensation. All this is compensation. I think. Shut up, I don't want to hear it. Ling Qingyu interrupted Xiaoling's speech in his heart. Another me, you will regret it. As the voice disappeared, Ling Qingyu finally breathed a sigh of relief. But what Xiaoling said is not without reason. Although she didn't know what Guyan was busy with recently, She could roughly guess that he was busy with the family annual meeting at the end of the year. Even Gu Yan is doing his job, and as the Night King, it is indeed time to move more. Well, it just so happens that I have recently increased my night energy with the help of Gu Yan. I will give my subordinates another wave of gifts tomorrow. Okay, that's it. Chapter 177 Arrival at Peach Blossom Club. Peach Blossom Party. Essentially speaking, they are not a decent sect, on the contrary. They claim to be the devil and commit all kinds of evil deeds including burning, killing, looting and so on. It is said that the history of Peach Blossom Festival can be traced back to ancient times. Legend has it that in ancient times, spiritual energy was well developed and all things had spirits. A peach tree gained wisdom and gave birth to its own magical powers. From then on, the Peach Blossom Society was founded. The Peach Blossom Secret Art is a simplified version of the original magical power of the peach tree. It is seen as a comprehensive practice that combines martial arts, philosophy and mind control. To put it simply, it is to manipulate the opponent's perception and consciousness to create realistic illusions, thereby confusing, distracting or deceiving the opponent's attention and actions. Only a very small number of people in the Peach Blossom Society can learn and comprehend the Peach Blossom Secret Art. At this age, only the leader of the Peach Blossom Society and his granddaughter Tao Ying have learned this secret art. Night. In a desolate land, the withered yellow earth is covered with cracks, as if the vicissitudes of time are engraved on this desolate land. The lonely wind blew, carrying dust and loneliness, and the desolate scene made people feel sad. In this desolate wilderness, an invisible magic circle covers the area. The energy fluctuations around formed an invisible barrier, separating the inner and outer worlds. Two figures slowly walked in front of the magic circle. Lao Gao stretched out his finger and gently pointed at the magic circle. Buzz! A gap appeared. Master, it's done. Lao Gao made way and smiled at Gu Yan. This magic array is indeed exquisite. If it weren't for an experienced master like him, he might not be able to find the place. Gu Yan nodded slightly, then went in, and Lao Zhao followed closely behind. The scene inside the magic circle was completely different, as if they had traveled through time and space, and a vibrant sea of peach blossoms spread out before their eyes. The peach blossom branches sway gently in the breeze, and the petals fall, reflecting brilliant colors. The ground was covered with soft green grass, like a green carpet made of emerald. A harmonious atmosphere permeated the air. The Taohua Society's magic circle seemed to be a paradise for practitioners, forming a sharp contrast with the desolate scene outside. This is Peach Blossom Club. Rumor has it that this is a magic circle left over from ancient times that can isolate the inside and outside, and isolate the breath. However, with the erosion of time, this magic circle is gradually showing signs of collapse. In the original novel, it was because of the collapse of the magic circle that the night organization came knocking on the door. If the magic circle was not about to disappear, it would not be impossible to use this place as one's base. However, seeing this reminded Gu Yan of a genius in the original novel who was good at using magic arrays. Although he had no true energy and could not practice, he was particularly obsessed with studying ancient magic arrays. In the original book, the other party actually created a series of various magic arrays. Yes, that's right. He was also the ruthless man who followed Leng Qingqiu's orders and sacrificed half of the city with a magic circle. This kind of talent must be recruited by oneself. But before that, Gu Yan's thoughts seemed to have aroused an invisible oppressive wave force, causing the surrounding air to seem to solidify. A gurgling sound was heard, and black water surged out from all around Gu Yan. Under the cover of this liquid, the changes in Gu Yan became more prominent. He once again put on the outfit called Black Knight, exuding an indescribable majesty and oppression. In addition to the black attire exchanged by the system, Gu Yan also asked Claw Claw to add a layer of protection to make his breath more concealed, and not a trace of it could be revealed. After making sure everything was perfect, Gu Yan turned his gaze to Lao Gao. He stretched out his hand and said in a low and firm voice, "Mimicry." The next second, the black water rushed towards Lao Gao like a living thing following Gu Yan's guidance, completely changing the other party's image in an instant. Lao Gao, who was originally a hermit, turned into an old man in a black robe exuding a strange aura. Lao Gao felt it and a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. I have never seen this kind of disguise before. Where did the young master learn it from? After doing all this, Gu Yan slowly opened his mouth and said, "Old Gao, although the leader of the Peach Blossom Society is at the early stage of Grand Master, he has a technique that can affect perception, but it doesn't matter. I will let the inner ghost take action to interrupt the release of the opponent's skills. Any questions?" Hearing this, Lao Gao shook his head. His voice became a little hoarse after the special disguise, and his temperament became even more gloomy. "No problem. Okay, let's get started. Tonight I will take revenge on one of my enemies." Beach Blossom Party. Above the sect master's hall stood a huge beechwood throne, on which sat a majestic and kind old sect master. Standing next to her was a woman. It was her granddaughter Tao Ying. Ying Ying, you did a good job on this matter. Now that we have found the owner of the flower god's aura, our Peach Blossom Club can once again achieve its former glory. The old sect leader finally felt relieved. Ever since the siege battle 5 years ago, the strength of their Peach Blossom Society has plummeted. As the current sect leader, it is absolutely impossible for her to just sit there and do nothing and wait for the sect to disappear in the long river of history. Therefore, the only option is to find the owner of the legendary flower god's aura. Let the other person lead the Peach Blossom Society to shine again. Tao Ying received a message in her mind. She smiled calmly and nodded. Grandma, this is what I should do. I also hope to see our peach blossoms flourish. The old master smiled